The wealthy Su family had finally welcomed their precious daughter, but she was lost right after birth. The man searched desperately for 3 years without a trace. Just as he was about to end his life to find his wife, he suddenly received a call from the Sea City police station, which reignited his hope to live. At the Sea City police station, Su Wanwan had already finished 5 bowls of instant noodles. After finishing the 5th bowl, she burped contentedly. Then she asked the police officers sweetly, "Uncle Policeman, have you found my daddy?" Who could resist such an adorable little angel? The captain lovingly patted Wanwan's little head. "Be good, sweetheart. Your mommy will come pick you up soon." Unexpectedly, Wanwan pointed to the corner of her eye, saying she had a missing moon corner, meaning she had no mother. Then she rummaged through her treasure bag, and the captain was completely charmed. He clapped his hands and praised, "What a smart baby, you can even read faces." Then Wanwan pulled out a piece of paper to show him. "Master said this drawing shows what my daddy looks like." Suddenly someone entered and interrupted them. An officer came to report that they had found the person. A very haggard man slowly appeared at the doorway. Wanwan immediately jumped down from her stool and ran over. The man looked at the girl before him, momentarily stunned. The resemblance was uncanny. The girl's eyes looked exactly like his wife's. After 3 years of despair, the man finally smiled. He said excitedly, "Wanwan, I'm your daddy!" However, Wanwan looked disappointed and said it wasn't right. Then she tearfully took out the drawing she had just shown the captain. "Daddy, why don't you look like the picture?" Before the man could explain, a fat woman barged in aggressively, pointing at Wanwan and shouting, "It's this damn girl! I bought her to be my fool son's wife!" She reached out to grab Wanwan. "You little brat, come back with me or I'll break your legs." At the critical moment, someone forcefully knocked the fat woman's hand away. The man protected his daughter in his arms, telling the fat woman to get lost and not touch his daughter. Then he picked up Wanwan. "Baby, Daddy will take you home." The fat woman glared viciously at their retreating figures, silently vowing not to let them off. It was the girl's first time on a plane. She not only wanted to open the window for fresh air, but also wanted to see if her mommy and master were in the sky. She asked her daddy disappointedly, "Why can't I see mommy and master outside?" Before Su Dad could explain, Wanwan puffed up her cheeks in anger. Master lied to children again." Su Dad held his daughter lovingly. He suddenly remembered when he took his daughter away last night. He saw her mysteriously hand something to the police. He couldn't help asking Wanwan, "What did you give brother He Kyong yesterday?" Wanwan explained happily, "That was a protective charm. Master taught me how to make it. It can ward off evil and keep people safe." Su Dad became a daughter-doting maniac, praising his precious baby for being amazing. Wanwan said proudly that she had also learned a little fortune-telling from Master. Then she stared at Daddy seriously. Full forehead and high nose bridge, Daddy is destined for great wealth and fortune. After a while, the plane landed successfully. Su Dad walked out of the airport with Wanwan, and everyone's attention was drawn to the father-daughter pair. Not only was the man handsome, but the little girl was also so adorable. Outside the airport, Grandpa Su had been waiting for a long time. Seeing them come out, he waved happily. Wanwan broke free from Su Dad's hand and ran toward Grandpa cheerfully. Suddenly, a robber with a knife rushed over from a distance. Su Dad nervously tried to protect Wanwan, but the distance was too far to reach in time. Sure enough, the robber took Wanwan hostage. Su Dad walked over calmly. "As long as you don't hurt my daughter, I'll agree to anything." The robber saw that Su Dad was a big fish and immediately demanded an outrageous price, a car and 10 million in cash within half an hour, or I'll die together with this little girl. At this moment, Wanwan, who had been calm all along, suddenly looked at the robber and said, "Uncle, you're about to have bad luck. Master said you must put down the butcher's knife to become a Buddha." The robber told her viciously to shut up and threatened to cut out her tongue. However, Wanwan wasn't scared at all and shook her head helplessly. "If you don't listen to Wanwan, you'll suffer right away." With that, her little hand grabbed the robber's wrist and forcefully twisted his knife-holding hand until it broke. The knife in the robber's hand fell to the ground. Seeing this, the robber hurried to pick up the knife on the ground, but Wanwan was faster. She kicked the knife away with a flying kick. Turning back, she didn't forget to educate the robber, "Uncle, Master also said that those who bring disaster upon themselves cannot be saved." With that, she wrapped her arms around the robber's arm, and with a sudden force gave him an over-the-shoulder throw, slamming him hard to the ground. At this moment, Su Dad only had eyes for his daughter. He ran over frantically and held Wanwan tightly in his arms. Looking at his daughter's scratched neck, he blamed himself. Wanwan smiled and comforted Daddy, saying she was fine. Looking at the robber being taken away by police, Wanwan turned back and said, "I told you to listen to Wanwan. Not listening has serious consequences." A moment later, a car stopped at the Su family's old mansion. Wanwan yawned as she got out of the car. The previously drowsy Wanwan immediately became alert, looking at the old mansion with great caution. The mansion was tightly wrapped in ominous black energy, looking terrifying. Seeing Wanwan frozen in place, Grandpa Su trembled with anger and scolded his son. "I told you long ago to cut down that cursed tree, but you refused. Now look, you've scared my precious granddaughter." At this moment, Wanwan looked at the old mansion thoughtfully. Master had said not to plant willows in front or mulberry trees behind, and not to plant ghost-clapping trees in the middle. How could there be such things at home? Suddenly, Grandpa came close and interrupted Wanwan's thoughts. "Dear granddaughter, let Grandpa carry you home." In Wanwan's eyes, Grandpa was also surrounded by black energy. She immediately formed hand seals and chanted, "The way follows nature, the universe is limitless." Her fingers shot out a golden light, and she touched Grandpa's forehead. The black energy that had been surrounding him instantly dissipated. Just after entering the house, Wanwan, in Grandpa's arms, asked if he had been having nightmares lately. Grandpa was puzzled and asked how his dear granddaughter knew. Wanwan jumped down from Grandpa's arms and began rummaging through her bag. Finally, she pulled out 2 protective charms to give to Grandpa and Daddy. Seeing this, Su Dad quickly explained to the old master that the one who raised their precious daughter was an old Taoist priest. Then the 2 men squatted down to accept the charms from Wanwan's hands. Wanwan didn't forget to remind them repeatedly that they must carry them at all times. Seeing his granddaughter care so much about him, the old master's heart bloomed with joy. That night, after Su Dad put his daughter to sleep, he quietly left the room. He went to the study to see old Master Su, who told him to settle down. Now that his precious granddaughter was found, he should return to work at the company tomorrow. He could take this opportunity to clean up the troublemakers in the company. Then old Master Su happily played with the protective charm his granddaughter gave him. The child was so hard to find. From now on, let's call her Wanwan. The next day, Su Dad groggily opened his eyes and saw his daughter lying by the bed saying she was hungry. He kicked off the covers immediately and carried his daughter downstairs for breakfast. Su Dad saw his daughter drooling while looking at the steamed buns but not eating them. He puzzled asked why she wasn't eating. Wanwan said sweetly that she wanted to wait for Grandpa to eat together. Unexpectedly, his daughter was so polite. Su Dad immediately explained that Grandpa was old and still resting and would come eat when he woke up. Hearing this, Wanwan's eyes lit up, and she began devouring the food. Only when the breakfast on the table was completely clean did Wanwan contentedly pat her cute little belly and burp. Seeing this, Su Dad smiled and said, "From now on, baby will be called Wanwan, okay?" Wanwan agreed because that's what Master called her. Su Dad was somewhat shocked. It seemed the one who raised his daughter was indeed an expert. Then he lovingly patted his daughter's little head and said, "From now on, Daddy only has Wanwan as his daughter." Hearing this, Wanwan's face darkened. "No, Daddy is lying." Su Dad was shocked. Was his daughter so perceptive? Could she have calculated this too? Wanwan pointed to the family photo behind them and told Daddy to believe in science. Su Dad didn't want to be separated from his precious daughter for even a moment, so he took Wanwan with him to work. The company employees saw their chairman, who had been missing for 3 years, come to work with an adorable little girl. They all whispered among themselves. Though their discussion was quiet, Su Dad, who wanted to show off his daughter, still heard them. He instantly teleported to Xiao Wang's side and bragged loudly, "How did you know she's my daughter, Wanwan?" This scared Xiao Wang so much his jaw dropped. Wanwan sweetly called out, "Hello, uncle!" Su Dad arranged for Xiao Wang to show his daughter around the company. Then Wanwan's little hand grabbed his, instantly melting Xiao Wang's heart. Assistant Wang's inner thoughts, "She's so cute. Is this what human cubs are like?" Suddenly someone greeted him. "Assistant Wang, what are you doing?" Assistant Wang explained embarrassedly that he was helping the chairman watch his child. After speaking, he turned around only to find the space beside him was empty. Where was the child? President Su Chi was questioning how the little dumpling in front of him got in. Wanwan didn't answer but instead made hand calculations. Speed and joy hexagram, 8 trigrams for Li. Dominant element is fire. Then she smiled sweetly and suddenly pounced on Su Chi sitting in his wheelchair. "I calculated that you're my dear big brother." Looking at the little dumpling hugging his leg and trying to climb up, Su Chi helplessly told her to get down quickly. Then he reached out and lifted Wanwan up. "You little furball are quite bold." Wanwan frantically waved her little hands. "How can Big Brother believe me?" Suddenly the phone on the desk rang. The phone showed Su Dad's missing child notice posted in the company group chat. Wanwan pointed at the phone pitifully. "See? It must be Daddy." Su Chi's eyes reddened. He lovingly touched Wanwan's little head. "It's good that little sister is back." Seeing Big Brother cry, Wanwan quickly comforted him. "Big Brother, don't cry. Wanwan is here. Wanwan will never leave again." Then she quietly changed the subject. "Big Brother, shall we go home for dinner together tonight?" Faced with such an adorable little sister, Su Chi didn't know how to refuse. He stammered for a long time before managing to say, "I'm a bit busy today." Wanwan still didn't give up. "What about tomorrow, Big Brother?" Big Brother replied again, "Tomorrow I have meetings." As soon as he finished speaking, Wanwan angrily jumped down from him. "Big Brother is bad. Big Brother is lying." Finally, the sister-loving Su Chi compromised. He called Daddy to explain that Wanwan was not only with him, but they would also go home to the old mansion for dinner together tonight. After work, Su Chi sat in the car muttering, "I hope that mother and daughter won't be an eyesore." Su Dad explained awkwardly that the mother and daughter had already been home for half a day. Then he sighed and explained, "Ching King is still young after all." Before he could finish, Wanwan poked out her little head and interrupted, "Daddy, Daddy, who is Ching Ching?" Su Dad had to explain, Ching Ching is Daddy's granddaughter. Her full name is Su Yuking. She's your third brother's daughter. Ching Ching and your big brother have conflicts, and big brother gets unhappy when he sees the mother and daughter. Can Wanwan help Daddy persuade big brother? Hearing this, Wanwan touched her little head in confusion and asked, then why don't you let the mother and daughter go out? Su Dad explained that they were also family. Suddenly, Wanwan turned around and stared directly at the sulking big brother. Then she sat next to big brother and gently tugged at his sleeve. Big brother, don't be angry anymore, okay? Later, Wanwan will give big brother all her favorite food. The atmosphere in the car instantly became harmonious. At this time, in front of the Su family's old mansion, everyone was waiting for them to come home. Su Yuqing smiled wickedly at the corner of her mouth, thinking to herself, just like in the previous life, she really came back at this time. Then she instantly changed her expression and ran towards Su Dad, acting coquettishly. Grandpa, why are you just coming back now? I missed you so much. After speaking, she hugged Su Dad's thigh and kept acting cute. She wanted Su Dad to give her kisses, hugs, and lift her up high. Behind them, his precious daughter and son were staring straight at him. Finally, Su Dad still refused his granddaughter's request. The father's heart only had room for his precious daughter. How could he hug other children? Su Yuking snorted coldly in her heart. Then she ran over to please Su Chiwai. Uncle, let me help you push your wheelchair. Unexpectedly, Su Chiwai didn't appreciate it. He snorted coldly and told her to stay away from him, then pushed his wheelchair away from the girl by himself. Old Master Su saw his precious granddaughter Wanwan return and his eyes immediately lit up. He quickly called for Wanwan to come to him. Wanwan happily flew into the old master's arms. Grandpa, are there roasted duck and goose for dinner tonight? Seeing his granddaughter, Old Master Su couldn't stop smiling. Yes, whatever our Wanwan wants we have. In the distance, Su Yuting was grinding her teeth in anger. Why was this Su Wanwan different from the previous life? In the previous life, if it weren't for... Suddenly, her thoughts were interrupted by the old master. This is your niece Ching Ching. You two should get along well from now on. Su Yuting saw her opportunity and immediately took out a gift box to give to Wanwan. She said it was a gift she and her mother specially prepared to welcome Wanwan home. As she opened the gift box, Wanwan felt the bracelet looked strange. She noticed familiar black lacquer on it. It seemed the evil energy in the old mansion was man-made. Wanwan silently vowed that no matter who it was, she would definitely catch the bad person. She absolutely wouldn't allow them to hurt her family. Then Wanwan pretended to like it very much, and accepted the bracelet Su Yuking gave her. Seeing this, Su Chiwai gripped his wheelchair handles tightly, thinking to himself, I must protect Wanwan well. Suddenly, Wanwan appeared and began massaging his knees with her little hands. Is big brother's leg numb? Let me rub it for you. The next second, Su Chiwai was stunned. How could this be? He was clearly paralyzed. How could his legs have feeling? He couldn't believe it and thought it must be an illusion. In reality, Wanwan was secretly helping him dispel the evil energy. Su Yuking found Wanwan more and more displeasing to the eye. Then Old Master Su instructed the housekeeper to call the madam down for dinner. The woman had just walked down the stairs when she scolded Su Yuking. Didn't I tell you not to come downstairs tonight? Su Yuking explained pitifully that she came to give Sister Wanwan a gift. At this moment, Wanwan was somewhat startled. Why couldn't she read Auntie's face? Master said it was impossible not to see someone's face unless they had 10 lifetimes of merit, or were a reincarnated immortal, or they were deliberately hiding it. But Wanwan felt something was odd. Then Wanwan asked Auntie where she bought this bracelet. But Su Yuqing arrogantly walked over to mock. Little sister, you should call me sister-in-law, since others were bullying her. Wanwan certainly wouldn't tolerate it. My master said marriage requires a little red book. Auntie doesn't have a little red book, so she can't be considered my third brother's wife. Also, why do you call me little sister? According to seniority, you should call me little aunt. Su Yuqing was left speechless by the retort. She could only reluctantly call Wanwan little aunt, thinking in her heart that Wanwan might also be reborn. But so what? Your family will be mine sooner or later. After dinner, Wanwan felt there was something suspicious about Big Brother's car accident, so she asked Big Brother to tell her about his legs and his situation with Su Yuqing. Big Brother initially didn't want to tell his sister these things, but Wanwan was obviously different from other 3-year-olds, so he decided to tell her. It turned out that 2 years ago, Su Chiwai was driving out for work. Unexpectedly, halfway through the drive, he discovered that both the brakes and steering wheel had failed. What was even more terrifying was that at this moment, a large truck was rushing toward him head-on. If the rescue team hadn't found him in time, he might have lost his life. However, his legs became disabled. What was even more bizarre was that the doctor said his legs weren't fractured. Just when he thought this was an accident, he found the missing parts from his car in Su Yuqing's room. So he used his connections to investigate the accident surveillance, and found that Su Yuqing had indeed been near the car before. But the police said there wasn't enough evidence to prove it was Su Yuqing. Plus, Su Yuqing was still young at the time, so no one chose to believe his words. He clenched his fists angrily as he spoke. At this moment, Wanwan patted her little chest and declared confidently, Wanwan will always believe what Big Brother says. Su Chiwai was instantly moved. Suddenly, Wanwan thought of something. She took out her treasure bag and kept shaking it, shaking out a pile of talisman papers and a brush. Then she picked up the brush and began drawing talismans. Swish, swish, swish. The whole sequence was smooth and flowing. Then Wanwan held up the talisman proudly. Hee hee, it's finally done! Then she gave the talisman to Su Chiwai. Big brother, I'm giving you this peace talisman. Then she circled around Big Brother chattering. Master always praised me for having talent. Big Brother will be able to walk and play with Wanwan soon. Let me rub Big Brother's legs again. Does Big Brother's leg feel something now? Su Chiwai was already moved to tears. He held his sister tightly in his arms. At this moment he finally understood that his legs having feeling wasn't an illusion, but Wanwan helping him. His sister was truly his little lucky star. Suddenly Su Dad came in and interrupted the warm scene. He nagged his son, don't sleep too deeply alone at night, you need to take good care of your sister. Before he could finish, the door was ruthlessly closed by Su Chiwai. However, Wanwan was hugging her 7-star sword and crying an apology. It turned out that because the 7-star sword couldn't be brought on the plane, it had to be checked as luggage. After Su Dad came home, he only focused on accompanying his precious daughter. So the 7-star sword and Wanwan's other belongings were ruthlessly abandoned outside the door. That night, after Su Chiwai put Wanwan to sleep, he silently vowed in his heart that he would definitely protect her from now on. But after they fell asleep, the 7-star sword beside Wanwan suddenly rang out with a sword cry to protect Wanwan. The alert Wanwan suddenly opened her eyes. Seeing the evil energy permeating everywhere in the bedroom, Wanwan was truly angry this time. Who exactly is it daring to bully my family? After getting up, Wanwan was brushing her teeth in the bathroom. However, Su Yuking behind her mocked her. Just a country girl. Wanwan ignored this little green tea and turned around, striding out. Unexpectedly, the country girl she looked down upon dared to ignore her. Su Yuting angrily grabbed Wanwan's arm. Then she said with a sinister expression, Su Wanwan, you still can't beat me in this lifetime. The next second she fell to the ground, pretending to look pitiful. This scene was coincidentally seen by Su Dad. Wanwan rubbed her wrist that had just been grabbed painfully by Su Yuking and said, stop pretending, this is all child's play to me. Qin Yuliu heartbrokenly helped her daughter up and questioned Wanwan, you country girl, Qing Qing being friends with you is already looking up to you. Hearing this, Wanwan shook her head frantically. I don't want to be friends with bad people. Qin Yuliu was somewhat puzzled. Yesterday, Qing Qing gave you her favorite bracelet. Didn't you like it very much? Wanwan immediately tore off the bracelet. Since it's Su Yuqing's favorite, then I don't want it. I don't want a bracelet made from dead people's bones. With that, she slammed the bracelet to the ground with a pia sound. The mother and daughter stood there dumbfounded. Su Yuking's heart tightened even more. Damn it, how did she find out? At this moment, Big Brother wheeled over. He was about to reach out to pick up the bracelet on the ground when Wanwan quickly stopped him from touching it. Then she explained that the 18 beads of the bracelet were made from the bone ash of 18 evil people, and the middle one was made from a Western region high monk's skull. As Wanwan pinched the talisman and chanted, evil spirits disperse, righteous energy lasts forever, urgent as law commands. Immediately the talisman shone with golden light and flew toward the bracelet. Accompanied by a painful cry, Su Yuqing fell to the ground in terror. Wanwan smiled and said, you really went to great trouble. I'm afraid anyone wearing this thing wouldn't live more than a week, right? At this moment, Su Dad couldn't hold back anymore. He angrily questioned his daughter-in-law about what was going on. Qin Yuliu explained in panic. Found it. Yes, the bracelet was found. Wanwan said with disgust. Found it in an emperor's tomb, right? The speaker didn't mean it, but to Su Yuking's ears it was like a thunderbolt. How could she know these things? Obviously, Su Dad wasn't prepared to listen to their explanations. Now that third son is unconscious, let's postpone the wedding for now, then he said coldly. As for Qing Qing, we'll raise her, but you two move out today and don't come back to the old mansion. Qin Yuliu was also angry but dared not speak. She could only hate Wanwan in her heart. Then the mother and daughter were driven out of the room. Seeing this, Big Brother whispered to Wanwan, so you were getting revenge for Big Brother? Wanwan playfully said, it's a secret. At this time, Qin Yuliu was walking on the street with Qing Qing dejectedly. She asked her daughter disappointedly what they should do in the future. Su Yuqing said darkly, a 3-year-old girl from the countryside. How could I not be able to beat her? A few days later, Su Dad looked at the trending topic on his phone and angrily slammed his phone on the table. That bastard better not come back! Wanwan looked at her angry daddy and immediately jumped down from the sofa. She ran to Su Dad, whose nose was practically steaming with anger, and asked, where did the bastard come from? Su Dad said, it's your worthless second brother and his scandal news. Hearing this, Wanwan curiously wanted to grab the phone to look. What scandal news? Does it have patterns with flower lace? Su Dad thought it was time to let his baby go to school, or she would be out of touch with society. Then he smiled and asked his precious daughter, does Wanwan want to go to kindergarten? Upon hearing kindergarten, Wanwan's jaw dropped in shock. At this moment, Su Chuai wheeled in to find Su Dad to sign company documents. As soon as he entered, he saw Wanwan with snot and tears streaming down her face. Then Wanwan cried and ran toward Big Brother, complaining, Daddy is bad, Daddy doesn't want Wanwan anymore. Big Brother awkwardly asked Wanwan, who was crying on him, what happened. Wanwan frantically shook her head in denial. It's not my fault. Daddy is bad and doesn't want Wanwan anymore. Su's dad came over and explained in panic that he just wanted Wanwan to go to kindergarten. After all, she was of school age and couldn't not go to school. After understanding everything, Big Brother helped Wanwan gently wipe the tears from the corners of her eyes. He asked Wanwan why she was afraid of kindergarten. As soon as he finished speaking, images of being eaten by tigers flashed through Wanwan's mind. She cried in terror and explained. The weird auntie who bought Wanwan said kindergarten was full of big tigers that eat children. After hearing this, Su's dad first silently cursed that evil woman, thinking he shouldn't have let her off so easily at the police station. Then he smiled and explained to his precious daughter, kindergarten doesn't have tigers that eat people, and there will be many children to play with. Wanwan still didn't believe Su's dad's words. She asked Big Brother if this was all true. Big Brother replied, of course it is. Then Su Chihuai smiled and said, our Wanwan isn't scared, is she? At these words, Wanwan completely exploded. I'm not scared. Big Brother don't slander children. The next day at the kindergarten entrance, the whole family came to send Wanwan to school. Su's dad was crying like a mess. As soon as Wanwan entered the school, she was surrounded by a group of beautiful teachers. What a cute baby, is this the new student? Wanwan, carrying her backpack, sweetly called to the people surrounding her. Beautiful aunties, hello! Meanwhile, the three elders of the Su family were all worried about whether Wanwan would adapt to her first day of school. Old Master Su was restless at home. Su's dad at the company couldn't listen to the employees' reports at all during the meeting, but kept looking at the time on his phone. He sighed about how slowly time was passing, and how long it would be before he could pick up his daughter from school. What left the employees stunned was that the usually workaholic president Su Chihuai was also spacing out during the meeting. On the kindergarten side, a big bowl was placed on the table. Teacher, can I have another bowl? The teacher was too shocked to speak. This little one had already eaten 5 bowls. Finally, afraid of making Wanwan too full, the teacher suggested she stop eating and have some fruit instead. Wanwan reluctantly agreed. Suddenly, a little boy with a crutch entered from outside, immediately catching Wanwan's attention. Wow, the little brother has both golden light and purple energy. Wanwan was truly smitten this time. Could this be what Master called a person with perfect merit? She ran over to the boy on her little short legs, pattering along. I'm called Wanwan. What's your name, little brother? The boy quietly answered Gu Fangqi, but Wanwan didn't hear him. She was being a little fangirl. Wow, pretty brother, you're so good looking. The next second, she started touching him all over. You're so fair. Are you a pretty boy? Your skin is so good, and you're so tall. Finally, the boy couldn't stand this little dumpling anymore. He shouted, enough! I said my name is Gu Fangqi. Wanwan suddenly noticed something unusual about Gu Fangqi. He clearly had golden light protecting him, so why did he have death energy? Then Wanwan asked if the little brother was feeling unwell. Gu Fangqi coughed shyly and told Wanwan to stop bothering him. But Wanwan patted her chest confidently and told him not to worry. She said to Gu Fangqi, from now on, you'll be my 38th friend in class. If anything happens, I've got your back. Gu Fangqi was speechless, because there were only 18 people in the class total. The next second, Wanwan was rummaging through her backpack, muttering, where's the imperial talisman Master gave me last time? Behind her, Gu Fangqi sighed helplessly. Wanwan disappointedly spread her hands and said sorry. She had given the last one to Big Brother. The sudden apology left Gu Fangqi confused. Is this girl stupid? But the next second, Wanwan said happily, it doesn't matter. I can draw talismans. I can bring one for little brother tomorrow. At this moment, a chubby boy came over wanting to trade building blocks for Wanwan's snowflake pieces. Wanwan looked down at the snowflake pieces on her body and refused the boy's request. She was going to give these to Gu Fangqi. If you want them, I can give you some tomorrow. As soon as she finished speaking, the chubby boy angrily raised his building blocks. Why are you paying attention to this little cripple? With that, he threw the building blocks hard at Gu Fangqi's head. The next second, Wanwan bravely protected the little brother behind her. She loudly scolded the boy for giving people random nicknames. The chubby boy was scared and trembling by Wanwan's aura, but he still stubbornly insisted he wasn't wrong. Gu Fangqi walks with a limp, so he is a little cripple. Wanwan pointed at the chubby boy menacingly. If one day you suddenly walked like this too, what would you do? And you can't use violence. Would you want to be called a little cripple then? The chubby boy was sweating profusely and didn't know how to answer. The next second, the chubby boy completely broke down. He cried and shouted that he wanted his mommy. Wanwan then acted like a little lady and said to Gu Fangqi, little brother, Master said, do not do unto others what you would not want done unto yourself. You can't mock others' shortcomings. Gu Fangqi shyly pointed to her hair. Your hair is messy. Seeing Wanwan's confused look, Gu Fangqi sighed and told her to crouch down. Looking at the little pigtail that little brother personally tied for her, Wanwan happily spun around in front of the mirror. Finally, it was time to leave school. Old Master Su and the others had been waiting outside early. Su's dad hugged his precious daughter and immediately noticed the little pigtail on her head. Wanwan happily said it was tied by little brother. She pointed to Gu Fangqi in the distance. He's over there, Wanwan's new friend. The three Su family men immediately glared at Gu Fengqi with hostility, thinking, "You brat, stay away from my daughter, dear granddaughter, little sister." Have you ever seen such clingy dad and big brother? The girl just wants to go shopping, but dad and big brother insist on coming along no matter what. Wanwan is walking down the street feeling annoyed. Dad and big brother are such clingy people. The bodyguard awkwardly adjusts his sunglasses, never expecting his boss to be such a daughter-obsessed father. The shop windows display cute plush toys, delicious snacks, and pretty little dresses. But Wanwan doesn't like any of them. She stands there in despair and shouts, "How can there be none at all?" Seeing this, the bodyguard volunteers, "Miss Wanwan, whatever you want, we can help you find it." Wanwan counts on her little fingers as she speaks. Cinnabar, yellow paper, yellow flags. This statement instantly shocks the bodyguards behind her. Miss has such peculiar hobbies, quite different from other 3-year-olds. Seeing them stunned, Wanwan asks disappointedly, "Don't you have any?" Perhaps only that place would have what Miss wants. Saying this, the bodyguard carries Wanwan to the antique street. As soon as they enter the antique street, Wanwan's attention is drawn to a fortune-telling stall in the distance. Before the bodyguard can react, she jumps down from his arms. She runs toward the fortune-telling stall and carefully examines the woman's palm lines. However, the blind fortune-teller doesn't notice her. Instead, smugly reciting fortune-telling phrases, "Madam, you're truly blessed, your marriage line is straight and long, indicating a happy marriage and filial children." After hearing this, Wanwan puts her hands on her hips and says angrily, "Sir, that's not how you earn money. Doing this will bring divine punishment." The blind man immediately panics. He pushes Wanwan away. "Go away! Whose brat is this? Take her away quickly." Wanwan hides behind the bodyguard and continues explaining, "Palm reading focuses on left hand for innate destiny and right hand for acquired fortune." This auntie extended her left hand. "But you're talking about acquired fortune." Then Wanwan grabs the woman's palm and says, "Auntie's palm is thick and wide, indicating family harmony. But the marriage line broke 3 years ago, if I'm not mistaken. Auntie's husband passed away 3 years ago." The woman nods in confirmation. Wanwan continues examining the palm lines. "Auntie wants to know about lifespan, right?" The woman's eyes fill with tears as she says yes 3 times. Wanwan slowly says, "Auntie, human fortune isn't unchangeable. If you trust Wanwan, go to the hospital for a checkup." Then the woman wipes tears from her eyes while waving goodbye to Wanwan, constantly praising Wanwan as a good child. At this moment, the blind man is so angry he nearly grinds his teeth to dust. His good business was ruined by this brat. He wants to teach her a lesson. 3 burly men suddenly appear behind Wanwan, chasing the blind man all over the street. The blind man can only run with his bag, still being stubborn, threatening that if he sees Wanwan again, he'll make them pay. Wanwan smiles and says, "You better not run. The more you run, the unluckier you'll get." Sure enough, the blind man steps on a stone. He crashes directly into a garbage truck ahead. Garbage spills all over him. Wanwan covers her nose and says to the stinky blind man, "Uncle, don't deceive people anymore next time." Then Wanwan comes to a shop entrance. Before entering, she hears someone shouting, "Boss, I need 500 sheets of yellow paper." A young Taoist rushes past Wanwan. Wanwan feels his Taoist robe looks familiar. She doesn't think much about it and asks the boss to prepare 5-colored talisman paper, cinnabar, and yellow flags. Hearing this, the boss gets angry. "Whose little brat is this, coming here to cause trouble? Can you even use these things?" Wanwan leans on the counter and mumbles complainingly. The bodyguard won't tolerate the shop owner. He directly pulls out a gold card, nearly blinding the boss. "Our young miss wants these things. Don't say so much nonsense, just prepare them." The money-loving boss immediately prepares everything Wanwan wants. Wanwan examines the items left and right, finally bubbling with joy. These are indeed good things. Seeing this, the bodyguard dominantly slaps the gold card on the table. "Whatever our miss just mentioned, we'll take everything you have in the store." The shop owner's eyes immediately light up with dollar signs, thinking he's struck it rich. Suddenly, the young Taoist from earlier runs in with money, sweating profusely, shouting for 300 more talismans. "The boss is troubled. Didn't you just buy 500 sheets?" The young Taoist explains, breathlessly. "Don't even mention it. These disciples are so useless, they can't even draw calming talismans." The young Taoist embarrassedly scratches his head. Because of this, Master is nearly furious. The shop owner tells them to come back tomorrow. Today's yellow talismans are all sold out. The young Taoist anxiously asks, "How can you suddenly be out of stock?" The shop owner points to Wanwan, who's about to leave. That little money god bought everything in the store. The young Taoist hesitates for a moment. Finally, he catches up to Wanwan and says, "Fellow practitioner, please wait." Wanwan instinctively turns around. The young Taoist wants her to spare some yellow talismans for him. As soon as he finishes speaking, he embarrassedly runs away. But Wanwan grabs him, asking why he's running. "Don't you want the yellow talismans anymore?" The young Taoist is so moved he nearly cries, uncertainly asking, "You'll sell them to me?" But Wanwan extends her finger and says no. "We're destined to meet, I'll give them to you." Then she hands a stack of yellow talismans to the young Taoist. The young Taoist internally calls Wanwan a little bodhisattva. Then Wanwan asks the young Taoist a puzzling question. Is drawing talismans really that difficult? You're still young, you don't understand. Drawing talismans is the hardest thing. But Master often brags about his 3-year-old little senior sister, saying she's a genius who can draw talismans with just a brush. But I always feel Master is mostly bragging. Wanwan behind him suddenly says, "Is your master named Xiang Deshu?" The young Taoist is surprised how she knows. Wanwan playfully sticks out her tongue. "To tell you the truth, I'm his senior sister." Hearing that, the young Taoist is so surprised. Meanwhile, the young Taoist rushes back to the temple, but Master scolds him for going abroad to buy talisman paper, taking half a day to return. The young Taoist embarrassedly explains, "The talisman paper in the store was sold out today." Xiang Deshu points to the talisman paper in his hand, angrily asking, "Then what's that in your hand?" The young Taoist holds up the talisman paper. "I met a child today who claimed to be your senior sister. She said we were destined and gave me some talisman paper." As soon as he finishes, Xiang Deshu suddenly feels his beard hurt. "That little senior sister who loves pulling beards and eyebrows is my master's precious darling. How could Master bring her to the capital without telling me?" The so-called smart young Taoist happily jumps. "I knew it, this little brat must be lying. But why would she know Master's name?" Hearing this, Xiang Deshu immediately grabs his shoulders tightly, asking what his disciple just said. "And what did that girl look like?" The young Taoist honestly answers, "She looks as cute as a fairy." Xiang Deshu gets more excited, gripping his disciple's shoulders and shaking back and forth. The young Taoist is nearly dizzy. "What else? What else?" The young Taoist thinks and points to his cheek. "She seems to have a teardrop mole here. Does she carry a small backpack and use colorful talisman paper?" Yes, Master, you're amazing. Did you calculate all this?" Xiang Deshu is speechless. "Calculate my ass. Besides little senior sister, who else would use colorful talisman paper?" Here, Wanwan is waiting for Daddy at the company while chatting with a pretty young lady, when she suddenly senses an ominous presence. Wanwan raises her head and notices her dad walking with a man emanating black energy. Wanwan immediately notices something wrong with the man. She worriedly calls out to Dad, wanting to warn them to be careful. Unexpectedly, when Su Dad hears his daughter call him, he instantly transforms into a daughter, showing off maniac. He stops talking business and starts bragging about his precious daughter. As soon as Wanwan approaches, the female ghost behind the man greets her eerily. "Hello, Wanwan." Wanwan immediately realizes something's wrong. She quickly starts calculating with her fingers behind her back. Then she asks the uncle carrying the female ghost if he's been particularly unlucky lately, and if he experiences sleep paralysis at night. Su Dad worries that his precious daughter's words might upset his business partner, so he quickly steps out to smooth things over. Maybe Uncle Gu has been under too much work stress lately. Saying this, he hurriedly drags the man away to the meeting. As they leave, the female ghost makes a shushing gesture to Wanwan. Finally, Wanwan closes her eyes and bravely shouts loudly, "Uncle Gu, please don't be alone in enclosed spaces recently." In the company restroom, the man shakes water off his hands and mutters helplessly, "How is old Su's daughter so weird?" Unexpectedly, when the man looks up, a ghost with exactly the same face appears in the mirror. The next second, terrified, screams echo from the restroom. At this moment in the chairman's office, Wanwan points to the lipstick marks on her face adorably. "Dad, the female employees in your company are so enthusiastic. Wanwan almost got kissed raw." Su Dad jokingly says, "If Wanwan doesn't like it, Dad will notify the whole company not to kiss our precious Wanwan." Hearing this, Wanwan anxiously explains, "That's not what I mean. They like Wanwan, so they..." Before she can finish, she senses a disgusting aura. Wanwan immediately feels something's wrong. Isn't that Uncle Gu who was carrying the female ghost? Without a word, Wanwan chases after him. Father and daughter stand at the door, watching General Manager Gu moving like a zombie, puzzled about what's wrong with him. Then Wanwan makes hand seals and chants spells, preparing to open her yin-yang eyes to see General Manager Gu's condition. After seeing General Manager Gu's state clearly, Wanwan immediately realizes something's wrong. Uncle Gu is possessed by a ghost. Before Su Dad can react, Wanwan sprints forward, shouting while running for Su Dad to quickly get her equipment. Then go to the rooftop together to catch Uncle Gu. Su Dad initially thought his daughter was fooling around. Looking at the 7-star sword Wanwan left on the table, he finally decides to trust Wanwan. At this moment, Wanwan is kneeling on the stairs, gasping heavily. But she doesn't give up, constantly encouraging herself. Brave Wanwan isn't afraid of difficulties. Finally, she sees the rooftop door. Wanwan anxiously pushes open the door and shouts, "Uncle Gu, Wanwan is here to save you!" Watching General Manager Gu standing at the rooftop edge about to jump, Wanwan carefully calls out, "Uncle Gu!" General Manager Gu's neck rotates 180 degrees on the spot, smiling eerily at Wanwan. Wanwan won't indulge this evil thing. She directly holds a talisman and chants spells. The next second she uses paper as a sword. The talisman instantly hits General Manager Gu. Unexpectedly, the talisman that was just glowing golden instantly extinguishes upon touching General Manager Gu's body. Seeing this, Wanwan is shocked. How is this possible? This isn't scientific! Suddenly a sword is handed over, interrupting her thoughts. Su Dad breathlessly complains, "Daughter, why did you run so fast?" As soon as he looks up, he discovers General Manager Gu emanating black energy. Su Dad nervously asks old Gu, "What are you doing?" At this moment, Wanwan extends her hand to stop Dad, telling him to step back and stay away. Then Wanwan grips the 7-star sword. At this moment, she's truly angry. "Don't you dare bully Uncle Gu!" Saying this, she instantly leaps high, fiercely slashing down at the evil thing. Golden light immediately wraps around the female ghost. The next second, Wanwan lands steadily holding the sword. Then the female ghost lets out a piercing scream. Then General Manager Gu's body falls to the ground with a thud. Later, General Manager Gu is sent to the hospital for IV treatment. After waking up from unconsciousness, he regrets not listening to Wanwan's warning earlier. Hearing from his assistant about the thrilling moment when he was about to jump off the building, General Manager Gu feels scared. Damn, was it that thrilling and exciting? Fortunately, Wanwan stopped him in time, just as he's celebrating surviving the ordeal. The assistant pulls out a yellow talisman from his pocket and gives it to him, instructing that this is what Wanwan asked him to pass along, and he must keep the talisman with him at all times. Hearing this thoughtful instruction, General Manager Gu also wants to have another daughter, thinking of his disappointing son. In comparison, his son is completely a little devil. Unfortunately, he doesn't know about his envy. At this moment in the Su family mansion, Su Dad is holding Wanwan and showering her with kisses. After kissing, he doesn't forget to praise adorable Wanwan. Today, thanks to Wanwan saving Uncle Gu for Dad, Uncle Gu's birthday is in a few days. Will you come with Dad? Foodie Wanwan's eyes immediately light up upon hearing birthday. Yes, there'll be cake to eat. She happily agrees immediately, but her purpose for going to the birthday party isn't simply to eat cake. She sits seriously on Su Dad's lap and tells him Uncle Gu's death tribulation hasn't passed yet. She must take this opportunity to help him look carefully. Hearing this, Su Dad's face darkens. Today was so dangerous, and it still doesn't count as a death tribulation. When will the death tribulation be over? The next day at kindergarten, Wanwan doesn't see Gu Fangxi. She grabs the teacher's skirt and acts cute and coquettish. "Teacher, why didn't Gu Fangxi come?" Looking at Wanwan's bun face, the teacher's heart nearly melts. She extends a big hand to gently stroke Wanwan's soft hair. Her tone involuntarily becomes very soft. "Student Gu Fangxi is sick. He can come tomorrow." But before she finishes speaking, Wanwan suddenly rushes toward the classroom door. It turns out Gu Fangxi is standing at the door looking at her proudly. Facing enthusiastic and passionate Wanwan, Gu Fangxi doesn't know how to handle it for a moment. How can young him catch little chubby Wanwan's loving hug? Then with a loud bang, both fall to the ground. The unexpected intimate contact makes Gu Fangxi both embarrassed and shy. Wanwan acts like nothing happened, caringly telling Gu Fangxi that she knows medicine and can help treat his illness. But Gu Fangxi isn't thinking about treatment right now. Embarrassed, he weakly asks Wanwan, "Can you get off me first?" Without little chubby's weight, Gu Fangxi tremblingly stands up with his crutch. Wanwan still wants to talk more with Gu Fangxi, but the teacher calls them to go to the other side of the classroom to play with other children. Obedient Wanwan readily agrees. Okay, but when she turns around, where's Gu Fangxi? He was just beside her. Shortly after Gu Fangxi disappears, Wanwan appears in the backyard with her bun face puffed up angrily. Thinking about how Gu Fangxi just disappeared without a word, she can't help but get angry. Even cute ones have tempers, you know. Wanwan kicks the stones at her feet to vent, but hears rustling sounds from the bushes. The angry little bun immediately stops being angry. She guesses it must be Gu Fangxi in the bushes. So she prepares to go scare him properly. But hiding behind the big tree, she just pokes out her little head and gets scared by the scene before her. Two masked men lift Gu Fangxi up together. At this moment, Wanwan's mind immediately conjures her master's face. Whenever she misbehaves, Master always says he'll sell her to human traffickers. This makes Wanwan always have a deep fear of human traffickers. But Gu Fangxi is her friend. How can she just watch him get taken away? Wanwan keeps encouraging herself in her heart. Just as Gu Fangxi is thrown into the trunk, she finally overcomes her fear and bravely stands out, shouting at the kidnappers, "Let him go, you bad people!" The two kidnappers are obviously stunned seeing the little bun in front of them, but they quickly come to their senses. Kidnap one, get one free. There's actually such a good deal. While one person talks to Wanwan, the other circles behind Wanwan, holding a cloth to cover Wanwan's mouth and nose. Soon Wanwan also loses consciousness. After a while, the kindergarten teacher finally remembers to count heads, but unexpectedly discovers two people missing. Realizing something's wrong, she immediately calls Su Dad and Gu Dad, compared to Gu Dad's calm demand to check surveillance. Daughter obsessed. Su Dad has already broken down in tears. "I only have this one daughter." The bad news doesn't stop there. The person who went to check surveillance returns to report that the surveillance wires have been cut. Su Dad and Gu Dad instantly see deep worry in each other's eyes. This is bad. Meanwhile, the kidnappers in the car are gloating about making a big haul. not knowing that Wanwan has already quietly woken up. She struggles to open her eyelids, looking at Gu Fengqi sleeping beside her still unconscious. She shouts loudly, "Wake up quickly! What's wrong with you, Gu Fengqi?" Her vigorous shouts directly shock the kidnappers. How is this girl awake? Didn't they say this anesthetic could make someone sleep for 3 days? Must have bought expired anesthetic. But the kidnappers aren't worried. After all, they're just 2 little kids who can't cause much trouble and unconscious. Gu Fengqi also wakes up in Wanwan's crying and howling. But at this time the car stops. The kidnapper opens the trunk and faces Wanwan's angry little face. Fearless, she gives the kidnapper a verbal lashing. "Where are you taking me and Gu Fengqi? Are you going to sell us?" Facing Wanwan's questioning, the kidnapper gradually loses patience. He raises his hand ready to slap Wanwan. Unfortunately, his hand can't move at all. How is this possible? This girl just grabbed his hand and he can't use any strength. Wanwan righteously says, "Don't hit children." Then she uses her invincible iron grip on the other person. The kidnapper is shocked. Is this girl a monster? Awakened Gu Fengqi sees the two in a standoff. He quickly picks up Wanwan and pulls her into his arms. Not forgetting to instruct, "Wanwan, don't get so close to the kidnapper, it'll be troublesome if you get hurt." This sudden boyfriend power makes Wanwan's heart flutter. Unfortunately, this atmosphere is broken by the clueless kidnapper. Frustrated, he shouts at the 2 little ones, "You 2 won't get dinner later." Hearing this, Wanwan immediately starts crying loudly. She shouts at the top of her lungs, "How can there be no dinner? Woo, I want to eat!" The noisy crying annoys the kidnapper. He's more afraid the loud crying will attract others' attention, so he threatens Wanwan with murderous eyes. "If you cry again, I'll kill you." But for foodie Wanwan, life isn't as important as eating. She completely ignores his threat. The kidnapper really can't stand Wanwan's chatter. He directly takes out their dinner and throws it to her. But this dinner for 2 adults is devoured by Wanwan in just 1 minute, not a bite left. The kidnapper thought Wanwan would finally quiet down. He's about to have a good sleep and wake up to collect money. Unexpectedly, just as he closes his eyes, Wanwan shakes his arm and wakes him up. "Uncle, is there more food? I'm still not full." Looking at the bag that was originally full but now completely empty, the kidnappers are once again amazed by Wanwan. Is this food intake really possible for a 3-year-old? If she keeps eating like this, they'll go broke before they even make money. They should just get rid of this kid. The 2 kidnappers who can't take it anymore, each carrying a little one, quickly walk into the residential building. But Wanwan is very interested in the kidnapper's mention of getting rid of. Curiously, she turns her head and asks Gu Fengqi what getting rid of means. Gu Fengqi makes a throat-slitting gesture. It means killing you. Hearing that someone so cute would be killed, Wanwan immediately shouts, "No!" The ignored kidnapper's temples throb. He viciously roars at them, "This isn't up to you. I warn you to be smart from now on. If you dare make trouble again, I'll beat you to death later." Hearing this, Wanwan obediently nods. But as soon as they enter, the 2 little ones are roughly thrown onto the sofa. Wanwan looks heartbroken at the scattered chips on the floor. What a pity. At this time, there's urgent knocking at the door. It's actually the police doing a population census. This scares the kidnappers. They don't know whether to open the door or not. In panic, they cover the 2 little ones' mouths. To prevent them from attracting police attention, they don't forget to threaten with harsh words. "If you dare make a sound, I'll kill you immediately. Worst case, none of us live." Then they stuff them behind the sofa and go open the door. The crew-cut kidnapper faces police questioning. Why did it take so long to open the door? He quickly makes excuses about rushing to open the door and falling. The experienced police officer immediately sees this man is lying. His sharp eyes spot the scattered chips on the sofa. Then he seems to hear rustling sounds, so he casually asks, "Do you have children at home? Are these snacks for children?" Hearing this, the kidnapper immediately feels extremely uncomfortable, trying to act calm and block the police officer's investigating gaze, but his stuttering words betray him. I just bought them for myself. It's not illegal, right?" After hearing this, the police officer falls into thought. Something seems wrong, but he can't think of what. At this time, his young partner says he's too nervous. Maybe the guy just wants to eat chips. So, after simple questioning and registration, they leave. The crew-cut kidnapper breathes a sigh of relief after closing the door. The long-haired kidnapper immediately kicks toward Gu Fengqi. This brat knew there were police and tried to call for help. If I hadn't reacted quickly, we would have been exposed. Seeing Gu Fengqi fall and not get up, Wanwan speaks with a crying voice. "Gu Fengqi, does it hurt?" Gu Fengqi endures the severe pain from his abdomen, raising his weak little face to comfort her. "Wanwan, be good, don't cry. It doesn't hurt at all." At this time, the crew-cut kidnapper has already seen that the police officer just now wasn't simple. To avoid trouble, they decide to immediately eliminate these 2 children. But they don't know that just now, Wanwan has already used Taoist magic to untie her ropes. And Gu Fengqi also used a utility knife hidden in his pocket to cut his ropes. Seeing the 2 children moving freely, the kidnappers are stunned, but what shocks them more is yet to come. Wanwan dominantly protects Gu Fengqi behind her, shouting at the kidnappers. Master once said, "Put down the butcher knife and become Buddha immediately." But uncle, you're so bad. You can only visit the 18 levels of hell. After speaking, she doesn't forget to make a face at the kidnapper. The crew-cut kidnapper's face turns green then black, black then green. He just wants to kill Wanwan immediately. Even when Gu Fengxi offers to have his dad pay more ransom, it won't work, taking advantage of the gap while talking to the kidnappers. Gu Fengxi turns back and exchanges glances with Wanwan. Later, I'll distract them, you run out and call for help, understand? But Wanwan sees the death aura around Gu Fengxi is heavier than before. If she leaves, Gu Fengxi will surely die. Since the kidnappers are cruel enough to not spare even 2 children, then she won't be polite to them either. She protects Gu Fengxi behind her again. Wanwan starts making hand seals, then shouts loudly, 5 elements mutual restraint, reverse heaven and earth, metal generates wood falls. Instantly, Wanwan is surrounded by golden light, dazzling and brilliant. This causes the kidnappers who originally wanted to eliminate her to be completely controlled by her. In an instant, the little crew cut who was just threatening feels his body out of control. The knife in his hand flies out directly and sticks in the ground, while the 2 dumb kidnappers are stunned. Gu Fengxi grabs a mop and thrusts it at Crew Cut's stomach, before he can react. With Wanwan's baby voice saying I hit, Crew Cut feels his shin bone is about to break. Being beaten by 2 kids and howling, the long-haired kidnapper beside him is so angry his teeth itch. He pulls out a handgun and starts loading it. Then points the gun at Wanwan, constantly yelling, why aren't you fighting anymore? Keep making trouble! Wanwan looks at the black unknown object in Longhair's hand. Although she doesn't know what it is, she instinctively feels it's dangerous. So she secretly makes hand seals behind her back to cast spells. Seeing the timing is right, she directly provokes the smug Longhair, saying, even if I sit still and let you hit me, you still can't hit me. This angers Longhair so much he trembles all over. He's lived 30 years and this is the first time he's been looked down upon by a 3-year-old. Furious, he pulls the trigger. The gunshot alarms the police who just left. They exclaim it's bad, that family definitely had problems. Then they blame themselves for not being alert enough. What if someone gets hurt because of this? They run faster and faster. But arriving at the door, they're scared by the scene before them. The kidnappers who were arrogant a minute ago are now crying and kneeling before 2 children. Wanwan impatiently scolds. What are you crying for? 2 grown men, not as good as a little kid. Police officer He Kyung looks at Wanwan's back and finds it familiar. Uncertainly, he calls out, Su Wanwan? Wanwan sees the person is police officer He Kyung, who helped her find her dad before. She happily waves and greets him. The 2 kidnappers beside just want to be arrested quickly. This little brat is too evil. Not only did bullets completely miss her, she even picked them up and spun them around until they almost vomited. To quickly escape this monster, both confess to kidnapping children without any denial. He Cheong touches Wanwan's soft head, never expecting to see such bizarre things in his years of work. At this time, Gu Fengxi stands out to testify that the kidnapper's target was him, and Wanwan was just implicated by him. He Kyung turns to look at Wanwan. Is that so? But Wanwan completely ignores He Kyung. She walks over and grabs Gu Fengxi's little hand, loudly saying, I wasn't implicated, I volunteered. And I feel very happy in my heart for protecting Gu Fengxi today. These words warm Gu Fengxi's heart. Looking at the adorable and cute Wanwan, he can't look away. After resolving the situation, He Cheong brings the children back to the police station and notifies their families to pick them up. But Wanwan, who used spiritual power and force, seems exhausted, constantly yawning. Gu Fengxi, sitting beside, is still blaming himself. Thinking about the moment when Wanwan was held at gunpoint, he felt his heart almost stopped beating. With a red face, he was about to thank Wanwan. Turning around, he discovers Wanwan has already fallen asleep, leaning on his shoulder. Her drool covered Gu Fengxi's entire shoulder when Officer He Hyung found them. Gu Fengxi quickly asked if they could leave, but was told they needed to wait a bit longer. Their conversation woke Wanwan from her sleep. She urgently asked if the bad guys had been caught. He Kyung smiled and explained they still needed a little more time, because during the interrogation of the kidnappers, they learned that a woman had paid 5 million as a deposit to have them kidnap a child in the capital. He Cheong believed there were still many suspicious points in this case, so he wanted to understand the situation from the 2 of them. For instance, how did a knife get embedded in the wall? Wanwan stretched out her hand with a proud expression and demonstrated, just like this, whoosh, and the knife flew right in. This statement shocked the 2 people beside her. He Jiang secretly asked Gu Fengxi if it was really as Wanwan said, and Gu Fengxi helplessly nodded. He Kyung took a deep breath. It seemed this little girl was truly extraordinary. Then he asked Wanwan why the talisman paper she gave him suddenly disappeared. Wanwan looked at it in surprise and saw that the talisman paper had completely burned away. So she pouted and pointed at He Kyung, scolding him for not listening to her, and said the talisman paper had helped him ward off a deadly calamity. He Kyung suddenly remembered something. Last time when chasing criminals, they had shot at him, but unexpectedly the bullet suddenly changed direction. allowing him to escape disaster. He recalled hearing that Wanwan's master was from a special department. This would explain Wanwan's special abilities. At this moment, Hikayong received news that Wanwan's parents were arriving soon. Upon hearing this, Wanwan grabbed Gufangchi and ran outside. But Gufangchi stumbled and nearly fell. Wanwan quickly asked with concern if he was hurt. However, Wanwan's frowning expression was misunderstood by Gufangchi as mockery. He had become disabled due to an accident when he was 1 year old, and had endured mockery from others since childhood, so he always deliberately walked very slowly to hide his physical defect. Gufangchi knelt on the ground and shouted at Wanwan, "I don't need your concern." This truly startled Wanwan. The clever girl immediately realized that Gufangchi had misunderstood her. So she stepped forward, took his hand, and explained that she wasn't disgusted by him. She was just thinking about how to heal his leg. Wanwan looked at him with sparkling big eyes and said confidently, "My abilities are very powerful. I can really heal your leg. Give me 1 month, and I'll definitely make you able to run and jump like other children." Wanwan looked at Gufangchi sincerely and asked, "Gufangchi, do you trust Wanwan?" Gufangchi embarrassedly turned his head away. At this moment, Su-dad and Gu-dad, who had received the news, rushed into the police station. Wanwan immediately cried and flew into her father's arms. Su-dad asked his precious daughter with concern if she was hurt. Wanwan thoughtfully wiped the tears from her father's eyes and comforted him that she was fine. Suddenly, Su-dad turned and saw the interaction between the Gu father and son. He instantly shivered. This father and son were really polite with each other. The next second, Su-dad's thoughts were interrupted by an officer who came to tell them about the kidnapping situation and that they would continue to investigate. However, Wanwan was staring straight at Gu-dad. Uncle Gu's complexion doesn't look good. Gu-dad was curious why Wanwan kept staring at him. Wanwan pointed at him and explained, "Uncle Gu, I can see that your forehead is still dark, surrounded by negative energy, and you're in mortal danger." As soon as she finished speaking, Su-dad lovingly introduced his precious daughter, but before he could finish, Wanwan ran out. "Don't worry, Uncle Gu. Wanwan will definitely help you live to be 100. Watching his precious daughter go give warmth to others, Su-dad was heartbroken to tears. He instantly felt like his little cotton-padded jacket had holes in it. Wanwan had no time to care about her sad father, but instead, sweetly made a condition to Gu-dad. When Gu-dad asked what condition, Wanwan was a bit embarrassed. She wanted Gu-dad to give her a few more pieces of cake on his birthday. This made Gu-dad laugh, and he praised Su-dad's daughter for being adorable. Then, he not only rubbed Wanwan's little head, but also wanted to take Wanwan home to raise for a few days. Su-dad was instantly furious and threatened to kick Gu-dad to death. Then he nervously pulled his daughter to his side and mocked Gu-dad. "Even if you had another child, you couldn't have such an adorable daughter," and warned him not to have designs on his precious daughter. The two were instantly at daggers drawn, and Gu-dad was so angry he wanted to fight. At this moment, Gufangchi asked Wanwan with concern, "My dad won't be in trouble, will he?" Wanwan immediately patted her little chest and promised, "We're good friends. Uncle Gu will be fine. Wanwan will definitely protect you all." Their conversation was overheard by Gu-dad. Then he immediately left the chattering Su-dad and came to Wanwan, saying, "Since you're friends, you should call him Big Brother Chi from now on." Upon hearing this, Wanwan nodded frantically in agreement. Gu-dad completely ignored his blushing son and showed his foxtail, saying that Wanwan also couldn't call him Uncle Gu anymore. Upon hearing this, Gufangchi immediately had an ominous feeling. Sure enough, as expected, Gu-dad wanted Wanwan to call him Godfather from now on. Su-dad behind them was so angry he became blurry. Then Wanwan sweetly asked Su-dad, "Uncle Gu wants me to call him Godfather from now on." Su-dad put his arm around his daughter's shoulder and asked, "What does Wanwan think about that?" Wanwan thought for a moment. Then she stood on her tiptoes and whispered in her father's ear, if Uncle Gu was willing to buy Wanwan cake every day, Wanwan could agree. Su-dad helplessly poked his scheming daughter with his finger. "You little money grubber, you can be bought for just a piece of cake." Upon hearing this, Gu-dad was overjoyed and immediately shouted, "I'm willing! I'm so willing! From now on, I'll buy Wanwan a piece of cake every time we meet." Wanwan even playfully extended her finger to pinky promise with him. Then Gu-dad was so happy he didn't know how to express it. He spread his broad arms to hug Wanwan, but was firmly held back by Gufangchi behind him, who told him to calm down. Then he reached out to protect Wanwan, telling the crazy Gu-dad not to come closer. saying he would scare Wanwan. Seeing Gu Fengqi protecting her like this, Wanwan happily called out Big Brother Qi from behind. Upon hearing this, Gu Fengqi's face instantly turned as red as a monkey's bottom. He couldn't believe that Wanwan was calling him. Before he could react, Wanwan kissed him on the cheek. Seeing his son covering his cheek shyly, Gu Dad seemed to have discovered a new world and kept taking photos of his son with his phone. Gu Fengqi, both shy and angry, began trying to snatch his father's phone. Su Dad and Wanwan watched the scene and laughed happily. This was what a father and son should be like. The next afternoon, Wanwan rubbed her eyes and walked downstairs. When she saw the table full of delicious food that Grandpa and Dad had prepared for her, she instantly became alert, with stars appearing in her eyes. She teleported to sit in the chair, and drool began flowing uncontrollably from the corner of her mouth. The next second, her little tummy began protesting with gurgling sounds. Wanwan covered her little tummy and said, "Is Daddy hungry?" Wanwan's tummy doesn't make sounds. Then Su Dad smiled and said goodbye to his daughter. "Today is Sunday. You don't need to go to school. Just stay home and keep Grandpa company." As soon as Su Dad left, Su Grandpa took out his phone to entice Wanwan to go fishing with him. Wanwan thought about it. Grandpa usually either fishes or plays chess. It should be quite interesting. She immediately happily agreed to go with Grandpa. Su Grandpa was so moved he almost cried. Usually his precious granddaughter was either monopolized by her father or that brat Su Chuai. Finally, he had time to bond with his dear granddaughter. A moment later, an SUV stopped at the wild fishing area. The fishing old man was puzzled. "Didn't you say you had something to do and wouldn't come today?" Su Grandpa smugly adjusted his sunglasses. "Tata, today I'm accompanying my precious granddaughter to fish." Wanwan politely waved and greeted the grandpas. The friends, seeing the sparkling Wanwan, were instantly melted by her cuteness. The three old men forgot about fishing, and all gathered around to praise Wanwan's adorableness. The old man in the middle couldn't help himself, and even reached out to pat Wanwan's little head. Seeing his old friend's reactions made Su Grandpa bloom with happiness. Suddenly, Wanwan pointed to the riverside and said, "Grandpa, your fish seems to have bitten." Old Gu smoothly lifted his rod, and a big red carp jumped out of the water. The few old men had never caught such a big and beautiful red fish before, and they all gathered around Old Gu with envy. At this moment, Wanwan seriously told Su Grandpa, "Grandpa will catch an even bigger fish than this." Su Grandpa happily prepared to cast his line immediately. At this moment, an untimely cold snort sounded. An old man by the river mocked, "How can you take a little child's words seriously?" Old Gu beside Wanwan smiled and said he believed Wanwan's words. Then he picked up his fishing rod and said goodbye to Su Grandpa, preparing to change fishing spots. Wanwan comfortably took the milk tea delivered by the bodyguard beside Grandpa, while Su Grandpa stared intently at the water surface, constantly muttering, "Big fish, big fish, big fish." The next second, the fishing float on the water surface moved. Su Grandpa quickly grabbed the fishing rod. He didn't expect the fish to come so fast. With a splash, a bigger and more beautiful red fish than before was successfully caught by Su Grandpa. The old man who had just made sarcastic comments was instantly envious. "It really is a big fish. Is your granddaughter the reincarnation of a lucky star?" Her words are so effective. Just as everyone was celebrating, a splash suddenly came from the distance. Oh no, it's Old Gu. Old Gu fell into the water. Seeing this, Su Grandpa immediately took off his shirt. He dove into the water to rescue Old Gu. The bodyguards behind were at a loss. If something happened to the old master, it wouldn't be as simple as losing their jobs. At this moment, Wanwan calmly told the bodyguards not to worry, that Grandpa would return soon. The bodyguards wanted to say something but were interrupted by Wanwan. She told the bodyguards to quickly prepare some towels for Grandpa, because Wanwan had calculated that Grandpa wasn't in danger, but she wouldn't tell the bodyguards about this. Suddenly, dark clouds gathered in the distant sky. Wanwan by the river was shocked. It had been fine just moments ago. How was the river now full of negative energy? And there was even a trace of evil energy inside. Realizing that Grandpa was in danger, Wanwan anxiously ran toward the river, constantly reminding herself to go faster. But when she reached the riverside, she couldn't see Grandpa anywhere. Su Grandpa in the river was about to lose his strength, feeling something in the water pulling him down. Wanwan by the riverside immediately pulled out a talisman. The next second, she formed hand seals with one hand and held the talisman with the other, thinking she couldn't wait any longer. Grandpa must be entangled by negative energy. Thinking this, she began chanting, "Brilliant sun and light, rising from the east. I command this talisman to sweep away all misfortune, subdue demons and monsters, transform them into good fortune." Suddenly, the talisman glowed with golden light and flew toward the river. Unexpectedly, as soon as the talisman touched the water surface, it turned to ash without creating a single ripple in the river. Seeing this, Wanwan realized this was troublesome. The negative energy in the river seemed to be angered by Wanwan, and in an instant, it all gathered and rolled toward Su Grandpa, wanting to devour him. To save Grandpa, Wanwan took out a dagger from her bag. She didn't hesitate to cut her finger. The pain made Wanwan's tears flow, but she still insisted on keeping one eye open, using her bleeding little hand to tremblingly draw in the air. The next second, a golden blood talisman appeared in the air. Now Wanwan was completely angered by the negative energy, and she prepared to use her ultimate move. Wind and water rise. Change at my command. The huge golden blood talisman fell onto the river surface. The negative energy was instantly dispersed, and the river became calm. Without the obstruction of negative energy, Wanwan successfully saw Grandpa in the river. Seeing that Grandpa was safe, Wanwan's heart finally settled, and she breathed a sigh of relief. Then Su Grandpa was successfully brought ashore with everyone's help. Old Gu was also taken away by the ambulance personnel. Wanwan, by the river, cried and ran toward Grandpa. She threw herself into Grandpa's arms. Su Grandpa thought he had scared his granddaughter, and kept comforting her not to be angry with Grandpa. Back home, Su Grandpa kept sneezing. Su Dad immediately noticed something was wrong, and questioned the old man about whether he had taken his daughter fishing, and ended up in the water himself. Wanwan immediately stood up proudly and said, "Of course not. Grandpa was being brave and heroic. He's a hero." The next second, Wanwan suddenly became upset and cried. It turned out she was blaming herself for being useless today, not wanting her family to have accidents. It was all Wanwan's fault for being useless. The more she spoke, the harder she cried. Su Dad squatted down to comfort his precious daughter. "Did Wanwan see something? Is that why you're saying this?" Then he dismissed the others and spoke with Wanwan alone. Wanwan cried and said she discovered someone was secretly harming the family, that the house was full of black fog and negative energy. Wanwan was so anxious, she cried, wanting to protect her family well, but she didn't know what to do. Wanwan thought to herself, if she had known that life outside the temple was so sinister, she should have listened more during classes with her senior brothers. Also, when Grandpa was rescuing someone in the river today, everything was fine at first, but unexpectedly there was suddenly so much negative energy in the river. Su Grandpa immediately fell into deep thought. At that time, he felt someone pulling him into the river, and he thought it was his imagination. Now it seemed things weren't that simple. Then he gently touched Wanwan's little head. "So my precious one saved Grandpa, didn't she?" Wanwan replied somewhat dejectedly, "Wanwan is useless. She could only temporarily ease the crisis." Seeing this, Su Dad quickly squatted down to comfort his daughter. "That's because our Wanwan is too young. When Wanwan grows up, she'll be able to solve the family's problems." Wanwan wiped her tears and encouraged herself. "I will definitely be able to protect everyone, having resolved her inner conflict." Wanwan returned to her optimistic self and happily ran to her room to draw talismans. Watching Wanwan frantically drawing talismans like an octopus, the family members were all stunned in amazement. Then she took a stack of drawn talismans and put them in Big Brother's hands. "These are for Big Brother." She gave Grandpa another stack. "These are for Grandpa." Finally, she stuffed all the remaining talismans into Su Dad's hands. "These are for Daddy and second brother, third brother, fourth brother, fifth brother, and sixth brother." In a Taoist temple in the suburbs, a master and disciple were performing a ritual in front of an altar. Suddenly, the incense burner in front of them exploded with a bang. The sorcerer immediately lost his power and fell to the ground, spitting blood continuously. The disciple quickly helped his master up. The sorcerer wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. "It's actually a backlash." Hearing this, the disciple was shocked. How is that possible? The Su family is clearly at the end of their rope. It seems the Su family has some ability. They actually found a Taoist with decent cultivation. Thinking of this, the sorcerer clenched his fist viciously. No matter who it is, within 1 year, no one in the Su family will survive. Early the next morning, Wanwan climbed down from Big Brother's bed. and anxiously ran to find water to drink. Turning around, she found that Big Brother was also awake. Then Su Wanwan sat on the edge of the bed and touched his sister's head. He unconsciously put on the slippers on the floor and walked toward the bathroom yawning. The next second, Su Wanwan stood there in disbelief. Wanwan happily chased after him. "Big Brother, you can walk." Only then did Su Wanwan react. He tried taking a few more steps forward and realized it was all real. He had really recovered to normal. Then he picked up his sister and showered her with kisses. Wanwan is truly Big Brother's little lucky star. Wanwan couldn't wait to tell Daddy and Grandpa the good news. She happily ran downstairs, shouting as she ran, "Brother's leg is healed." Hearing the sound, Su Dad rushed over but still asked his son in disbelief, "Has your leg really recovered?" Hearing Su Wanwan's definite reply, his worried heart finally settled. Then the family sat together for breakfast. Wanwan asked Daddy if Big Brother could now take her for walks. Su Dad said while wiping the little kitten's face, "When he's better, I'll let him carry you while running." Hearing this, Su Wanwan lovingly touched his sister's little head. From now on, Big Brother will take Wanwan out to play every day. The next second, Wanwan threw herself into Big Brother's arms. Wanwan loves Big Brother the most. The old father behind could only eat his jealousy in silence. Didn't Wanwan love Daddy anymore? Wanwan immediately explained anxiously. "Of course I do. Wanwan loves Grandpa the most too." Her words instantly made everyone laugh. Who knew Wanwan was such a master at keeping everyone happy? Then Wanwan, carrying her school bag and singing, happily walked on the path to kindergarten. Suddenly, she noticed a figure ahead. She hurriedly chased after him anxiously and asked, "Teacher, did Gu Fangxi come to class today?" The teacher smiled and took Wanwan's hand. "Did you two make an appointment? You came to class together. I'll take you to the classroom to find him." Just reaching the doorway, Wanwan happily shouted, "Gu Fangxi, I missed you so much." The next second, she spread her arms and pounced over, having experience from last time when Wanwan knocked him to the ground. This time, Gu Fangxi planted his stance and held his breath, spreading his arms to receive Wanwan's loving hug. As expected, he successfully caught her this time. The teacher worriedly helped Wanwan up, telling her not to do such dangerous moves in the future. Gu Fangxi's face turned red as he quickly explained, "She didn't fall this time." Then Wanwan took out her favorite chocolate and fed it to Gu Fangxi. Seeing that Gu Fangxi also liked it, Wanwan was about to feed him another piece, when the snotty little fat boy behind suddenly wanted Wanwan to feed him one too. As expected, he immediately received Gu Fangxi's death stare. Little Fatty was so scared, he ran away, shouting as he ran, "The viper is going to eat children!" Gu Fangxi smugly continued to enjoy being fed by Wanwan. Little Fatty ran crying to the teacher to complain. He pointed at Gu Fangxi in the distance while crying. "It was him who scared me with his eyes." The teacher was also puzzled about how eyes could scare people, so she quietly asked Gu Fangxi what happened. Wanwan domineeringly protected Gu Fangxi behind her. "Little Fatty is lying. He was the one who called Brother Chi a viper." After speaking, Wanwan angrily took Gu Fangxi's hand and left, saying she never wanted to play with Little Fatty again. This made Little Fatty cry even harder while hugging the teacher's leg. Back home, Wanwan angrily stabbed at the steak on the table, treating it as Little Fatty from school. "I'm so angry. Maybe I should draw a big circle to curse him next time." She immediately dismissed this idea. No, Master said I can't use Taoist magic carelessly. But I'm really so angry." Dad also noticed her abnormal behavior. Wanwan kept shoving the steak that represented Little Fatty into her mouth while mumbling unclearly, "I'm fine." Seeing this, Su Dad had a brilliant idea and reminded Wanwan that tomorrow she could go to her godfather's house to eat cake. As expected, upon hearing about cake, Wanwan not only stopped being angry, but her eyes were full of stars, and drool uncontrollably flowed from the corner of her mouth. She immediately jumped up happily. Watching Wanwan happily go prepare gifts for her godfather, Su Dad breathed a long sigh of relief. Fortunately, he managed to get through that. Otherwise, he wouldn't have known how to comfort his daughter. The next day, Wanwan was troubled about which outfit to wear to see Gu Fangxi. Su Dad asked his daughter, "Do you like little Chi?" His daughter answered without hesitation, of course. The next second, the father's jealousy jar was completely overturned. "Damn brat! Both the big one and the small one are trying to steal my precious daughter." Then as father and daughter got out of the car, Wanwan exclaimed in amazement, Brother Chi's house is so big, Dad immediately said proudly. Our old mansion is even more magnificent than this. Dad will take you to see it when we have time. After entering the banquet hall, Wanwan looked left and right, wondering where everyone had gone. Finally, she saw her godfather's figure in the distance. Wanwan immediately ran over happily. Hearing Wanwan's call, Dad immediately squatted down to hug Wanwan. After getting closer, Wanwan felt strange. Why had her godfather's negative energy intensified again? She quickly waved her little hands to disperse the negative energy. It seemed she needed to find the cause properly. Then she asked where her beloved brother Chi was. Her godfather had just told her he might be in the backyard, when Wanwan threw a box at him, saying it was a birthday gift for her godfather. Then she whooshed away to find her little brother. Dad opened the box and looked at the golden glowing gift inside, so surprised he couldn't speak, only feeling that his whole body had become comfortable. Seeing this, Dad was so angry his teeth itched. That despicable Gu Yuan actually conspired with his son to steal my daughter. What a shameless scoundrel! At this moment, Wanwan had just arrived in the backyard when she saw several children bullying Gu Fangxi. They mocked him for being a dead cripple, completely unworthy of being the Gu family's eldest young master. Wanwan's face instantly darkened upon hearing this, and her fists unconsciously clenched. Those people even said he was a disaster star who had killed his own mother. Gu Fangxi gritted his teeth and was about to fight back, when he was interrupted by a voice. Sword come! In the distance was the fuming Wanwan, holding tree branches in both hands, wanting to teach the bad boys who bullied Brother Chi a lesson. Seeing this, the boys immediately angrily scolded. Little dumpling, who are you? Who let you in? Wanwan's face became increasingly ugly. She went up to the boy with the wooden stick. I'm here to teach you a lesson. The angry Wanwan used the wooden stick to make the boy jump around everywhere. The boy wanted to escape but stepped on a stone and fell to the ground. Wanwan angrily told him to apologize to Brother Chi. The boy sat on the ground crying in fear, stammering and asking Wanwan if she was really a girl. How could she be so fierce and not gentle at all? Wanwan put her hands on her hips and shouted, I'm just a baby. Suddenly she whooshed and pointed the wooden stick in front of the boy. Quick, tell me why you bullied little brother. The boy pointed at Gu Fangxi and anxiously explained. He bullied Gu Yan first. Wanwan asked her little brother quietly and learned that Gu Yan was his stepmother's child, and he hadn't bullied him. The boy clenched his fists and anxiously argued, No, it was him. It was him. He's lying now. The boy became more and more agitated, saying that the friends behind him could testify. They all saw with their own eyes that Gu Yan just wanted his safety charm. And not only did he refuse to give it, he even pushed Gu Yan to the ground. Speaking, the boy retreated to his friend's side and gradually gained confidence. Sure enough, what my mom said was right. Gu Fangxi is a disaster star with a mother who gave birth to him, but no mother to raise him. As soon as he finished speaking, Wanwan angrily wanted to teach him another lesson, but was stopped by Gu Fangxi behind her. Forget it, he said dejectedly. They're right. I really am a disaster star. Upon hearing this, Wanwan immediately disagreed. Brother Chi is not a disaster star. When Auntie passed away, you were still so small. What could be your fault? His mother is bad. Why does she like to randomly blame people? And we're all children. Why should the older ones give way to the younger ones? Hearing this, Gu Fangxi's heart was moved. Is this what it feels like to have someone on your side? Then Wanwan stood up and waved her fists to warn the boys. You remember this. Gu Fangxi is under Su Wanwan's protection. If you dare bully him again in the future, be careful of bad luck for a lifetime. The boys fled in panic. Then Wanwan pulled Gu Fangxi's little hand to leave. Unexpectedly, Gu Fangxi suddenly stopped, telling Wanwan not to casually pick up tree branches from the ground in the future because they're dirty. Wanwan replied huffily, I didn't bring my precious 7-star sword. Next time, Wanwan definitely won't let anyone bully you. Suddenly, Gu Fangxi clenched his fists and interrupted Wanwan, telling her coldly, Actually, I'm not as good as you think. Before he could finish, Wanwan tightly grabbed his hand. That's not true. Brother Chi is the best. She even instantly transformed into a little teacher. If someone who carries purple energy and moral golden light doesn't count as a good person, then there are no good people in this world. Then Gu Fangxi took Wanwan's hand and left the backyard. Passing by a courtyard gate, Wanwan suddenly gasped in fear. She hid behind Gu Fangxi in terror, pointing at the small courtyard and asking what that place was. Gu Fengxi came to the courtyard gate and explained, "This place caught fire recently, and the family hasn't hired anyone to repair it yet." At this moment, Wanwan had already transformed into a koala clinging to Gu Fengxi, this big tree. Gu Fengxi helplessly called for her to come down, preparing to take her away from there. But they hadn't walked far when Wanwan stopped again. It turned out she had noticed something strange about the wall. Just as Gu Fengxi was about to check, his wrist was immediately wrapped by negative energy. Wanwan instantly pulled him away, shouting nervously, "Brother Qi, don't touch it." Then she asked if this wall was newly built. It turned out that the Gu family had suddenly caught fire recently. This wall had been burned down, and this was a newly rebuilt wall. Master said that any residence pays attention to feng shui, first fate, second luck, third feng shui. This place is due east, which is the life gate, and construction cannot exceed 6 or 7 feet. Brother Qi, your family's wall obviously exceeds this. Do you know what this means? If you're lucky, it means financial loss. If you're unlucky, it means demanding your life. Someone is trying to harm you. Gu Fengxi suggested that Wanwan might want to look at the inner residence too. Originally, Wanwan had come to find him for this very reason, but she had just been distracted by those bad boys and forgotten. At this moment, Gu Dad suddenly appeared to call Wanwan to eat cake. Upon hearing about cake, Wanwan not only had stars in her eyes, but drool kept flowing from the corner of her mouth. She completely forgot about checking the feng shui and happily flew toward Gu Dad. Fortunately, Gu Fengxi pulled her back from behind. Only then did she come to her senses and embarrassedly said she needed to take care of business first, then eat cake later. Then Wanwan looked around in the inner residence. Then she said to Gu Fengxi, "Brother Qi, your house's terrain is wrong. In feng shui, the main door cannot face the balcony. Windows cannot face the back door. This breaks wealth. The fire position cannot have fish." After finishing this all in one breath, Wanwan sat on the ground panting from exhaustion. So many problems definitely weren't coincidental. Who exactly was harming the GU family? Wanwan asked if anyone had recently had accidents or gotten sick. Gu Fengxi said sadly, "My grandfather fell into the water while fishing recently and is still unconscious in the hospital." Only then did Wanwan understand why the golden light around Gu Fengxi would sometimes be strong and sometimes weak. Then she worriedly held Gu Fengxi's hand. "Your house's feng shui has been altered. The important thing is that the old residence can't be lived in anymore." Gu Fengxi asked, "Is there a way to break it?" Wanwan answered confidently, "Of course there is, but I need to go home and prepare." Inwardly, she embarrassedly stuck out her tongue. "I can't let Brother Qi know I need to go home and look through books." Suddenly, a big hand appeared behind Wanwan. With a thud, Wanwan fell to the ground. The boy who pushed her put his hands on his hips and mocked, "What is this? Turns out it's just a little mouse." Gu Fengxi heartbreakingly helped Wanwan up and angrily looked at the boy. "Guyan, are you looking for death?" Seeing this, the boy trembled in fear, retreating while saying fearfully, "Dead cripple, get away from me." The furious Gu Fengxi grabbed him, and then, with a cold snort and a dark expression, forcefully threw the boy to the ground. The boy immediately pointed at Gu Fengxi threateningly, "I'm going to tell Mom and have her not give you food." Before he could finish, the enraged Gu Fengxi stepped on his leg. At this moment, Wanwan noticed something abnormal. Why was there so much negative energy around this boy? The stepmother, hearing her biological son's cries, rushed over. Without a word, she slapped Gu Fengxi away. The boy cried and told his mother to lock the little disaster star in the dark room, not giving him food or water. Hearing footsteps behind them, the boy's mother immediately covered his mouth. Then she held her son and performed a tearful act. "Little Qi, I know you don't like Auntie, but you can't take it out on your little brother." Gu Dad immediately wanted to discipline Gu Fengxi, but Gu Fengxi stubbornly said he deserved to be beaten. At this moment, Wanwan also stood up. "Brother Qi is right. He did deserve it." Wanwan showed her wounds to her father. "Gu Yan pushed me down first, and that's when Brother Qi got angry." Then Wanwan domineeringly pointed at the pretending mother and son. "He was the one who tried to snatch the safety charm I gave to Brother Qi earlier. When Brother Qi wouldn't give it to him, he brought people to beat Brother Qi." Guyan kept calling him Dead Cripple and Little Disaster Star, and his mother even wanted to lock Gu Fengxi up. saying she wouldn't give Gu Fangchi food or water. Godfather, is this how your family punishes children? Hearing this, Gu Dad's expression became increasingly ugly as he looked coldly at the woman, asking her to explain what was going on. Faced with the questioning, the woman was so nervous she couldn't speak. Father Gu continued to question why little Yan would say such things to his own older brother. The woman anxiously defended herself, saying that as soon as she entered, she saw Gu Fangchi hitting little Yan. Even if little Yan was being naughty, as the older brother, Fangchi shouldn't use deadly force against his younger brother. However, Wanwan's next words shocked both mother and son. Then why was Gu Yan able to use deadly force on those little animals? The boy glared angrily at Wanwan after hearing this, cursing that she was talking nonsense. The woman even threatened her viciously. "Little girl, didn't your mother tell you that children should be honest and not speak carelessly?" This really stumped our Wanwan. Her mother indeed never taught her these things. Father Su angrily picked up Wanwan. Preparing to leave, "We don't need you to worry about our child." However, Wanwan in his arms still wouldn't let it go, lady. "When Guyan was killing animals, why did you help him? Aren't you afraid they'll come looking for you at night? You're Guyan's mother, you must know what he's done, but as a mother you didn't stop him." At this point, the evil mother and son were trembling with rage from Wanwan's words. "What did master say this was called?" Gu Fangchi awkwardly whispered a reminder. "Aiding and abetting evil. Yes, that's it, aiding and abetting evil." At this moment, Guyan couldn't help but curse at Wanwan. "You dead girl, if you keep talking nonsense, I'll tear your mouth apart. I never killed any small animals." "Then how do you explain the animal corpses under your bed?" Upon hearing this, he immediately panicked. "You're lying. I clearly hid them in the closet." Realizing something was wrong, the woman quickly covered her foolish son's mouth to stop him from saying more. Everyone present was shocked. They never expected it to be true. Wanwan playfully stuck out her tongue. "Actually, I didn't know. I was just bluffing you." Then Father Gu went to Guyan's room. He had just reached out to open the closet when he was terrified by what he saw. The closet was packed full of animal corpses. Gu Fangchi thoughtfully covered Wanwan's eyes so she couldn't see. Father Gu clenched his teeth in anger. "Damn it, Guyan, what the hell is this about?" At this moment, Guyan was clinging to his mother, trembling. "Dad, someone must have framed me. I never did these things." Then he pointed at Gu Fangchi behind him. "Yes, it must have been him. He's been jealous of me since childhood." Seeing this, Wanwan suddenly stepped in front of her little brother to question him. "What would Brother Fangchi be jealous of you for?" The evil woman thought to herself that this was bad. If this continued, her son would definitely mess things up. Gu Fangchi said, "He's jealous that my legs aren't disabled." Before he could finish speaking, the evil woman slapped her son across the face. "At a time like this, why won't you tell the truth?" Guyan was beaten to tears and didn't dare say another word. But Wanwan's next statement left the evil woman with no way out. "Lady, weren't you the one who put these animals in Guyan's room? Don't rush to deny it. Everything has cause and effect. These animals died innocently, and they will definitely follow you until you receive your own retribution. Heaven has its way. Divine justice is clear. Cause and effect cycle. Retribution is inevitable." As Wanwan spoke and walked outside, her body emanated golden light that surrounded the evil woman and her son. The evil woman quickly said, "What are you talking about? I don't understand at all." Wanwan, surrounded by golden light, smiled and explained, "It's okay if you don't understand. You'll know what it means later." Behind the woman, an evil spirit was watching her menacingly. Seeing this, the evil woman still put on an innocent act to explain, but clearly Father Gu didn't want to listen. He told her to take her younger son to rest first. Father Gu held his head, somewhat doubtful. Was Guyan really his biological son? At this moment, Wanwan ignored her father's attempts to stop her and rummaged through the packages full of animal corpses. Seeing her father's confusion, Wanwan explained, "Although they're animals, they were full of resentment when they died. Now the whole room is filled with negative energy. They need to be given proper rites for the dead." After understanding everything, Father Su was still somewhat worried about his daughter. Wanwan smiled and said, "It's okay, Dad. Brave Wanwan isn't afraid of difficulties." Then Wanwan carefully arranged the small animals' corpses on the floor, and even specially placed an incense burner in front. Next, Wanwan sat cross-legged in front of the incense burner, formed hand seals, chanted sutras, and began performing rites for the poor little animals. As golden sutras flowed, the room was no longer cold and eerie, but gave people a warm feeling. The sutras instantly enveloped the small animals on the ground. Wanwan saw many ghostly shadows of small animals appear around her. They seemed to be thanking Wanwan for helping them pass on. Then they all rushed into a light gate and disappeared. 10 minutes later, Wanwan opened her eyes tiredly. She was surprised to discover that there was still a little black cat that hadn't left. "Do you have unfinished business?" Seeing the little cat meow in response, Wanwan said, "Then go and fulfill your wish." Wanwan directly used magic to send the little black cat away. Immediately, Wanwan's eyes went black, and she almost fell over, but fortunately Gu Fangchi was quick to catch her. Everyone immediately gathered around her with concern. Wanwan told her godfather to just find a place to bury the small animals. The scene changed, and Wanwan was eating cake with big bites. Seeing that it was getting late, Father Gu invited the Su father and daughter to stay overnight. "Baby, how about staying at your godfather's house with Dad tonight?" As soon as Dad finished speaking, Wanwan happily jumped up from him. "Great! I want to sleep with Brother Fangchi." Wanwan in her pajamas was like a curious baby. "Brother Fangchi has so many books. Brother Fangchi, your bed is so soft. Why doesn't Brother Fangchi's room have Ultraman?" Gu Fangchi patted Wanwan's head and told her to hurry and wash her feet. He grabbed Wanwan's little feet and put them in the basin. Brother Fangchi's face immediately turned red. So cute, so soft and squishy. Father Su, who was secretly watching from outside the door, was seething with jealousy. "That damned brat!" Suddenly Wanwan noticed him and asked, "Dad, what are you doing here?" After hearing his daughter's words, the old father felt heartbroken. At this moment, a terrified voice came from outside. "There's a ghost!" Wanwan smiled as she splashed in the water basin. "It's okay, it's just Little Black going to get revenge on Guyan." Then Father Su entered the room and lovingly stroked his daughter's head. "Dad was worried you'd be scared of the dark. If you're not comfortable, just tell Dad." Unexpectedly, his daughter not only said she was used to it, but even showed Dad her little feet. "Brother Fangchi washed my feet very clean." Father Su thought his daughter would come back with him, but after hearing her words, he was immediately heartbroken. He could only awkwardly leave the room alone. Father Su was trembling with fear in the dark hallway when suddenly a cold wind blew past. He was so scared he ran straight back to the room. At this moment, Wanwan, lying in bed, was asking questions like a curious baby. "Brother Fangchi, is your grandfather mean? Does he eat children?" Hearing this, Gu Fangchi somewhat awkwardly explained, "My grandfather doesn't eat children. Wanwan's grandfather and master aren't mean either. But kids who came to the temple used to secretly tell me that master eats children." Gu Fangchi patted Wanwan's head comfortingly. "They were just lying to you. I think what brother said is right. How could master possibly eat children? At most, he'd hit children with a stick." Hearing this, Gu Fangchi nervously asked Wanwan, "Has your master ever hit you?" "No, master said hitting me would shorten his lifespan. When he's angry with Wanwan, he hits the senior brothers instead." As she spoke, Wanwan fell asleep. Gu Fangchi carefully tucked her in. The next day, Gu Fangchi was helping Wanwan braid her hair in the room while Wanwan drowsily rubbed her eyes. Wanwan said groggily, "Brother Fangchi, my tummy is hungry." Gu Fangchi pinched her face and said, "We can eat soon." Wanwan was sleepily drooling, "I want to eat cake." Thinking of food made her instantly alert. Then she happily ran toward the dining room. Father Su and Father Gu happily greeted Wanwan, seeing his precious daughter being intimate with Father Gu. Father Su's jealousy immediately flared up. While eating cake, Wanwan reminded, "Godfather, you need to be careful recently. Wanwan will start preparing when she gets back." The scene changed to an antique alley. Wanwan was holding her father's hand as they came to the place where they bought talisman paper last time. "The big customer is back!" The shop owner excitedly ran out to greet them. Wanwan immediately asked the owner to prepare 500 sheets of talisman paper and a piece of cinnabar. Unexpectedly, the owner had sold out. Wanwan thought she was lying. She had clearly calculated that the shop had talisman paper when they were coming. Hearing this, the owner didn't dare neglect her, even changing how he addressed her. "Little master, the shop does have talisman paper, but it's already been reserved by the Celestial Master Association." Suddenly, several young Taoist priests walked in. "Boss, we're here to get the talisman paper." Wanwan felt the voice sounded familiar, so she turned to look. Seeing her, the young Taoist immediately exclaimed, "Master Uncle, Master misses you very much." After talking, Wanwan learned that her disciple nephew's name was Zhang Huayu. Wanwan covered her mouth and chuckled, "Isn't this perfect timing? Nephew Huayu, could I discuss something with you?" Hearing this, Zhang Huayu patted his chest and told Wanwan to speak freely. Wanwan's eyes were fixed on the talisman paper in the hands of the young Taoist behind him. "Could you lend me some talisman paper? I'll return double the amount in a few days." After hearing this, Zhang Huayu didn't hesitate to give all the talisman paper to Wanwan. "But Master Uncle, my master has been waiting for you for a long time. Why don't you come with me to the Celestial Master Association? Most importantly, there's roast chicken and little cakes there." Upon hearing about food, Wanwan immediately expressed that she wanted to go. Father Su noticed his little foodie's change in expression. He immediately asked his daughter if she wanted to go. Hearing this, Wanwan nodded frantically, indicating she wanted to go. Since Wanwan wanted to go and Dad was free today, he would go with Wanwan. Watching Master Uncle get into a luxury car, Zhang Huayu, who had to walk back, was stunned with envy. The scene changed to Zhang Huayu, leading Wanwan into the Celestial Master Association. The young Taoists behind them were all whispering, "Who is this child? Her seniority is so high. I heard she's the most precious disciple of the great-great-great-grandmaster." Suddenly, Xiang Deshu ran out, calling sweetly, "Senior sister!" The disciples had never seen their master like this. Their jaws dropped in shock. The next second, Xiang Deshu was hugging Wanwan and rubbing cheeks. "Little senior sister, I've missed you so much." Wanwan, already used to this, rolled her eyes helplessly. Then she pouted and asked, "Where are Wanwan's roast chicken and cakes?" "Little senior sister, don't worry, they're coming right up." Saying this, Xiang Deshou gave his foolish disciple a look, letting him figure it out himself. Then Wanwan, under their crazy feeding, burped contentedly, her little tummy even getting bigger. At this moment, Xiang Deshou was crying pitifully, begging her to help with a small favor. Since Master left, the Celestial Master Association has. Wanwan asked what happened to the Celestial Master Association. It's hard to find talented people with abilities now. Don't look at how many Taoists there are nationwide. There are very few who truly have skills and talent. Especially now with spiritual energy depleted, forget about fortune-telling. They can't even draw talismans properly. Saying this, he thought of the young Taoists in the temple and got a headache. The next second, he immediately smiled and said, "Little senior sister, could you come teach them how to draw talismans in the future?" Wanwan firmly refused. That won't do. Now it was Xiang Deshou and his disciples' turn to be confused. Wanwan is still in kindergarten and can only come on weekends. Only then did Xiang Deshou awkwardly realize. He almost forgot that little senior sister was only 3 years old. Then Xiang Deshou led Wanwan by the hand to the temple, looking at his lifeless disciples. Xiang Deshou wanted Wanwan to show off a little to open the eyes of those useless disciples. Just as Wanwan was preparing to make her grand entrance, the scene became quiet, even the air seemed to freeze. It turned out Wanwan was too short to reach the table. Fortunately, Xiang Deshou thoughtfully brought her a small stool. Wanwan picked up the brush and began drawing. With a few swift strokes, it was done. The golden light emanating from the talisman nearly blinded the young Taoists. Even Xiang Deshou stared at the talisman with glowing eyes. Little senior sister's power is as strong as ever. At this moment, Zhang Huayu's jaw had long since dropped. That's it? Shouldn't drawing talismans require bathing, paying respects to ancestors, burning incense, and being sincere first? Seeing their doubt, Wanwan immediately said she would demonstrate for them. After hearing this, Xiang Deshou's face changed dramatically. He reached out to try to stop little senior sister from using her power, but it was too late. Wanwan activated the talisman first, watching the sky outside suddenly turn black. Xiang Deshou was so anxious his eyes rolled back. Now we're done for! The next second, a lightning bolt struck right in front of them. Everyone was so scared their hair stood on end. This is summoning lightning with bare hands? Wanwan asked innocently. Can you all draw 5 thunder talismans too? Zhang Huayu and the others quickly waved their hands in denial. 5 thunder talismans have long been lost. Even if we drew them, they might not work. Wanwan was somewhat puzzled. Is it really that difficult? Why do I succeed every time? Ignoring everyone's shocked gazes, Wanwan picked up her brush and drew another 5 thunder talisman. Now it was Xiang Deshou's turn to be unsettled. He poked Wanwan, then with a coy expression, twisted around next to Wanwan. Little senior sister, could you give me this talisman? Seeing this, Wanwan didn't hesitate to give him the talisman. Xiang Deshou was as happy as a child. He would hug and kiss the talisman one moment, then jump up and run around the next. However, Zhang Huayu and the others looked at her with hopeful expectation. Master Uncle, could you teach us this 5 thunder talisman? Wanwan generously agreed to the request. Half a day later, Wanwan was leaning against the doorframe, her whole body trembling as she walked out. Seeing this, Xiang Deshou quickly stepped forward to support the exhausted Wanwan. Master has many books on drawing talismans that should be useful to them. I'll give them to you next time. Hearing this, Xiang Deshou said, it's better for you to keep what Master left behind. Hearing this, Wanwan said proudly, I already knew all that content when I was 2 years old. The next second, Wanwan angrily scolded Xiang Deshou Jr. brother. I never expected there would be people even worse at drawing talismans than you. Xiang Deshou was so embarrassed he didn't dare breathe heavily. Suddenly, a terrified scream came from behind. Oh my god, what happened? It was Father Su who saw the big crater in the courtyard. He urgently asked what had happened. Hearing this, Xiang Deshou picked up little senior sister and disappeared in a flash. He held Wanwan up in front of Father Su, begging for mercy, and seriously warned, you absolutely cannot let little senior sister use talismans at home. Wanwan immediately became unhappy and questioned why not. Back in the day, though Master's temple was small, it had everything. Even the statue of the 3 pure ancestors in the main hall was made of pure gold. Ever since this little ancestor learned to hold a brush and speak, the temple was struck by lightning every day. So to prevent you from becoming homeless, it's better not to use talismans at home. However, Father Su not only didn't forbid Wanwan from using talismans, but lovingly touched her cheek and said, it's okay, our family has plenty of houses. Xiang Deshou was nearly blinded by the rich man's aura emanating from Father Su. As soon as Wanwan got out of the car after returning home, she happily rushed toward Grandpa. The next second, she suddenly remembered what the kindergarten teacher said, Wanwan can't pounce on people. She immediately braked in front of Grandpa and said, Grandpa, I missed you so much. Goodbye, Grandpa. Then she ran straight past Grandpa, leaving the confused old man instantly petrified. Back in her room, Wanwan quickly poured out the talisman paper from her bag. She had to hurry and draw talismans for Brother Fengqi. she frantically drew with both hands and feet. Looking at the pile of talisman paper on the table, Wanwan wiped the sweat from her forehead and sighed with relief, finally finished. Suddenly, Wanwan looked up and noticed the stuffed animals on the bed. The next day at kindergarten, the teacher bent down and asked Gufangqi, what are you looking at by the door? Suddenly, Gufangqi's eyes lit up. It was Wanwan happily waving at him. Brother Fangqi came so early today. Gufangqi explained that he woke up early, but actually he wanted to see Wanwan early. Wanwan opened her backpack, while saying, Brother Fangqi, I have something for you. She handed a little bear to Gufangqi. This is my favorite little bear. I'll bring you a toy every day from now on. Gufangqi blushed and said, I like anything Wanwan brings. Suddenly, Wanwan stared at Gufangqi and said very seriously, Brother Fangqi looks so handsome. I really like you. Gufangqi, holding the little bear, was stunned. Was this Wanwan's confession? Before he could react, Wanwan pulled out a large package from her backpack. Seeing Gufangqi's confusion, Wanwan explained while holding the talisman paper, These are all talismans Wanwan specially drew for Brother Fangqi. Take the calming talismans and luck-changing talismans home this afternoon and put them up in the old mansion. After receiving the talismans, Gufangqi blushed deeply as he thanked her. However, Wanwan happily pulled his hand and said, We're friends? No need to say thank you. The sweet and happy scene between the two immediately drew jealousy from the girl with pigtails behind them. She deliberately bumped hard into Wanwan's arm from behind, then turned around and arrogantly called Wanwan an idiot. The sudden targeting left Wanwan somewhat bewildered. The next second, the girl with pigtails pointed at Wanwan and angrily scolded, What era is this? Still believing in feudal superstitions? No wonder my mom said you're a disaster star. You killed your own mother the moment you were born. Hearing this, Gufangqi's face darkened as he clenched his fists, domineeringly standing in front of Wanwan. Then he angrily walked step by step toward the girl with pigtails. If you dare, say that again. The girl with pigtails got scared and quickly brought up her mother. Gufangqi, do you believe I'll have my mom beat you up? Seeing this, the chubby classmate rushed into the office to call the teacher. The girl with pigtails, frightened and at a loss by Gufangqi, suddenly saw the teacher. She immediately started crying and acting like an innocent victim. Teacher, Gufangqi is bullying me. She pitifully threw herself at the teacher. The snobbish teacher Zhang immediately told Gufangqi to apologize to the girl with pigtails. Wanwan quickly stood up to defend. Xiajiu was talking nonsense. She insulted me first, and Gufangqi only stood up to help me. Hearing this, the girl with pigtails gave Wanwan a provocative look. She hugged the teacher's leg and cried pitifully, Teacher, I'm scared. The kids who were close to her immediately started booing. Teacher, it was Gufangqi who was bullying. He even said he'd beat Xiajiu to death. Teacher Mian felt there must be some misunderstanding. But the snobbish teacher Zhang didn't think so and told them to call their parents. In the office, teacher Mian hoped that the snobbish teacher Zhang could apologize to Gufangqi. The surveillance already shows that Xiajiu verbally insulted Su Wanwan first. As soon as she finished speaking, Mrs. Jia was unhappy. What did my daughter insult her about? Hearing this, teacher Mian continued to patiently persuade. Mrs. Xiajiu is at a critical period of growth, and guidance is very important. Sometimes you... Before she could finish, Mrs. Jia sharply interrupted. Are you saying I didn't teach her well? At this moment, Wanwan suddenly stood up. Lady, you really didn't teach your child well. Hearing this, Mrs. Jia viciously insulted Wanwan. What a wild child with a mother who gave birth but didn't raise her. After hearing this, Wanwan immediately got angry. She was about to use the 5 Thunder Talisman to strike this evil woman dead, but was firmly held back by Gufangqi. This is school. No fighting allowed. Just as Wanwan was crying with grievance. Suddenly Father Su and the others walked in with an imposing presence. Wanwan immediately ran crying to Father Su. She complained grievously that Dad came too late. Father Su apologetically said, It's Dad's fault. Then Wanwan sobbed and explained, Wanwan isn't a disaster star. This bad lady is slandering me. Seeing his goddaughter being bullied, Father Gu couldn't stand this evil woman. Some people, even with mothers to educate them, haven't been educated very well. Hearing this, the woman immediately got angry. Who do you think you are to mess with me? Do you know who my husband is? Father Gu's eyes revealed a cold light. Your husband is Xia Songyang, the marketing manager of Story Group, right? Before the woman could react, he directly took out his phone and warned Xia Songyang in a cold tone. Starting tomorrow, you don't need to come to work anymore. Xia Songyang, on the other end, wanted to beg the chairman for another chance, but Father Gu told him to go home and ask his wife properly. Now the evil woman knew she had kicked an iron plate. She stood there in shock, somewhat at a loss. Suddenly, Wanwan pointed at the woman and angrily shouted, Godfather, this bad lady also said she'd beat Brother Fangqi. The woman immediately panicked and angrily accused Wanwan of lying. Wanwan spread her little hands. I'm not lying. You're the one who's lying. As soon as she finished speaking, a fart sound echoed in the room. Everyone stared at the woman in stunned silence. Seeing this, the woman's face turned red. Why are you all looking at me? Suddenly, the chubby boy at the door embarrassedly spoke up. Teacher, I was the one who farted. Everyone was confused about why the chubby boy came to the office. The chubby boy swallowed his saliva and finally gathered the courage to shout at the teacher, "Xia Jiu was lying! I heard everything! You absolutely cannot hit Wanwan. But you can hit Xia Jiu." He even thoughtfully helped the teacher hold her down. Teacher Mian Mian was completely amused by the chubby boy. Teachers don't hit children. Then Teacher Mian Mian earnestly educated Xia Jiu. "Do you know what you did wrong today?" Just as Xia Jiu was about to speak, her furious mother grabbed her arm and dragged her outside. "Wrong about what? We're not staying in this broken school anymore." Xia Jiu looked back at Gu Fangxi's retreating figure and sadly followed her mother away. Then Teacher Mian Mian specifically told Father Gu Fangxi was very brave today. Hearing this, Father Gu no longer treated his son coldly as before, but warmly patted his son's head and praised him for doing well. When leaving, Gu Fangxi and Wanwan looked at each other. Gu Fangxi was the first to invite Wanwan to come to his house to do homework together. Wanwan happily agreed. The scene changed. Before homework even started, Wanwan was pouting and acting cute. "Brother Fangxi, my hand is sore." Gu Fangxi carefully massaged her hand. At this moment, Wanwan suggested going out to play together. Gu Fangxi sighed helplessly but still agreed. "But we still have to continue homework after dinner." Wanwan agreed without hesitation and bounced toward the door. The next second, she cried out and bumped into someone. Wanwan covered her bumped head and muttered quietly, "Who is it?" She saw Gu Fangxi's stepmother, whose whole body was filled with deathly aura, staring straight at her. This scared Wanwan into screaming in terror. "There's a female ghost!" Coming to her senses, Wanwan immediately reached for her 5 thunder talisman, wanting to blast her to death. "Bold female ghost, how dare you appear in broad daylight to scare people?" Saying this, Wanwan was about to use the talisman to deal with her. Hearing this, Cao Shu was nearly furious to death. She reached out to push away Wanwan, who was blocking her path, but was easily dodged by Wanwan. Cao Shu stumbled and fell to the ground. She angrily questioned Wanwan. "Who told you to come here?" Wanwan replied without thinking, "Godfather brought me here." After saying this, she noticed the suitcase on the ground. "Lady, are you planning to run away from home?" Now Cao Shu panicked. She viciously warned Wanwan to get lost. Suddenly, the door opened from inside. "What did you say?" Gu Fangxi stood at the door with a dark expression. Then he asked Cao Shu what was in the suitcase. Hearing this, Cao Shu's face turned pale as she gripped the suitcase handle tightly. She nervously explained that it was nothing. Then she hysterically yelled at Gu Fangxi, "I'm being kicked out by your dad. Are you happy now?" After hearing this, Gu Fangxi smiled mockingly. "You really think a pheasant can become a phoenix? Why don't you look in the mirror and see what you are?" This completely enraged Cao Shu. She instinctively raised her hand to teach Gu Fangxi a lesson. But Wanwan suddenly appeared and grabbed her wrist. "Like mother, like son. You're not a good person yourself, let alone your son. Cao Shu, the net of heaven is vast and nothing escapes. Do you really think you can hide what you did from everyone?" Now Cao Shu became nervous. "No, impossible. How could it be? Cao Shu, you have even more sins on you than your son." Suddenly, Father Gu appeared and interrupted them. "Wanwan, what do you mean by what you're saying?" Seeing this, Cao Shu quickly flirted with Father Gu, not noticing her own ghastly face. This startled Father Gu, and he shouted, "There's a female ghost!" Father Gu quickly regained his composure and asked Cao Shu, "We're about to divorce. What are you doing back here?" Before Cao Shu could speak, they heard Gu Fangxi's voice. "Dad, call the police quickly!" He had found company bidding materials in her suitcase. After Father Gu took the materials, he only asked Cao Shu, "What does this mean?" At this moment, Wanwan loudly reminded from behind, "Godfather, call the police quickly!" Father Gu immediately asked Wanwan, "Did you see something?" Wanwan angrily pointed at Cao Shu and explained, "Brother Fangxi's leg injury is related to her. She's the real culprit who harmed Brother Fangxi." Seeing Father Gu's hesitation, Wanwan begged her godfather to believe her. Although Father Gu felt some lingering affection as husband and wife, his son was his bottom line. Finally, he chose to call the police. He wanted to investigate everything clearly, about Fangxi's incident, today's incident, and all the other things about Cao Shu that hadn't been exposed. Father Gu gritted his teeth and continued, "I hope these things aren't true, otherwise don't blame me for being ruthless." Hearing this, Cao Shu's face turned pale as she collapsed to the ground. At this moment, Wanwan patted Gu Fangxi's arm to reassure him. Cao Shu will definitely be brought to justice. Just as Gu Fangxi said thank you, Wanwan patted his head and said she liked Brother Fangxi's smile. "You should smile more for Wanwan to see in the future." A few days later, in the Gu family garden, Gu Fangxi was pushing Wanwan on the swing. Wanwan laughed, "Brother Fangxi, push higher." 2 maids passed by the roadside, did you hear? The suspect who kidnapped the young master was caught. Guess who it was? It was the former Madame Cao Shu. The maids' gossip immediately caught their attention. Wanwan said proudly, "How about that, Brother Fangxi? I didn't lie to you, did I?" Then she whispered to Brother Fangxi, "I actually suspect that Cao Shu also changed the feng shui of the old mansion." Gu Fangxi was somewhat puzzled. Could she also be a celestial master? This was immediately denied by Wanwan shaking her head. Impossible. Celestial masters must be upright and have merit, otherwise the three pure ancestors won't allow them to enter the path. The next second, Wanwan clapped her hands. I suddenly remembered. Master also said there's a type of person who isn't recognized by the ancestors, so they practice some unorthodox methods. Cao Shu might be this type. Or there might be someone behind her. Thinking about it, Wanwan felt her head hurt. I don't want to think about it anymore. The adult world is so complicated. Just as Gu Fangxi was warmly rubbing Wanwan's head, Father Gu suddenly appeared behind them at an inopportune moment. Looking at Father Gu opening his arms to hug Wanwan, Gu Fangxi was so angry his head was full of black lines. Wanwan in his arms asked her godfather, "Is Cao Shu's matter all settled?" Father Gu made an okay gesture. "Don't worry, godfather has taken care of everything." Suddenly, he caught sight of Gu Fangxi out of the corner of his eye. He really owed his son too much. He wanted to apologize to his son, but when the words came to his lips, he didn't know how to start. Seeing this, Gu Fangxi comforted his father, telling him not to apologize. "I'm fine." After hearing this, Father Gu felt even more guilty. He said that no matter what, he would give his son an explanation. But Wanwan is the little hero this time. Godfather specially prepared lots of little cakes for you. Wanwan happily shouted, "Charge! Let's go eat cake!" Behind them, Gu Fangxi's body suddenly began to sway. Wanwan immediately noticed something wrong. Looking at Brother Fangxi squatting on the ground and sweating coldly, Wanwan immediately jumped down from her godfather and ran to Brother Fangxi with concern. At this moment, Father Gu also nervously asked his son, "Where do you feel uncomfortable? Should we go to the hospital?" Gu Fangxi endured the severe pain and managed to say 2 words, "It hurts." Looking at Wanwan's worried expression, Gu Fangxi knelt on the ground, enduring the pain. He said not to worry, that he was fine, but Wanwan was still concerned and wanted to help him check. "Brother Shaoqi, I learned medicine from my master. Let me massage it for you. It won't hurt after I massage it," Wanwan said, using her spiritual power to help massage Brother Shaoqi's calf. The next second, Gu Fangxi was surprised to find that his leg seemed much better. He couldn't feel any pain at all. Father Gu beside him praised Wanwan for being amazing. Wanwan shyly touched her head. "I only learned a little medicine from my master. When it comes to medical skills, my senior brother is the most skilled." Speaking of this, Wanwan suddenly slapped her head. "Oh right, senior brother!" Then Wanwan happily danced around. "Godfather, I can cure Brother Shaoqi's leg injury. Although we missed the optimal treatment time, with my senior brother here, he'll definitely recover normally in 3 months." Hearing this, Father Gu and his son were stunned. After hearing there was hope for his son's recovery, Father Gu had tears in his eyes and asked Wanwan in disbelief, "Is this really true?" Wanwan seriously promised, "Of course it's true." Hearing this, Father Gu wept with joy. He cried without caring about his image. "Haha, Shaoqi's leg is finally saved." The scene shifted to Wanwan eating cake with big bites. Father Su lovingly wiped the cream from his daughter's mouth. "Wanwan, how confident are you about curing Shaoqi's leg?" Wanwan proudly held up 7 fingers, at least 70%. Although it was only 70%, Wanwan had a cheat code. Father Su and Father Gu were instantly confused. Cheat code? What cheat code? It's Wanwan's 24th senior brother. His medical skills are super amazing. He's a miracle doctor. Hearing this, Father Gu sighed. Although Wanwan is still young, I believe her. No matter what the final result is, I can accept it. The next day, Father Su and his daughter said goodbye at the entrance of the Heavenly Master Association. Just as Wanwan was about to enter, she ran into Zhang Huayu, who was going to school. Wanwan happily greeted him. Only knowing about kindergarten, Wanwan immediately asked if her junior nephew was also going to kindergarten. Zhang Huayu awkwardly explained that he was already in high school. Seeing his master's uncle's confusion, Zhang Huayu seriously explained, "Everyone has to go to high school. Without a diploma, you can't take certification exams later. Without certificates, you can't find work. Without work, you'll have to drink the northwest wind." Hearing this, Wanwan immediately thought about how without money, she couldn't buy cake. She was instantly shocked beyond recognition. Suddenly, Xiang Disho came running out with a love-struck expression. Seeing this, Wanwan quickly pushed Zhang Huayu to hurry to school. Then Wanwan embarrassedly asked if her junior brother had senior brother Mo's phone number. "I need to find him for something." Hearing this, Xiang Disho jealously said, "I thought little senior sister came to find me." But he still took out his phone and made the call. The next second, both of them awkwardly froze. "The number you dialed is not in service." Seeing this, Wanwan covered her mouth and giggled. "Your relationship is still as bad as ever." Xiang Disho's face immediately turned red. He said he would take Wanwan to the hospital to find senior brother. Then Xiang Disho took Wanwan by taxi to the hospital. Wanwan just glanced at the taxi driver and knew he would have a bloody disaster tonight. She specifically warned the driver not to take night roads at 2 a.m. However, the driver didn't believe Wanwan's words. He blamed it all on Xiang Disho, thinking it must be the old Taoist who taught her to say this. The driver complained, while criticizing how fake Taoists nowadays were outrageous, even having little kids come out to scam money. He reached out and pulled out several hundred-yuan bills, opened the car window and handed them out, but Wanwan waved her hands in refusal. "Sir, doing things is about cause and effect. If you don't believe me, I can't take this money. Then Wanwan gave the man a peace charm. If Sir can be safe tonight, then donate this money. Then Wanwan turned and told Xiang Dishu junior brother, you go ahead. I'll have senior brother send me back later. Xiang Dishu wanted to pester her but was ruthlessly rejected by Wanwan. At this time in Sea City Hospital, a young doctor was examining a patient. The lesion has metastasized to the lungs and bones. Targeted therapy may no longer be effective. Hearing this, the patient asked with a face like, Ash, doctor, is there still hope for my condition? The young doctor was Wanwan's fellow disciple, 24th senior brother Mo Jin-chun. He hesitated and told the patient, keep a good mindset and everything will get better. At this time, Wanwan poked her head out. She discovered the patient was surrounded by death qi, a sign of impending death. Mo Jin-chun had just sent the patient out of the room. When he found Wanwan standing at the door in a daze, Wanwan asked somewhat sadly, senior brother, why can't medicine save everyone? Senior brother touched Wanwan's head and explained dejectedly, we are human, not gods. I once thought I could save many people too, but later I discovered that everything I learned still couldn't overcome something called fate. Then Mo Jin-chun shook his head. You're just a child. Why am I telling you all this? Come on, senior brother will take you to eat. Suddenly, Wanwan's eyes became determined. Although everyone has their fate decreed by heaven, we must still fight back. We can't just lie on the ground forever after someone punches us. If someone punches me, I'll definitely punch back hard, and I'll call all my senior brothers to beat them up together. Hearing this, Mo Jin-chun suddenly awakened. Thank you, Wanwan. Senior brother knows what to do next. Wanwan was full of question marks. She didn't understand what senior brother was going to do. Just walking into the hospital cafeteria, looking at Wanwan's love-struck face, attracted by the aroma, Mo Jin-chun showed a doting smile. This little glutton is still the same. Wanwan opened her big watery eyes and said, Lady, I want one of everything. This really startled the server. Can you eat this much at your age? Hearing this, Wanwan patted her little belly to reassure the lady. Give me as much as you have. Then Wanwan started eating heartily, downing 18 bowls in one go. Free food really is the most fragrant. Senior brother pushed his glasses and asked Wanwan what she came to find him for. I want to ask senior brother to make a house call. Then Wanwan asked expectantly, can we go to brother Xiaoqi's house tonight? Mo Jin-chun lovingly wiped the crumbs from Wanwan's mouth. I'll go with you after work. Suddenly, a discordant voice came from behind. Yo, Dr. Mo, how come you're bringing your own kid to work? Hey, I didn't expect you to be such a daughter-obsessed dad. Looking at the chattering man, Wanwan could see at a glance that he had a thick nasal bridge, a blessed person, just with a somewhat mean mouth. Then Wanwan sweetly called out, Hello, big brother! This directly hit Shu Yibai's heart. He stammered what's so good about it while his heart had already melted from the cute human cub. Then he even reached out to poke Wanwan's cheek. Mo Jin-chun, I didn't expect you to have such a cute little cub. Mo Jin-chun asked back, What? Are you envious? Hearing this, Shu Yibai's face immediately turned red. Tish, who's envious? Doesn't your family have anyone to watch the kids? Bringing kids to work during work hours, aren't you afraid of being posted on the hospital bulletin board? Mo Jin-chun adjusted his glasses and smiled back. This is my little junior sister. She has to stay at the hospital today. Suddenly, Wanwan's little hand tugged at Shu Yibai's sleeve. Shu Yibai wondered what the little dumpling wanted. He saw Wanwan with a serious expression. Big brother, I see your forehead is red. You'll have a bloody disaster. You'd better not leave your office today. Hearing this, Shu Yibai smiled. Then he vigorously rubbed Wanwan's head. Little fortune teller, big brother promises you I'll go back right away. I guarantee I won't leave my office today. After Shu Yibai left, senior brother asked Wanwan if she saw something. Before Wanwan could explain, a terrified scream came. Mo Jin-chun was shocked. Oh no, it's Shu Yibai! Wanwan ran while anxiously shouting, Big brother, didn't I tell you to stay in your office and not come out? At this time, the kidnapped Shu Yibai said pitifully, I hadn't even reached my office when a knife was put to my neck. Mo Jin-chun told the criminal to let him go, saying he'd agree to any demands. The man shouted, You're all doctors, why can't you save me? I'm dying, and I've given you so much money. Even if I die today, I'm taking you devils with me. The man became frenzied. He suddenly raised the knife in his hand. You all die with me! Then he viciously stabbed the dagger toward Shu Yibai's neck. In the critical moment, a stone hit the man's wrist. The knife in the man's hand flew out. The one who acted was Wanwan. She was truly angry this time. Wanwan walked toward the man with a dark expression. Your illness wasn't caused by us. Why are you taking your hatred out on innocent people? Speaking, Wanwan picked up the dagger from the ground. Then she turned around sharply with the dagger and loudly questioned the man. Don't you think you're going too far? Without waiting for the man's reply, Wanwan casually threw the dagger, watching it stab deep into the concrete wall. The man trembled in terror, but Wanwan lowered her head and continued questioning the man. You're innocent in being sick, but aren't these doctors and nurses innocent too? Speaking, the angry Wanwan suddenly raised her head and scolded, I think the real devil is you! The next second, Wanwan could no longer tolerate it. She went up and slapped the man across the face. Just because your illness can't be cured, you're taking your hatred out on a group of strangers? The man was slapped to the ground by Wanwan. Seeing this, Mo Jinchun worriedly ran forward. He quickly subdued the man on the ground, then told colleagues to call the police immediately. However, Wanwan wasn't ready to let the man go. She darkly cracked her knuckles. "Senior brother, let's get him together!" Hearing this, Mo Jinchun shuddered, immediately falling into bad memories. He hurriedly handed the man over to security and grabbed Wanwan by the back of her collar. Wanwan quickly said, "Senior brother, let me go. Watch how I teach him a lesson today." Then Mo Jinchun held the frantic Wanwan in his hands. "Wanwan, since he did wrong, let the police handle it." Just then, He Cheong walked in with other officers. Wanwan immediately pointed at the subdued man. "Brother He Young, it's him. Quickly take this bad guy away." "Good grief, how is it this little ancestor again?" At this time, the still-shaken Shu Yibai asked Mo Jinchun what was going on. Wanwan huffily replied, "I told you that you'd have a bloody disaster today, but you didn't believe me." Seeing Shu Yibai's pitiful appearance, Mo Jinchun had to explain, "Wanwan learned Taoist arts from my master and can read faces." Hearing this, Shu Yibai pointed in breakdown at the dagger deeply embedded in the concrete. "Then how do you explain this? Little junior sister just has naturally great strength." Hearing this, Shu Yibai held his forehead. He didn't want to see either of them for another second. Today's shock was too much for him. He covered his head with a headache and went to apply for leave. At this time, the news hot search was full of stories about Wanwan disciplining medical troublemakers. At this time, Mo Jinchun was examining Gu Fengxi's body. Wanwan, with love-struck eyes, kept praising senior brother. "Brother Xiaoqi is so great. Not only handsome, but also gets good grades." After the examination, Mo Jinchun shook his head. He's already missed the optimal treatment period. Complete recovery will be very difficult. Hearing this, Gu Fengxi immediately became dejected. How could a cripple like him be worthy of Wanwan when he grew up? Suddenly, Wanwan grabbed his hand to comfort him. "Don't worry, brother Xiaoqi. Wanwan will definitely cure you." Seeing this, Mo Jinchun also said, "Although it's somewhat difficult, we can still try." However, Wanwan seriously told the little brother, "When senior brother says try, that means he can definitely cure it." Mo Jinchun had a bit of a headache. This little girl really talked a lot. Seeing Father Gu excitedly asking, he coughed lightly. "Wanwan is right. Medically speaking, we did miss the optimal time, but it's not without solutions." Father Gu, hearing there was hope, patted his chest and promised, "Mr. Mo, whatever you need, just ask." "Not for now," Mo Jinchun said, taking out a cloth bundle from his pocket. He opened it with a flourish. Wanwan stared enviously at the shining golden needles inside. Mo Jinchun, who was performing acupuncture, looked at Wanwan's gasps of admiration and asked what was wrong. Wanwan stared straight at the golden needles and whispered, "Senior brother, when you die, can you give me these needles?" Senior brother awkwardly replied, "I don't need to wait until I die. I can give them to you in a while." But Wanwan seriously refused. "No, master said good things can only be inherited after someone dies." Mo Jinchun's forehead filled with black lines. "Save that kind of talk for your other senior brothers from now on." Wanwan blinked. "Don't worry, senior brother. I can wait." After some treatment, Mo Jinchun put away the needles and gave them to Wanwan. He had Wanwan help Gu Fengxi with the final needle. Wanwan was torn about which needle to choose. Mo Jinchun embarrassedly said, "When you get back, remember to draw 2 5 thunder talismans for senior brother." After careful selection, Wanwan finally found a super thick, super long needle. This scared Gu Fengxi so much he trembled on the bed. Even Father Gu felt intimidated looking at such a big needle. Gu Fengxi gripped the bed sheets tightly and mustered courage. "Wanwan, go ahead. Don't worry, brother Xiaoqi. Wanwan will be very gentle." As soon as the golden needle entered the acupoint, Gu Fengxi's pupils dilated sharply. Then he spat out a mouthful of fresh blood. This scared Father Gu badly. Just as he was about to rush forward to check, Mo Jinchun stopped him and awkwardly explained, "This is toxins from the meridians. It's good that they're coming out." While speaking, Wanwan quickly ran away. Then she hurriedly ran back with a handkerchief. She carefully wiped the blood from Gu Fengxi's mouth. "Brother Xiaoqi, I'll be gentler next time. It doesn't hurt, it doesn't hurt," Gu Fengxi said seriously. "I'm not in pain, but Wanwan, you're pressing on my leg." Wanwan awkwardly jumped off the bed. Sorry. At this time, Father Gu came forward with concern. "Son, how do you feel?" Gu Fengxi told him it didn't hurt as much anymore. Father Gu happily picked up Wanwan for lots of loving cuddles. Half an hour later, while Wanwan was helping Gu Fengxi remove needles, she said, "Brother Xiaoqi, from now on Wanwan will come to your house every day and guarantee you'll be completely healed in 3 months." "Good, then I'll tutor you with homework every day." Hearing about homework, Wanwan's hand holding the needle became unsteady. Wanwan awkwardly said, "Actually, that's not really necessary." After removing the needles, Wanwan patted Gu Fengxi's head. "Be good, brother Xiaoqi. Take care of your injury." Mo Jinchun also handed the prescription to Father Gu, instructing him to take it once each morning and evening. Then he called Wanwan to go home together. On the road, senior brother embarrassedly spoke up. "Wanwan, can you draw 2 more peace charms for senior brother when we get back? That guy Zhu Yibai should need them." Seeing Wanwan didn't respond, he turned to look at her. Wanwan, tired from the day, had already fallen asleep on the car, snoring peacefully. The next day, Wanwan came downstairs in her pajamas. She looked at Dad's outfit today and exclaimed how handsome he was. Father Su immediately boasted, "Isn't Daddy the most handsome?" Wanwan calmly burst his bubble. "No way! Brother Xiaoqi is the most handsome." At the dining table, Father Su cried alone in sadness. Grandpa Su said that New Year was coming soon, and those stinky boys hadn't been home for years. Father Su also asked his daughter if she liked her brothers. Wanwan immediately answered, "I like them. Wanwan likes brothers the most." As soon as she finished speaking, Wanwan clutched her chest. She had an uncomfortable feeling. Strange, why does my heart feel sour? Why do I suddenly feel uncomfortable? But she still insisted on going to school. Gu Fangqi, who had arrived early in the classroom, was looking around searching for Wanwan's figure. When he saw the restless Wanwan beside him, he immediately asked with concern why she was so late today. The responsive Wanwan gestured excitedly, explaining about this morning's events. Hearing this, Gu Fangqi was still somewhat worried. He suggested Wanwan go home to rest. However, Wanwan said she was fine. "If you don't believe me, I'll run 20 laps around the kindergarten right now." But she was awkwardly grabbed by Gu Fangqi. Suddenly, teacher Mian walked over and asked Wanwan with a smile, "Did you bring the homework from the day before yesterday?" Wanwan was instantly shocked and dumbfounded, thinking, "It's over." At the critical moment, Gu Fangqi whispered, "The homework is in your backpack." Wanwan patted her chest and let out a sigh of relief. Then teacher Mian looked somewhat awkwardly at the wrinkled homework book Wanwan handed over. Then Wanwan patted her little heart and thanked Brother Xiaoqi. Otherwise, she would definitely have gotten her bottom spanked by the teacher today. But Gu Fangqi said the teacher wouldn't hit people. However, Wanwan sighed. "Brother Xiaoqi, you don't understand. The more adults treasure a child, the more willing they are to spank them. Wanwan used to be Master's treasure, but Master often said he wanted to spank me. Master also said hitting me would shorten his lifespan, so he would hit Wanwan's senior brothers instead. He hit them really hard." Speaking, Wanwan even touched her bottom with phantom pain. Suddenly, a little friend shouted, "Look, Ultraman is starting!" Everyone was immediately attracted to Ultraman on TV. "Ultraman is so cool! I want to be Ultraman when I grow up too," Wanwan suddenly remembered. When she was little, she asked Master what her daddy looked like. Master would always take out pictures of Ultraman and tell her this was what her daddy looked like. Thinking of this, Wanwan immediately stood up and pointed at Ultraman, shouting, "This is my daddy!" Instantly came the envious voices of the little friends. "Wanwan is so amazing! Wanwan's daddy is actually Ultraman!" When someone asked, "Wanwan, can your daddy fight monsters?" Wanwan awkwardly touched her head. "My daddy can't fight monsters." As soon as she said this, a boy immediately questioned, "If your daddy is Ultraman, why can't he fight monsters?" Wanwan fearlessly asked back, "Have you ever seen monsters?" When the boy said he hadn't, Wanwan spread her hands and continued, "So I've never seen Daddy fight monsters either." At this time, teacher Mian came over and told everyone school was ending soon. "Everyone sit nicely in your seats and wait for your parents to pick you up." Gu Fangqi stood up to go to the bathroom, specifically telling Wanwan not to wander around. Just as Wanwan was bragging to little Fatty about how her daddy could do 360-degree somersaults and shoot energy waves, a voice suddenly appeared behind the door. The next second, Wanwan heard someone calling her. She saw a handsome red-haired guy waving at her. Wanwan looked up in confusion. Su Yushi saw Wanwan looking around. He waved while softly greeting, "Wanwan, look, brother is over here." When he saw Wanwan jump down from her stool, he was even happier and made a heart gesture toward his sister, look at me quickly." The next second, his heart shattered with a crack. He saw Wanwan happily pick up a building block from the floor. "Finally found you." He was instantly filled with black lines. This little girl was actually looking at building blocks. "Damn it, let me see how I'll get your attention." Speaking, he had just walked behind Wanwan to greet her when Wanwan instantly jumped away and found another building block. So Wanwan picked up blocks in front, while Su Yushi chased behind. Soon he was panting heavily behind Wanwan. Finally, he really couldn't take it anymore. He leaned against the doorframe and shouted for Wanwan to stop. Seeing Wanwan break suddenly in place, he was filled with black lines, then let out a long breath. "This girl can really run." Suddenly Wanwan turned around and stared fiercely at Su Yushi. Right under his feet was Wanwan's missing little building block. Discovering her target, Wanwan immediately flew towards Su Yushi. Su Yushi was even more excited and opened his arms to give his precious sister a big hug. Unexpectedly, Wanwan couldn't break and directly headbutted Su Yushi, making him spit blood. Then both of them fell to the ground. Seeing Wanwan covering her head and crying woo-woo in pain, Su Yushi was just about to explain when, before he could speak, he was interrupted by Gu Fangqi and teacher Mian. Teacher Mian even took him for a bad person. She urgently said, "Whatever you want we can satisfy, but you have to put Wanwan down first." Parents also rushed over hearing the commotion. Su Yushi, holding the confused Wanwan, hurriedly waved his hands, trying to explain the misunderstanding. However, the parents weren't going to give him a chance. They rolled up their sleeves to teach him a lesson. Suyushi was about to cry. Why wouldn't anyone let him finish speaking? Before he could react, the parents labeled him as a human trafficker. The old lady and muscle guy instantly transformed. Put the little girl down, or you'll be sorry. After speaking, the old lady charged forward with her cane raised. Take my staff! The muscle guy also angrily swung his fist. Wanwan took the opportunity to run toward Gu Fengqi. Gu Fengqi asked Wanwan, "Who is that person? Do you know him?" Wanwan said she didn't know either. At this time, Suyushi, who was pinned to the ground with no resistance, shouted, "Stop hitting me! I'm this child's biological brother." The scene suddenly froze. Suyushi looked toward Wanwan with pleading eyes. Gu Fengqi directly protected Wanwan in his arms. Wanwan said she didn't recognize Suyushi. The muscle guy grabbed Suyushi's collar and was about to exert force. "Did you hear that? She said she doesn't know you. You still say you're not a trafficker?" Suyushi cried pitifully. "Sir, at least give me a chance to prove myself." Hearing this, the muscle guy wasn't unreasonable either. "I'll give you a chance. Take off the mask on your face." Suyushi nervously refused. That won't do. He felt that as soon as he took off his mask, the news would be full of reports. He had even thought of the headline for the marketing accounts. Fallen star actually takes the road of no return. This was scarier than asking him to die. Thinking of this, he broke free from the man's restraint and pushed the man away. Then he desperately covered his mask. "Can't let people see my face, or in half an hour the internet will be full of my face." The 36 strategies. Retreat is the best policy. Thinking this, he quickly ran outside. The next second, his collar was grabbed by the muscle guy. The muscle guy angrily was about to beat him up. Suyushi hurriedly begged for mercy. "Sir, I confess, just let me go, okay? You think I'm stupid? If I let you go, what if you run away?" After speaking, the muscle guy locked Suyushi's neck and dragged him toward the police station, cursing, under his breath. "You scum of society!" Suddenly a voice from behind interrupted them. "Shaoxi, why are you here? Haven't you picked up Wanwan yet?" Father Gu emerged from the crowd. Wanwan immediately ran over and asked if Godfather knew this weird brother. "This is Wanwan's second brother." Suyushi was so moved he cried. He was finally cleared. The parents who had subdued Suyushi were extremely embarrassed and hurriedly apologized. Suyushi huffily said, "Even villains get plenty of time for last words before they die. Did you let me speak? You started beating me up right away." At this time, Wanwan sweetly called out, "Second brother!" Suyushi's resentment immediately vanished. Then they got in the car and went home together. On the road, Wanwan said she wanted to go to Godfather's house first to treat Brother Shaoqi's leg. Suyushi was thankful he hadn't had his mask removed, or the hot searches would explode again. "I don't know what's been wrong these past few months. Each day has been more unlucky than the last." Suddenly, Wanwan noticed something odd about second brother. Why is the top of second brother's head so dark? Then Wanwan curiously asked if second brother had been very unlucky lately. "Don't even mention it. It's all been frustrating things recently. When I film, I get replaced because the costume doesn't fit. When I sing, concerts get stopped because the sound system breaks. Even when I go to a hotel to rest, I get rumors spread about me having something going on with some female star. These past few months, my reputation has been in freefall. The former top star will be finished before long." Hearing this, his sister sympathetically said, "Second brother is the most unlucky person Wanwan has ever seen." Seeing everyone looking at him with pitying eyes, Suyushi awkwardly asked, "Why are you all looking at me like that?" Seeing this, Gu Fengqi just sighed lightly. Father Gu coughed and advised him to definitely stay strong and live on. After getting out of the car, Suyushi asked in confusion what everyone meant. Suddenly, a crow flew over his head, and a bird dropping landed right on his head, neither to the left nor right. Suyushi, who had just washed off the bird droppings, came out and saw Wanwan intimately holding Gu Fengqi's hand. Seeing this, Suyushi immediately called out to Wanwan, asking what they were going to do. Wanwan explained she was going to treat Brother Shaoqi's illness. Suyushi stood there dumbfounded with question marks all over his face. Treat illness? What illness? Wanwan looked somewhat disdainfully at this silly second brother. Of course it's to treat Brother Shaoqi's foot. After speaking, she led Gu Fengqi into the room and shut the door with a bang, leaving only Suyushi alone and confused in the wind. Fortunately, Father Gu patted his shoulder and explained, "Wanwan's master is also a miracle doctor. He taught Wanwan quite a bit of medical knowledge." Hearing this, Suyushi completely didn't believe it. "You're saying my little sister knows medicine and is very skilled at it? Stop joking! How is that possible?" Seeing Father Gu's very certain expression, Suyushi was so shocked his jaw dropped. He still couldn't believe his little sister knew medicine at only 3 years old. Father Gu smiled and comforted him. "You'll get used to it." When leaving, Wanwan also gave Gu Fengqi the prescription she had researched. She instructed him to make it into medicine packets and soak his feet every evening. This way his foot would heal faster. After Gu Fengqi received, he awkwardly looked at the prescription with words that were crooked and seemed to be dancing on the paper. Then he patted Wanwan's head and said, "Thank you." Wanwan happily said there was no need to thank her. "Wanwan is only so good to you because she likes you." Suddenly a gloomy questioning voice came from behind. "What are you saying?" Suyushi angrily pointed at Gu Fengqi. "Are you saying you like this stinky boy?" Wanwan held Gu Fengqi's hand as they looked into each other's eyes. She seriously said she liked brother Xiaoqi. This sudden confession left Gu Fengqi somewhat dazed. Immediately coming to his senses, he affectionately grasped Wanwan's hand. "I like Wanwan too." The scene in front of him made Su Yushi completely blow up. He reached out and clapped his hands to interrupt them, quickly pulling Wanwan to his side. "She's still a child! Let go of her right now!" Then he pulled Wanwan and escaped at light speed. "I will never agree to this marriage." At this time, Father Gu patted his son's head and told him to always keep liking Wanwan. Gu Fengqi's little face immediately turned red. He said he would always like her. In the Su family's old mansion, the family sat together happily eating dinner. Only Su Yushi was full of resentment, tearing at a chicken leg as if it were Gu Fengqi's stinky boy trying to steal my sister. "You definitely can't guess that I'm a man with a secret weapon." Thinking this, he slapped the table. Then he struck what he thought was a very handsome pose, reciting lines, "In a world shrouded in darkness, someone needs to use light to guide them." The series of actions instantly shocked the family into staring wide-eyed. Then he crouched beside Wanwan and spoke, "Wanwan, my sister, do you believe in light?" Then he secretly felt pleased. "I should have this handled. I'm the girl killer Su Yushi. 3 years old should count as a girl too, right?" The next second, he received a heavy blow from his sister. Wanwan looked at him with the disgust of looking at an idiot. "But second brother? There's no Ultraman in this world at all." The next morning, Wanwan ran happily toward her eldest brother Su Chiwai. Her eldest brother was instantly melted by her cuteness, and he directly picked up his little sister. At this moment, Wanwan was somewhat puzzled, wondering why she couldn't see her second brother. It turned out that Su Yushi was still sad about not successfully winning over his sister, which shocked Wanwan. Second brother actually likes Ultraman this much, but eldest brother disdainfully said that his faith might have been shattered, so they shouldn't bother with him. Eldest brother would take her to kindergarten. Suddenly, Su Yushi realized something. He suddenly looked up and called out to them. Then he pointed at Su Chihuai in a scatterbrained manner and exclaimed in shock, "Big brother, how are you standing up?" Then he carefully observed eldest brother's injured leg, and finally hugged eldest brother and started crying. "When did your leg get better? Why didn't anyone tell me?" Hearing this, both eldest brother and Wanwan felt very disgusted. "Obviously, you were too stupid to notice." Then eldest brother smiled dotingly at his sister. He explained that it was all thanks to Wanwan. It was because of having Wanwan that his leg got better. Su Yushi, who was like a fool, seemed to understand a little. Then he snatched Wanwan away in his scatterbrained manner. He looked at his sister with stars in his eyes, even drooling, completely understanding that his sister was their family's lucky star. Whether he could make a comeback depended on Wanwan. And of course, eldest brother too. Wanwan and eldest brother thought his stupidity was acting up again, before everyone could persuade him to go home and take medicine. Su Yushi held eldest brother in his arms. "Your leg just healed, you can't walk too much, let me help you." They instantly attracted everyone's attention, with beautiful women praising how handsome they were. Su Chihuai awkwardly declined his brother's kind offer. Suddenly someone behind them scolded them for being gay in public. Wanwan innocently asked what that meant. Eldest brother and second brother almost died of embarrassment on the spot. Su Yushi quickly covered Wanwan's mouth. "Baby, don't ask about things you shouldn't ask about. This isn't something children should know." Fortunately, teacher Mian came out. Su Yushi immediately stuffed his sister into her arms. He said goodbye to the teacher and then disappeared without a trace. Entering the kindergarten, Wanwan happily ran toward Gu Fengqi. She affectionately hugged Gu Fengqi, cheek to cheek. She had just opened her backpack to take out her doll when someone reached out and snatched it away. Seeing this, Wanwan angrily shouted, "Zhang Yang, give me back my toy!" But the boy stared at the little rabbit with disdain on his face. "It's just a broken doll." At this moment, Wanwan remembered teacher Mian's teaching that she shouldn't hit other children. She clenched her fists and suppressed her anger, once again asking the boy to hand over the toy. Otherwise, she would go tell teacher Mian. However, Zhang Yang wasn't scared by this. He even provocatively waved the toy in his hand. After saying this, he viciously stomped on the toy. "If you want it, come and take it if you dare." Seeing this, Gu Fengqi protected Wanwan behind him and darkly warned Zhang Yang to pick up the toy. However, Zhang Yang didn't take him seriously and arrogantly cursed Gu Fengqi as a dead cripple. Hearing this, Wanwan's anger instantly maxed out. She directly rushed forward and grabbed Zhang Yang by the collar, forcibly lifting him up. Wanwan's face was dark as she demanded he apologize. Zhang Yang was dismissive and even threatened Wanwan to let go, or he would have his mother expose her. However, Wanwan didn't know what expose meant. She lifted Zhang Yang and threatened that if he didn't apologize, she would strip off his pants. Seeing Zhang Yang still stubbornly calling Gu Fengqi a cripple, Wanwan could no longer contain her anger. She punched Zhang Yang to the ground with one blow. "I already said not to call Gu Fengqi a cripple." At this moment, teacher Mian hurried over. She quickly separated the two fighting children. Zhang Yang hid behind the teacher and became even more arrogant. "So what if I call him a cripple? Come and hit me again if you dare." Wanwan shouted that she wanted to fight him one-on-one, but was held back by Gu Fengqi behind her. At this moment, Zhang Yang smugly told the teacher to call his mother, saying he wanted her to expose Wanwan. As soon as he said this, he angered Wanwan again. She headbutted Zhang Yang. That's what you get for being mouthy, I'll ram you to death. Zhang Yang, seeing the teacher was present, immediately lay on the ground and threw a tantrum, shouting murder and wanting his mother to expose her. Seeing this, teacher Mian angrily told them to stop. She grabbed Wanwan's arm and asked what happened. Zhang Yang stole my doll and insulted little brother Qi. After hearing this, teacher Mian had a headache. It seemed she could only call the parents. Zhang Yang's mother barged in, shouting, "Which blind person hit my son?" Wanwan pointed at Zhang Yang and explained, "He started it first." Gu Fangqi held Wanwan's hand to reassure her that he would handle everything. Then he said with a piercing gaze, "We'll pay for medical expenses, but he must apologize." Zhang Yang's mother was startled inwardly. What a piercing gaze. This boy seems extraordinary. Although this was just an ordinary kindergarten, 9 out of 10 families in the capital were wealthy, so it was better not to provoke them easily. But the wild girl next to him was dressed plainly and looked easy to bully. Thinking this, she began targeting Wanwan. Clearly this wild girl started the fight. Why should Zhang Yang apologize to her? At this moment, Su Dad, who hadn't had time to tidy up, rushed over from home. Zhang Yang's mother immediately saw he was an easy target. She immediately lashed out at Su Dad harshly. "Look what your little bumpkin did to my child!" Su Dad wanted to suggest checking the surveillance first, but the woman was relentless. "How can your working-class child compare to my son?" Teacher Mian couldn't stand it and explained, "It really was Zhang Yang who started it. He's been harassing Wanwan and Gu Fangqi for 2 weeks." Hearing this, the woman's face instantly darkened. "Are you saying this is my son's fault? Look what this wild girl did to my son." Seeing her aggressive manner, the teacher couldn't believe she was a celebrity with 30 million fans. Su Dad didn't want to continue entangling with this crazy woman. He directly asked her what she wanted. Unexpectedly, the woman not only made outrageous demands asking for 500,000 in compensation, but also demanded Su Dad publicly apologize in newspapers, and ordered Wanwan to get out of this school and never appear in front of her son again. She threatened Su Dad, "If you can't do it, I'll cyberbully your whole family," just when she smugly thought that with her celebrity status, this bumpkin wouldn't dare confront her. Unexpectedly, Su Dad didn't take her seriously at all. He said, "Go ahead and expose us then," and caringly asked Wanwan if she was in pain. Teacher Mian couldn't stand it and tried to mediate, hoping the parents could handle this calmly. The woman thought they were afraid of her celebrity status and arrogantly left with, "Just wait to be exposed." Watching Zhang Yang's mother leave with her people, teacher Mian worriedly reminded Wanwan's father, "Zhang Yang's mom is a celebrity. She'll definitely put today's incident online." However, Su Dad didn't take this minor celebrity seriously. Then he asked teacher Mian for a few days off for Gu Fangqi and Wanwan until the matter was resolved. The teachers in the office immediately whispered among themselves. Zhang Yang was used to being domineering because his mother was a celebrity. Last time he even pushed a student into the toilet, but his mother insisted others were bullying Zhang Yang. Back in the car, Zhang Yang clamored for his mother to drive away Wanwan and Gu Fangqi to avenge him and sister Xiazhu. At this moment, the assistant worriedly asked if they should go to the hospital first, but this earned a scolding from Zhang Yang's mother. "You're asking about such trivial matters? Can't you see Zhang Yang is injured? What use are you if you can't handle such small things?" Then she opened her phone with a sinister expression. She began distorting facts online and cyberbullying Wanwan. Not only did it instantly trend, but she also gained 200,000 brainless fans. She excitedly continued posing with her son. Looking at the trending articles, Wanwan was successfully cyberbullied. These people couldn't even be called human. They wouldn't even spare a little girl. Su Dad angrily punched the table, swearing he would never forgive this woman. Suddenly, Wanwan, who had her wounds treated, ran in. Su Dad quickly put away his phone and asked if his daughter's face still hurt. Wanwan looked dejected and apologized to her father. "Did Wanwan cause trouble again today?" Su Dad reassured her that he would handle everything. Then he suggested taking his daughter downstairs for dessert, and Wanwan's mood immediately brightened. As soon as they got off the elevator, they were blocked by a group of people. Someone even brought flower wreaths for Wanwan, with brainless fans shouting, "Brat, go die!" How could Su Dad tolerate these mindless people? His expression turned cold as he ordered Xiao Wang to call the police. The ugly ones in front also spotted Wanwan, and immediately wanted to rush forward to hit her. The bodyguards promptly stopped them, and prepared to capture all these mindless people for the police. Wanwan hid behind Gu Fangqi, tears streaming down her face. She didn't understand why these people were cursing her. Fortunately, the bodyguards formed a human wall to block the brainless fans. Gu Fangqi also held Wanwan tightly behind him, warning them to leave, or he would call the police. Not only were the fans unafraid, they hurled insults at Wanwan. "Brat, so disgusting, go die. How's your mother doing?" Backup bodyguards also arrived instantly, preparing to surround these mindless people. Su Dad heartbrokenly picked up the frightened Wanwan. Wanwan sadly leaned on Su Dad's shoulder when suddenly her eyes caught sight of something. It was the flower wreath sent by those cyberbullying her, with Wanwan's name on it. Wanwan cried and asked her father why the flower wreath at the door had her name on it. The master said those were things only used for dead people. Hearing this, Su Dad was too heartbroken to know how to answer. Suddenly, police sirens sounded in the distance. Xiao Wang shouted that the police had arrived. Su Dad angrily arranged everything, telling the lawyer team to act quickly. Not a single one should be spared, and no settlements accepted. Su Dad thought grimly with a dark expression. I will make those who hurt my daughter pay the price. At the police station, a group of troublemaking parents were grinning and trying to solve things with money, shamelessly saying they were willing to pay any amount as long as Su Dad dropped the charges. How could the richest Su family lack money? Su Dad sneered, compensation. All of you together couldn't afford it. Sending flower wreaths at my company entrance with so many curses written about my daughter. Your children are human, but mine isn't? Faced with Su Dad's questioning, the previously smug man instantly deflated. Su Dad emphasized he wouldn't settle. If there are problems, talk to my lawyer team. After saying this, he left, no longer bothering with these mindless parents. At this moment, a girl on the street looked at the trending topic on her phone and angrily clenched her fist. This is too much. Can rich people do whatever they want? The girl beside her suddenly saw something and reminded her friend, something seems wrong. There's a plot twist. Look at this quickly. On the other side, Su Songye was preparing to post another headline playing innocent and pitiful. Sure enough, it quickly trended. But this time she was cursed to the top by fans. Wow, what a big mean girl here. Faced with the complete reversal of public opinion, Su Songye no longer had her previous arrogant attitude from cyberbullying Wanwan. Instead, she held her phone and trembled in fear. Suddenly, the agent's phone rang urgently. It turned out that 30 cooperating brands wanted to collectively terminate their contracts. Hearing this, Su Songye was so scared she couldn't even hold her phone steady. The agent rushed to handle the termination compensation and told Su Songye to think about how to die. With a bang, the door was slammed shut. Su Songye collapsed to the ground, trembling all over and muttering, "It's over! Everything's over!" Suddenly, there was urgent knocking at the door. She was instantly delighted, thinking the agent had sorted things out and returned. But what greeted her was a court summons. She looked at the summons, in shock, speechless, feeling like a bolt from the blue. The Su family was demanding 3 million in compensation from her. At this moment, Zhang Yang still thought his mother had dealt with Su Wanwan and asked if they were now being cursed to death by his mother's fans. He was still smugly saying, "Can we let Sister Xia Jiu?" Before he could finish, he was enveloped by Su Songye's sinister aura, scared stiff and trembling. Then the entire neighborhood could hear Zhang Yang's screams. Today was the last day of kindergarten before summer vacation. Su Yushi was waiting at the entrance early. Wanwan happily ran toward her second brother. Su Yushi asked how his sister did on her final exams. Wanwan confidently waved her hand. "Of course it was super great!" Second brother shamelessly praised Wanwan, worthy of being my sister, as amazing as me. Then he carried Wanwan out of school. As soon as they got in the car, the woman in the passenger seat suddenly widened her eyes. She immediately turned around and stared directly at Wanwan, questioning Su Yushi. "What's with this child?" Su Yushi covered his forehead awkwardly and explained, "Sister May, I've told you so many times, this is my sister, my father's child." Wanwan in the back took the opportunity to observe Sister May's facial features. Broad forehead, fleshy cheeks, full lips, a woman with career ambitions. Most importantly, she was second brother's benefactor. Wasn't this obviously second sister-in-law? Thinking this, Wanwan, who had just called her auntie, immediately changed her address and sweetly called Sister May, and explained that second brother wasn't lying. Hearing this, Su Yushi immediately leaned over. "Look how much we look alike!" Sister May said seriously. "You still have a contract with the company. You absolutely cannot date, or your career will be finished." At this moment, Su Yushi sat in the back as docile as a kitten, constantly nodding. Then Wanwan patted her little chest and said, "Don't worry, Sister May. Wanwan can guarantee. Second brother will never find a wife in this lifetime. He'll be a bachelor forever, don't worry." Wanwan's predictions are very accurate. Sister May became interested. "Little one, what else can you see? Wanwan can also see that you're second brother's benefactor." This hit exactly what Sister May wanted to hear. She happily covered her mouth and laughed, praising Wanwan for being sweet-talking. Then she returned to her strong woman demeanor and asked Su Yushi when he would start work. Su Yushi quietly asked if he could rest a bit more. Hearing this, Sister May instantly exploded. "Still rest? If you keep resting, your popularity will really cool down." Su Yushi muttered, "Whether I go back or not, my popularity seems pretty cool anyway." Sister May suppressed her anger and explained, "It's not that bad. The previous Su Songye incident improved your reputation quite a bit, so the company got you a new variety show." Su Yushi immediately refused, angrily asking why they didn't discuss it with him. Sister May helplessly explained that the company accepted it privately, and she only found out today. "But the company got you the hottest variety show right now. Please, baby. And remember to bring your sister." The next second, the two started arguing. Su Yushi disagreed with letting his sister appear in the media. "The fee for the show is 30 million, but even if it were 30 billion, I wouldn't agree to let Wanwan go." Hearing 30 million, Wanwan's money-loving nature immediately showed. She interjected, "Stop arguing. Wanwan wants to go." As soon as she spoke, second brother gave her a chestnut flick. "What are you going for? Dad will kill me if he finds out." With no other choice, Wanwan could only pitifully plead with her future second sister-in-law. The two faced each other hand in hand, looking like kindred spirits, but Wanwan only cared about how to split the 30 million. Suddenly, Su Yushi swiftly pulled out a black card and placed it in front of Wanwan. He bent down and smiled as he coaxed Wanwan, "Wanwan, be good, take this card. We won't participate in the variety show, okay? Wanwan shamelessly put the black card in her bag. Then Wanwan ungratefully said Wanwan wants to participate in the variety show. Hearing this, Su Yushi felt like he'd been stabbed in the back by his sister. After getting home, Wanwan obediently sat on the sofa and told her father she wanted to participate in the variety show. When the family learned this news, they instantly glared angrily at the celebrity brother, almost skinning him alive. Su's dad worriedly advised, "Going on TV means many people will see you. If you don't perform well, many people will scold you." Wanwan pointed to her little face. "Am I not cute?" "Cute. Then am I not pretty?" "Of course you're pretty." "Then am I not smart?" "Smart, smart." As soon as she finished speaking, Wanwan spread her hands. "Since I'm so excellent, why would anyone scold Wanwan?" For a moment, everyone was speechless. The celebrity brother suddenly shouted, "Enough!" Everyone was stunned. The next second, they saw him dramatically say, "No matter what, I won't let my sister participate in the show. I'll pay any breach of contract fee." Sister May awkwardly patted his shoulder. 300 million in breach of contract fees is no small amount, and the show has already been announced. If you don't go, your fans probably won't buy it. Hearing this, Su Yushi was so scared he kept backing away. "Why didn't you tell me about the announcement earlier?" Sister May sighed helplessly and explained that she was just a small agent. She had no say in company decisions. At this moment, money-obsessed, Wanwan appeared. She hugged Su Yushi's leg and acted cute. "Second brother, let's go, let's go. Only fools don't make money." Second brother exploded and patted Wanwan's head. "Easy for you to say." Su dad picked up his daughter and explained, "Our family doesn't lack money, but Wanwan wants to earn money herself. Going on TV pays 30 million. Then Wanwan can buy gifts for grandpa, daddy, and brothers." Only then did everyone realize that Wanwan wanted to go on TV entirely, to buy gifts for her family. Then Wanwan explained pitifully, "Of course, Wanwan just wants to earn money herself and then buy you gifts. That's why I want to go on the show with second brother." The three men were moved to tears. Then they all raised their hands in support of Wanwan going. Su dad and grandpa immediately hugged Wanwan. "Baby has really grown up. We can die without regrets." Su Chuai instructed the second fool to take good care of his sister. Sister May's eyes were also sparkling with stars. Her artist finally had hope of making a comeback. The next day, the show host even started a live broadcast, coming directly to the Su family mansion. However, he rang the doorbell for a long time, but no one opened the door. The host stood alone, bewildered in the wind. He quickly explained that the production team hadn't notified them about filming at the celebrity's home, so Su Yushi and the baby might still be sleeping. Suddenly, the door opened with a click. Wanwan, wearing a beautiful princess dress, politely bowed and greeted everyone. "I hope everyone comes to see Wanwan every day. Wanwan wishes you good luck and wealth every day." The cameraman and host told Wanwan they were now live streaming. Then Wanwan asked the camera if everyone could see Wanwan. Hearing this, the host nodded obediently. After hearing this, Wanwan stood at attention and saluted, indicating she understood. Then she introduced her family members in front of the camera. "Hello everyone, this is my grandpa." Old Master Su was happily watering flowers. "This is my eldest brother." Eldest brother sitting on the sofa reading the newspaper looked confused. "This is my second brother." With that, Wanwan yanked off Su Yushi's blanket, directly exposing second brother's sleeping position. The livestream comments were all laughing about Su Yushi's cool guy persona collapsing. Su Yushi, still not fully awake, told his sister not to make trouble. He hadn't slept enough. Then Wanwan said, "We're on TV." Hearing this, Su Yushi's eyes snapped open. He saw the camera pointed at his face and screamed while clutching his clothes. Wanwan, who had pranked him, also said, "Second brother, don't be afraid. We've already filmed everything we needed to." With his sister's help, Su Yushi successfully gained a wave of popularity. Having just gotten off the plane, Su Yushi supported his luggage and panted heavily, asking when the production team's car would come to pick them up. The host awkwardly laughed foolishly, thinking how to tell them that because they changed the time last minute, they hadn't prepared anything. The next second, the host had a bright idea and told them they had to figure it out themselves. This was also part of the show. Hearing this, Su Yushi instantly jumped in anger. While he was anxiously wondering what to do, his sister ran off in a flash. Wanwan pointed outside and explained, "Second brother, that gentleman over there said he can give us a ride." Su Yushi was amazed. Is this the kind of social skills a human cub should have? Then Wanwan happily chatted with the driver while Su Yushi in the back seat, buried under luggage, shed sad tears alone. After reaching their destination, Wanwan turned back to call her brother to get out. Su Yushi let out a wail. It turned out his foot had gone numb from being pressed by the luggage. His such genuine and Chunabu side once again earned him a wave of fans' love. Su Yushi got out of the car and had just sighed about the beauty of nature when the cameraman told him they had to walk the rest of the way themselves. The car couldn't go up anymore. Su Yushi looked at the towering mountain before him and couldn't help but complain the production team in his heart. The production team even made them figure out how to carry the suitcases up the mountain themselves. Su Yushi was so angry smoke was coming out of his head. With such big suitcases, wouldn't it take 4 trips up and down the mountain? We probably couldn't finish moving them until tomorrow morning. Before he could finish, he saw Wanwan carrying 2 suitcases bigger than her body and starting to climb the mountain with huffs and puffs. Helpless Su Yushi could only follow behind, panting. Compared to Wanwan's happy and relaxed state, Su Yushi behind her was already dizzy and seeing stars from exhaustion. Unable to continue, he collapsed directly on the ground. Seeing this, Wanwan worriedly exclaimed. Then she carefully checked her brother's breathing. Then Wanwan turned back to look at the host and asked, "Sir, my brother isn't dead from exhaustion, is he?" Then Wanwan started crying loudly. The host awkwardly explained, "Look, your brother's chest is still moving, he's not dead." Wanwan anxiously asked, "Then why won't he wake up?" The host continued awkwardly explaining, "It looks like your brother is sleeping." Wanwan admiringly said, "Brother is so amazing, he can sleep in a place like this." Su Yushi, lying on the ground, gradually woke up. He turned to see Wanwan crying beside him and was startled, quickly asking why his sister was crying. It would have been better not to ask. Now Wanwan cried even harder. "Second brother, you slept like a pig. Wanwan thought you were dead. Second brother, please don't die, okay?" Su Yushi, who was about to comfort his sister, suddenly stopped. The live stream was filled with comments. All 4 groups of members participating in the show on the mountaintop were present. They each greeted the live stream. "Hello everyone, I'm actress Chiu Chi." "Hello everyone, I'm Song Jin, this is my son Song Yu." When the camera turned to Wanwan, she was examining the food on the mountain, hoping to have little cakes and ice cream every meal. The director awkwardly reminded, "Baby, this isn't for making wishes." Su Yushi was about to introduce himself when a figure suddenly appeared, blocking him completely. "Hello everyone, I'm Sheng Baiyuan, this is my sister Sheng He, please support my new song." After saying this, he even shot Su Yushi a provocative look. A few years ago, he and Su Yushi were trainees in China. Su Yushi was all around in singing and dancing, so he served as the group's leader, while Sheng Baiyuan barely made it into the group with the last debut spot. 2 years ago when the group disbanded, an accident occurred. Both released new songs at the same time, and netizens discovered the melodies were identical. From that time on, Su Yushi was plagued by bad luck. At this moment, Wanwan was also sizing up Sheng Baiyuan. Strange, he clearly had the face of a villain, so why was he surrounded by golden light? Thinking this, she tugged at Sheng Baiyuan's clothes. "Can Wanwan ask you a question, brother?" Looking at Sheng Baiyuan's smiling response, Wanwan discovered he actually looked quite similar to second brother. Then she pointed at Sheng Baiyuan's face with a cute expression. "Brother Sheng, why is your chin so pointy?" Seeing Sheng Baiyuan's embarrassed expression with black lines all over his forehead, Su Yushi couldn't help but laugh out loud. Hearing this, Sheng Baiyuan was so angry his whole body was twitching, but facing the live broadcast, he couldn't have an outburst. Wanwan then curiously asked him, "With such a pointy chin, won't you poke yourself?" Sheng Baiyuan immediately felt heartbroken. At this moment, Su Yushi appeared and pulled his sister away. His next words made Sheng Baiyuan unable to save face. "Sorry, you've changed so much I didn't recognize you." Seeing this, the host immediately stepped out to smooth things over. "Time's up, let's move to the next segment. Now please hand over everything you brought except clothes." Su Yushi looked at the pile of luggage beside her and immediately exploded. "Why didn't anyone mention this when we came?" Then Su Yushi went to hand over his things with a face full of resentment. Watching the angry Su Yushi, Wanwan quietly reminded her second brother. "Second brother, think about the 30 million. Think about 30 million. Then the host announced the first task. The first place winner could choose their room first. Wanwan confidently said she wanted to be first. The competition rule was for the babies to first spin in place 10 times, then run to the designated position and high-five their guardians, and spin 10 more times before returning to the starting point and running another round. The first child to complete this would win. With the starting gun sound, the competition officially began. Wanwan on the field spun like a little spinning top. After spinning 10 times, Wanwan's head was spinning with stars as she staggered to a stop. For first place, for 30 million, Wanwan was the first to sprint out. Su Yushi behind her was shocked and shouted, "Baby, you're running the wrong way!" No matter how heart-wrenchingly he shouted from behind, he couldn't successfully wake up Wanwan. Half a minute later, Wanwan bounced over to high-five second brother. "No one can stop me from getting first place." Su Yushi turned around, too embarrassed to face anyone. Finally, he tearfully explained to his sister, "Baby, didn't you notice you ran the wrong way?" Hearing this, Wanwan was completely dumbfounded. "What?" Su Yushi looked at the self-blaming Wanwan with some worry. After all, his sister was the most amazing kid in kindergarten. If she lost, wouldn't her child's self-esteem be damaged? He reached out to comfort his dejected sister. Just then, Wanwan picked herself up again. "Brave Wanwan isn't afraid of difficulties, let's go!" After saying this, she frantically spun in place again. Then Wanwan, with a head full of twinkling stars, charged back onto the track. Seeing the starting line right in front of her, Sheng He secretly rejoiced, thinking first place was definitely hers. Before she could be happy, a gust of wind whooshed past her. When they reacted, they saw it was the red-eyed Wanwan. Everyone exclaimed in amazement, "Why does Wanwan run so fast?" At this moment, Wanwan's body leaped high. She successfully high-fived second brother, and they unsurprisingly won first place, gaining the right to choose their room first. Looking at Wanwan surrounded by the other children, Sheng He harbored resentment in her heart. "It's all Wanwan's fault for stealing my first place." Just then, Sheng Baiyuan appeared behind her with a cold tone, scolding her to quickly go play with the other children and stop embarrassing him, or he'd make her pay when they got back. Hearing this, Sheng He's face turned pale with fear as she nervously called out brother. This made her resent Wanwan even more. She had to give this girl a taste of her own medicine. Thinking this, she walked over and pretended to be polite while greeting Wanwan, asking, "Wanwan, your legs are so short, how did you manage to run so fast?" At this moment, Sheng Baiyuan came over pretending to scold, "Sister, you can't point out other people's flaws." Hearing this, Sheng He became even more excited and advised Wanwan not to be sad. Watching the silent Wanwan, she thought she'd won a round. But how could Wanwan tolerate them? She immediately stretched out her little short legs and said she was still young and would definitely grow tall when she grew up. Wanwan also said, "But you need to be careful. Your brother's body proportions are a bit off. He's 5'5" split. Master said if the father is short, the whole nest will be short." Meanwhile, at the Gu family, Gu Fangxi saw Sheng He's passive-aggressive behavior and got angry. "Even if Wanwan has short legs, she's still cuter than you." Then he held his tablet and asked Gu Dad, "Sheng Baiyuan seems to be an artist signed by Dad's company, right?" At this moment, actress Chu Chi on the show was comforting her socially anxious son. "Don't worry, baby. Director Fantong doesn't eat people." Hearing this, Wanwan curiously poked the director's belly. "Director Rice Bucket, no wonder your belly is so big. It's full of rice." Wanwan thought it was full of beer. The director coughed twice and awkwardly interrupted Wanwan. "Baby, you got first place so you can choose your house first." This successfully diverted Wanwan's attention, and she finally stopped studying his belly. Then Wanwan carefully examined the cards. Only one picture showed an old lady sitting by the door. This immediately caught her attention, and she chose this card without hesitation. Wanwan held up the card happily, wanting to go play with the grandma. However, Sheng He was sobbing behind her, playing the victim, while Sheng Baiyuan put on the appearance of a good brother to educate his sister. "Sheng He, if we lost, we have to follow the rules, right?" As soon as he finished speaking, Sheng He loudly cried out, "I want the house that Wanwan has!" However, not only was Wanwan not angry, but she walked towards the crying Sheng He with her hands behind her back. Wanwan even invited her to sleep together at night, provided that she asked Grandma if she agreed. However, Sheng He treated Wanwan's kindness as ill will, and she angrily left with her brother. But Sheng Baiyuan discovered the camera following them. He turned around with a gloomy face and threatened his sister, "The audience doesn't like you this way. Hurry up and smile for me or you'll be in trouble when we get home." However, from the audience's perspective, it looked like Sheng Baiyuan was warmly comforting his sister. Just then, the host reminded everyone that the task was over and they could go rest. Su Yushi was about to leave with Wanwan when someone called out from behind. It turned out to be director Song Jin, who had a movie in hand and wanted to invite Su Yushi to act in it. Upon hearing this, Su Yushi thought about his current reputation, and that there were still directors who believed in him and sought him out for acting. Thinking of this, Su Yushi didn't want to implicate him. Song Jin behind him seemed to see right through him, saying he would send him the script after the show ended. But Su Yushi replied dejectedly, "Forget it." Wanwan looked at her second brother's dejected appearance and couldn't help but ask, "Doesn't brother like acting?" "I like it. Of course I like it. But what's the use of liking it? I've long been ready to give up." But Master said when you encounter difficulties, don't give up. What you love will one day embrace you back. But wouldn't it be good for second brother to go home and inherit the family business to earn milk powder money for Wanwan? As soon as she finished speaking, Wanwan snatched the suitcase from his hand. She ran while turning her head and shouting. But Wanwan prefers to see brother shining brightly. Upon hearing this, Su Yushi was somewhat stunned, muttering to himself, "Shining brightly?" Thinking of himself singing freely on stage, he actually felt a bit nostalgic. At this time, Wanwan had already run far away. By the time he came to his senses and caught up with Wanwan, he nearly exhausted himself to death. Inside the room, Grandma had prepared dinner early and was waiting for them at the door. Looking at the table full of vegetarian dishes, Su Yushi was moved to tears. "Damn production team, give me back my 30 pounds of beef jerky." However, Wanwan was holding her bowl and frantically showing off her food, praising Grandma's cooking skills while eating. After dinner, Wanwan thought that Lu Huai lived nearby, and she wanted her brother to take her to find him to play. The siblings awkwardly looked at the scene before them. Not only was the kitchen filled with black smoke, but Lu Huai was also dizzy from hunger. Wanwan curiously asked what brother Lu Huai was doing. She saw Lu Huai gnawing on tree bark, slurping away. "Mom said she can't cook, but I'm so hungry, so she told me to gnaw on tree bark." "Your mom is so stupid." Feeling Chu Chi's murderous gaze, Su Yushi took his sister's hand and awkwardly tried to slip away. But in his excitement, he actually tripped on the stone slab, just as his handsome face was about to be disfigured. The next second, his body was actually airborne. It turned out Wanwan had lifted her second brother up in her hands. Su Yushi thought he could fly, and when Wanwan asked if he was okay, he immediately started doing push-ups on the spot. "I'm exercising. How could anything be wrong? As long as you're not embarrassed, it's others who are embarrassed." Then he quickly picked up Wanwan and fled in panic. Seeing this, Chu Chi covered her mouth and giggled. How had she never noticed that Su Yushi had this kind of personality before? Wanwan, who was awakened by hunger, rode on her brother's body, calling him to get up. Su Yushi pulled the blanket over his head. He drowsily acted cute. I want to sleep a little longer. Wanwan disgustedly helped him cover up with the blanket. Watching Wanwan jump down from the bed, the cameraman awkwardly complained that this brother seemed somewhat unreliable. After getting up, Wanwan left the room, thinking that second brother must be too tired. She had to find food by herself. At this time, a figure appeared in the square. It was Sheng Baiyuan with a villainous expression. He was somewhat secretly pleased. To leave a good impression on the audience, he had gotten up before 6 o'clock. "Rice bucket, uncle? I'm here to get breakfast." Seeing Wanwan in front of him, Sheng Baiyuan was shocked and stunned. He couldn't believe that Su Yushi got up so early. At this time, the director asked Wanwan where her brother was. Wanwan immediately calculated with her fingers. Second brother should have turned over at this time, scratched his butt, and continued sleeping. Upon hearing this, the director immediately misunderstood. How could this brother behave like this, actually letting a little child get food for him? Sheng Baiyuan seized the opportunity to mock sarcastically. Could it be that the Su family favors boys over girls? Wanwan held the breakfast and disgustedly said, "I'm second brother's parent, can't I be?" At these words, Sheng Baiyuan was speechless. He could only curse Wanwan as a hateful little brat in his heart. At this time, Song Jin smiled and asked Wanwan, "Why are you running so fast early in the morning?" Wanwan cutely held up the breakfast in her hand to explain, "The weather is too cold. If I run slowly, the breakfast will get cold. My second brother has a bad stomach and can't drink cold porridge. Who wouldn't love such a warm little cotton jacket?" Wanwan's words successfully attracted a wave of fans. At the small square gathering place, Lu Huai beside Wanwan was pitifully covering his growling little belly in protest. Wanwan was somewhat curious. "Didn't brother Lu Huai eat breakfast?" Lu Huai covered his stomach and explained painfully, "My mom is too lazy to get up in the morning. Not only didn't she go get breakfast, but she also told him to gnaw tree bark." Then he secretly told Wanwan, "The tree bark at our door has almost been gnawed bare by me. Tree bark really doesn't taste good at all." Wanwan laughed awkwardly. "You're silly. How could tree bark taste good?" Song Yu, who came over upon hearing this, drooled and asked, "Then how can it taste good?" Wanwan thought you need to add more seasoning and roast it. Wrap it in breadcrumbs, add egg wash and fry it in oil. With everyone talking at once, everyone happily surrounded Wanwan, which immediately drew Sheng He's jealousy. She mocked them as idiots. How could anyone in the world eat tree bark? At these words, Wanwan angrily retorted, "Who says tree bark can't be eaten?" Sheng He angrily shouted, "Tree bark tastes so bad, only ghosts would eat it." How could Sheng Baiyuan miss the chance to step on Wanwan? He protected his sister and arrogantly lectured Wanwan. "You can't be mischievous. This is filming a show, not playing house with you." Wanwan immediately got anxious. "What right do you have to say no one eats tree bark?" Master said that back when he led troops to war without food, they even boiled leather belts to eat. At that time in the ice and snow, even eating tree bark was a luxury. Speaking of this, Wanwan's gaze was attracted. She pointed behind her in Sheng Baiyuan's direction and asked brother, "Can we strip off his pants and eat a little?" Before brother could react, Wanwan had already run over like a streak of smoke. This scared Sheng Baiyuan so much he nearly wet himself, covering his crotch and trembling on the spot. Wanwan tore off a piece of tree bark from the tree. Her technique of controlling fire out of thin air with talismans in hand shocked everyone. "Mom, did you see? Wanwan knows magic." Then she angrily started roasting the tree bark. "Didn't you say it couldn't be eaten? I'll eat it for you to see, right now." She put the roasted tree bark in her mouth and chewed it carefully. Feeling the bitterness of the tree bark, Wanwan cried heartbrokenly. Master and the others, when tree bark was a luxury item back then. How did they get through those days? Su Yushi wiped Wanwan's tears while comforting her. "These things taste so bad, but Master and the seniors all ate them the same way. So we can't waste food in the future." Wanwan's tears fell under the tree, and the already dead withered wood actually sprouted a hint of green. At this time, Su Yushi touched Wanwan's head and praised, "Wanwan is truly a little lucky star." Wanwan's act of eating tree bark instantly gained her and second brother a wave of devoted fans. The director watching the livestream's program popularity even exclaimed that hiring the Su Yushi siblings was really worth it. Then he gave the host a look. Today's program segment officially began. The host held up the task card high. Then the parents each took a task card. Seeing Song Jin's constipated expression, the host held the microphone with a mischievous smile, let the friends in the live stream see what director Song drew. What Song Jin drew was taking the baby to catch fish, catching 500 pounds to get 10 points. Qiu Qi had to take the baby to dig in the mud pond, digging 500 pounds to get 10 points. The Sheng Baiyuan siblings drew going to the orchard to picking 500 pounds of oranges to get 10 points. At this time, Wanwan exclaimed, their task was to help the Hiyu family move bricks. Completing the task also gave 10 points. Su Yushi suddenly had a bad feeling. Before he could react, the host gleefully told him, "You have to move from the bottom of the mountain to the top." Looking at the time, the truck should have arrived. Upon hearing this, Su Yushi was so shocked his jaw dropped. After hearing this, Wanwan happily rushed out, "Going to move bricks, charge!" Then the siblings staged a real-life version of the tortoise and the hare. After a chase, they finally spotted Old Hu's figure. Old Hu, who had been waiting for a long time, immediately got excited when someone called him. He proudly pointed at Wanwan and bragged to the nearby villagers, "This is from the production team. They said they'd help me work." Upon hearing they could be on TV, everyone struck poses, and someone even held up a matchmaking sign. Then Wanwan followed Old Hu down the mountain to carry bricks. Only then did she learn that old Hu was moving bricks to build a wedding house for his son. Upon hearing this, Wanwan immediately said she would carry more to help brother Hu get a wife. Suyushi kept waving his hands, advising his sister not to carry anymore, looking at second brother's defeated appearance. Wanwan didn't understand why she shouldn't carry anymore. At this time, the sweating old Hu smiled and said, "Look at your brother, with his delicate skin and tender flesh. He definitely can't carry much. Don't tire your brother out." Then Wanwan took out the loaded bricks and said that old Hu was right. Second brother was indeed too weak. "Wanwan, when you say this, it makes second brother's heart hurt." Thinking that in the future he'd be chased by reporters and paparazzi asking if his body was really that weak, Suyushi shuddered. He cried while pinching his sister's face. "It's all your fault, Wanwan," Wanwan asked unclearly. "Second brother, you have kidney problems. How come your heart hurts?" Then Suyushi put the bricks on his shoulder, but no matter how hard he tried, he just couldn't lift them. Suddenly, with Wanwan's help, the bricks on his back became airborne, scaring Suyushi until his face turned green. Seeing brother carrying bricks but still shaking all over, his legs trembling and unable to move, Wanwan looked disgusted and sighed. "I told you second brother was weak." Upon hearing this, Suyushi's anger exploded. He charged up 3 steps in one breath. But after being handsome for less than 3 seconds, he collapsed on the steps dizzy and seeing stars. Wanwan felt sorry for her brother and wanted to help him carry the bricks, but Suyushi immediately refused. Wanwan still insisted, "How about we carry them together? Second brother, if you continue like this, your back might give out." However, Suyushi mercilessly covered her mouth and told her to shut up quickly, seeing his sister nod obediently. As soon as he let go, Wanwan solemnly swore, "I'll never say second brother has kidney deficiency again. Second brother isn't weak at all, just a bit frail." Then the shameless Suyushi sadly went to sulk in a corner alone. Wanwan added, "Second brother, let me help you carry them up." After saying this, Wanwan carried the bricks and rushed up the steps like an arrow. Suyushi beside her was so shocked his jaw dropped. Wanwan even turned back to call her confused brother to keep up. At the bottom of the mountain, by the truck, after 5 trips, Wanwan was still full of energy, while Suyushi was covering his back and about to cough up his soul. He finally understood why his sister said he was weak. At this time, Wanwan had a bright idea. She thought of a solution. Maybe let second brother try this. She placed the item in her half-paralyzed brother's hand. Suyushi's pupils dilated instantly. He felt like he was suddenly full of strength. Then he easily lifted 2 baskets of bricks happily. He curiously asked his sister what this was. Wanwan smiled and said it was a strength talisman. This scene in the livestream caused a heated response from the audience, who were all won over by Wanwan and Suyushi. On the mountain, Wanwan wiped the sweat from her forehead. They had successfully finished moving old Hu's bricks. Looking at the pile of bricks stacked like a small mountain, old Hu's jaw dropped in amazement. He couldn't believe this was all carried up by Wanwan. Wanwan rolled up her sleeves to show her muscles. She was very strong. At the production team's square, the other guests all looked exhausted, while Wanwan and her second brother were incredibly energetic. The exhausted Chu-Chi couldn't help but ask them, "Didn't you go move bricks? How are you still so energetic?" Wanwan held up the steamed bun in her hand and happily explained, "We not only moved bricks, but also carried cement." Old Hu even gave them 200 yuan and a big bag of steamed buns. Upon hearing about steamed buns, Lu Huai immediately perked up. Seeing this, Wanwan didn't hesitate to hand him the steamed bun in her hand. Sheng He witnessed this scene, which successfully aroused her jealousy. "What's so good about a broken steamed bun?" As soon as she finished speaking, Sheng He was slapped hard by someone. Looking back, Sheng Baiyuan was glaring at her viciously. "Don't you know this is a live broadcast?" Then Sheng He burst into tears. Wanwan innocently explained, "I didn't hit her." Lu Huai's voice suddenly rang out, "I don't like this sister at all. She only knows how to cry. Wanwan is different. She doesn't cry, gives us steamed buns to eat." Song Yun also said that Wanwan was the most beautiful child he'd ever seen. Wanwan embarrassedly stuck out her tongue. Suddenly she turned and noticed second brother Suyushi sitting on the ground watching the show, his whole body radiating bad luck. However, the villainous-looking Sheng Baiyuan in the distance was glowing with golden light. The realization hit Wanwan, who angrily clenched her fists. So it was this villain stealing second brother's fortune. No wonder she always felt the golden light on Sheng Baiyuan's body was so warm and familiar. Looking at the angry Wanwan staring at him, Sheng Baiyuan was momentarily confused. He thought to himself, "I haven't provoked this little nutcase, have I?" At this time, Wanwan pulled second brother's arm and said she would definitely get revenge for him. Although Suyushi didn't know what his sister meant, he still warmly touched Wanwan's head and said, "Then sister must protect brother well and chase away the bad guys." Suddenly, the host interrupted everyone. He was about to announce the points the guests had earned. The director took the cards and began announcing, Song Jin's group earned 50 yuan in compensation, totaling 5 points. Lu Huai's group only earned 20 yuan, so they only got 2 points. Next is Before the director could finish, he was interrupted by Sheng He waving money. "Rice bucket uncle, look at what my brother and I earned." Upon hearing this, the director's face looked very ugly. Sheng Baiyuan silently cursed trouble. Then he immediately scolded his sister with a gloomy face to be polite. Sheng He, who had just been proudly showing off, immediately stopped it. The host stood up to ease the awkwardness and announced their score was 10 points, currently the highest among the guests. Then Sheng Baiyuan got carried away and mocked, "I wonder how much brother Su Yushi earned today." Hearing this made Su Yushi nauseous. "You're several years older than me, don't call me brother, I can't stand it." Wanwan held up the money and explained, "We earned 200 today." Sheng He immediately got agitated and angrily accused Wanwan and them. "You couldn't possibly have that much money, you must have cheated." Knowing everything, how could Wanwan still indulge her? She immediately fired back, "We not only moved bricks today but also helped old Hu carry 4 bags of cement." "Impossible, you must be lying." Seeing Sheng He's persistent pestering, Wanwan had to ask the director for proof. Upon hearing someone call him Rice Bucket Uncle again, the director awkwardly stated he could confirm that what Wanwan said was true. The host even announced on the spot, "Congratulations to Su Yushi Big Friend and Wanwan Little Parent for earning 200 yuan compensation, totaling 20 points." Wanwan happily waved her little fist in her brother's arms. Seeing this, Sheng Baiyuan felt a surge of anger. He hated that Wanwan and Su Yushi had stolen his spotlight. The production team arranged a Manchu Han Imperial feast as the reward for first place. Wanwan didn't enjoy it alone, but invited everyone to eat together. The only ones not invited were the Sheng He siblings. Seeing Wanwan come down from the bench, the sinister Sheng He secretly rejoiced. "Aren't you still easily manipulated when you come to call me?" Unexpectedly, Wanwan advised them to go back quickly, or else when they ate the feast later, Sheng He would cry even harder. As soon as she finished speaking, Sheng He burst into tears. Sheng Baiyuan angrily cursed her to "Shut up, you useless thing." However, Wanwan lifted Sheng He high up. "Uncle, quickly take her away." She even took the opportunity to slip a talisman into Sheng He's pocket. Then the Sheng He siblings left in a huff. Wanwan even stabbed them in the heart from behind, happily waving goodbye. "Uncle, take your time leaving." The scene shifted to the angry Sheng Baiyuan washing his face with cold water. He wiped his face while angrily cursing about how unlucky today was. Suddenly, the jade pendant in his chest slipped out. Seeing this, his pupils dilated. He looked in terror at the jade pendant as the fortune disappeared from it, replaced by his own bad luck. It turned out that some celebrities, in order to become famous, used evil arts to absorb others' fortune. Legend had it that some demons who couldn't become gods would pretend to be gods to help their hosts fulfill wishes in order to gain godlike powerful magic. But they would also slowly devour the host's mind and then be able to inhabit them to gain power. At this time, Sheng Baiyuan's evil art was broken by Wanwan. He looked in terror at the jade pendant in his hand. Fortunately, it wasn't damaged, or else all the fortune he had previously stolen would disappear. Thinking of this, he anxiously ran toward the bedroom. Taoist master. The Taoist master must have a solution. However, his backpack was completely empty. His phone had long been confiscated by the production team. He nervously comforted himself. Just 5 days, there shouldn't be any problems. The scene shifted to Wanwan, who had finished the Manchu Han Imperial feast and wanted to take the leftovers back as meals for the next few days, but was directly refused by Rice Bucket director. Upon hearing this, Wanwan immediately got anxious. She angrily said, "Why not? These haven't been finished." "I don't want to waste food," Rice Bucket director quickly explained. This wouldn't be fair to the other guests. Su Yushi also comforted his sister. "Be good. When the show ends, second brother will treat you to a feast." But Wanwan had just observed the night sky, and tomorrow Wanwan might not have food to eat. The next day at the square, Wanwan looked at the tag in her hand in shock. The host announced, "Please, children who have exchanged parents, quickly go find your new parents." Wanwan helplessly complained, "Last night's divination was really accurate." Su Yushi heartbrokenly shouted, "If Wanwan gets hungry, just come home. Second brother won't let you go hungry," the director reminded. During the task, "You can't meet with your parent." At these words, Su Yushi was completely furious. He directly transformed into an evil dragon and roared, "We're not filming the show anymore, let's go home." Wanwan quickly went to persuade her raging brother, "Second brother, no. Think about the 30 million." Under Wanwan's insistence, Su Yushi had to compromise. Sheng Baiyuan thought to himself, "I can't let this little troublemaker ruin the persona I've worked so hard to build." Only then did Wanwan notice that Sheng Baiyuan looked a lot like second brother. After the task assignment was completed, Su Yushi was pulled away by the crying Sheng He to say goodbye to Wanwan. "You can find second brother anytime." Wanwan told him to rest assured. For the 30 million, she definitely wouldn't go. Then Sheng Baiyuan invited Wanwan to set off together. Wanwan seriously said, "Uncle Sheng, you really look like my second brother. Those who don't know might think you're my second brother's son." "Uncle, how many girlfriends do you have?" At these words, Sheng Baiyuan was obviously panicked. How could this dead girl know? Coming to his senses, he acted cute toward Wanwan. "What are you talking about? I'm currently single." Upon hearing this, Wanwan pointed at his facial features and retorted, "Impossible. Your palace area is flushed red and your eye corners are blooming, indicating you have romantic prospects, and not just one." Damn it! Sheng Baiyuan blamed it all on Su Yushi. Then he nervously defended, Wanwan, this is a society ruled by law. You can't talk about these supernatural things. The next second, Wanwan began her performance. Of course I know. Wanwan also knows to follow policies and guidelines. How could there be ghosts in the world? Even if there were, ordinary people couldn't see them. She even clearly stated, please believe in science. After saying this, she turned and gave Sheng Baiyuan a look. Uncle Sheng, I see you have dark circles under your eyes. You must restrain yourself normally, or your body will become weak. Sheng Baiyuan quickly covered Wanwan's mouth and awkwardly explained it was because he didn't sleep well yesterday, however. The livestream comment section had already exploded. Sheng Baiyuan immediately fled while carrying Wanwan. Damn it, his persona almost collapsed. Just now, Wanwan and Sheng Baiyuan had been assigned the task of repairing a house together. Looking at the dilapidated house, Wanwan awkwardly complained, where did Rice Bucket Uncle find such an old house? Is this huge hole in the roof a joke? At this time, Sheng Baiyuan also complained, the production team is making things difficult for us. How could anyone possibly complete this kind of task? Beside him, Wanwan was cheering herself on. I will definitely work hard to complete it. Then Wanwan, carrying a small basket, asked him, do you know how to repair earthen walls? No idea. Do you know where to find the thatch for the roof? Sheng Baiyuan shrugged. I don't know. Wanwan disgustedly touched her head. How do you not know anything? I can't carry you like this. Sheng Baiyuan smiled on the surface, but inwardly hated how Wanwan had embarrassed him multiple times. He was determined to kill Wanwan, so he suggested taking Wanwan to the back mountain, where there seemed to be a lot of yellow clay. At this time, Wanwan noticed that the thing around his neck looked very wrong. Sheng Baiyuan continued suggesting they go up the mountain to dig now, so they could repair the house in the afternoon. Wanwan nodded vigorously in agreement. She wanted to see what tricks this villain was playing. Sheng Baiyuan was thinking that once they reached a place with no people, he'd kill Wanwan. Then they entered the mountains together, seeing them go deeper and deeper into the mountains. Sheng Baiyuan quietly took care of the cameraman behind them. Wanwan noticed the abnormality. She turned and asked where cameraman brother went. At this time, Sheng Baiyuan stopped pretending. He reached for Wanwan with a sinister face. He gritted his teeth and questioned Wanwan, were today's words taught to you by Su Yushi? Wanwan said so many things today. Who knows which sentence you're talking about? Seeing Wanwan playing with him, Sheng Baiyuan directly struck like a black tiger clawing at the heart. Unexpectedly, Wanwan easily dodged it. When Wanwan goes back, she'll definitely tell brother and Rice Bucket Uncle. However, Sheng Baiyuan wasn't afraid of danger at all. I'll throw you here now. Let's see who can save you. After seeing Wanwan's look like she was looking at an idiot, Sheng Baiyuan questioned what that expression meant. Wanwan disgustedly said, are you stupid? Being provoked again, Sheng Baiyuan viciously lifted Wanwan in his hands. Wanwan observed the jade pendant up close. Such heavy yin energy. How could he be wearing this thing? Then Sheng Baiyuan lifted her high up. Anyway, your unlucky brother is about to die too. You can go down first and scout the way for him. But Wanwan took the opportunity to tear off his jade pendant. With a bang, Wanwan was thrown hard to the ground. At this time, Sheng Baiyuan discovered the jade pendant was missing. Wanwan endured the pain and asked him, who gave you the jade pendant? After Sheng Baiyuan discovered the jade pendant was in Wanwan's hands, he anxiously rushed forward to snatch it. Wanwan wouldn't let him continue harming people. She directly smashed the jade pendant. Looking at the evil god jade pendant shattered on the ground, Sheng Baiyuan was both shocked and angry. Wanwan angrily stomped the fragments under her feet. This evil jade harms others and yourself, it's better destroyed. You had plastic surgery to look like my second brother's face in order to become a top celebrity. You even fed evil spirits with blood, let the evil god revive, then stole second brother's fortune and transferred it to yourself. Sheng Baiyuan, do you really think others don't know about these dealings? Saying this, Wanwan angrily punched Sheng Baiyuan in the face, knocking out his front teeth. Now Wanwan was completely furious. Ignorant mortal, how dare you harm my family? Then Wanwan chanted an incantation. Xian Luo Da Na, slay demons and drive away evil. Then she summoned purple divine lightning out of thin air. Wanwan shouted break, and without hesitation struck the evil jade with the divine lightning. At this time, Sheng Baiyuan had already been scared to the point of wetting himself. He screamed in terror, there's a ghost! The next second he collapsed on the ground, foaming at the mouth. After finishing the spell, Wanwan felt her face hurt. It was from being hit by Sheng Baiyuan earlier. Thinking of this, Wanwan's resentment instantly maxed out. Shameless villain, even hitting children. Watch me teach you a good lesson today. After saying this, she transformed into a little wolf dog and bit the foaming Sheng Baiyuan. In the evening at the production team's small square, Su Yushi was furious about his sister's disappearance. Rice Bucket director didn't even dare breathe heavily. Wanwan was the little princess of the Beijing Su family. If she really went missing, not just him, but the entire production team would be finished. Su Yushi angrily wanted to take action. Just as everyone was trying to break up the fight, Song Yun behind them seemed to have discovered something. He happily shouted for everyone to look over there. Su Yushi also heard Wanwan calling for her second brother, thinking he was hearing things. Seeing this, Rice Bucket Director was so excited he cried tears of joy. He pointed into the distance and shouted, "It's Wanwan! It's really Wanwan coming back!" Everyone turned to look and saw Wanwan dragging the foaming Sheng Baiyuan, exhaustedly moving slowly toward them. Suyushi ran over with concern and tightly hugged his sister. Wanwan smiled and said, "Great, second brother, you finally don't have to die." After saying this, Wanwan fell unconscious. Suyushi worriedly supported Wanwan. Then he protectively held Wanwan and shouted, "Where's the medic? Quick, call an ambulance!" Wanwan had finally gotten revenge for second brother, taking back the fortune that had been stolen from her brother. But she was also injured and hospitalized as a result. Fortunately, it was only minor intracranial damage, and she just needed to stay in the hospital for observation temporarily. Upon hearing this, Suyushi tearfully grabbed the doctor. "My sister's head injury won't make her stupid, will it? She's already this silly. What would happen if she got even sillier?" The doctor told him to be quiet. The patient still needed rest. Seeing this, Wanwan was awkwardly speechless. Who exactly is silly, me or you? Then she interrupted second brother's pestering of the doctor, reaching out her arms for brother to hug her. The doctor took the opportunity to flee in panic. Then Wanwan asked second brother sitting by the bed, "Have you been particularly unlucky these past 2 years?" Suyushi awkwardly explained, "That's more than just unlucky. It's like stepping in dog poop every time I go out." Upon hearing this, Wanwan also awkwardly said, "Second brother, you're really unlucky, but don't worry, you won't have problems anymore." Suyushi also realized something. Could it be that Wanwan meant this matter was related to Sheng Baiyuan? Wanwan nodded her head frantically. Yes. This scared Suyushi out of his wits. He quickly stopped his sister's movement. The doctor said, "You can't move your head." Speaking of this, Suyushi heartbrokenly touched her wound and asked, "Did that villain Sheng Baiyuan hit you?" Wanwan recreated the scene in the forest. "He didn't hit me, but he grabbed me by the collar and almost threw me to my death." To avoid worrying her brother, Wanwan didn't mention the part about forcibly summoning divine lightning afterward, saying she couldn't remember clearly. Then Wanwan's eyes lit up as she explained, "It was Sheng Baiyuan who kept stealing your fortune. He not only had plastic surgery to look like you, but even used an evil god jade pendant to steal your fortune. This is why second brother has been unlucky, and after your fortune was stolen, your death energy would become heavier and heavier." Saying this, Wanwan angrily clenched her fists. "If I hadn't discovered Sheng Baiyuan's secret, you'd probably be dead by now, with grass on your grave a zhang hai." Suyushi was somewhat frantic. It seemed Wanwan was afraid he'd worry and hadn't told the truth. The matter definitely wasn't as easily resolved as she described. "Did Sheng Baiyuan want to kill you to silence you after you discovered his secret in the forest?" Wanwan howled like a big bad wolf. "He just said he'd throw me in the mountains to feed Grandma Wolf." Upon hearing this, Suyushi said with a dark face, "I definitely won't let that villain Sheng Baiyuan off. Wanwan, I'll definitely protect you next time." As soon as he finished speaking, Wanwan grabbed second brother's hand. "Let's make a pinky promise. Hanging for 100 years, no changes allowed. If you change..." Wanwan suddenly stopped to think. If you change, Suyushi would have to be Wanwan's brother for 10 lifetimes. Suyushi dotingly took his sister's hand. "Pinky promise. Hanging for 100 years, no changes allowed. If I change, I'll be Su Wanwan's brother for 10 lifetimes, taking care of her for a lifetime." At this time on the internet trending topics, it was all about Sheng Baiyuan's scandal. He was not only exposed for plastic surgery, but also for having improper dealings with his agent. Now both of them had been fired by the company and faced astronomical breach of contract compensation. He was also exposed for having multiple girlfriends. Suyushi burst out laughing. "I didn't expect Sheng Baiyuan to be even more daring than me in private, having so many girlfriends." Suddenly Sister May's angry roar came from the phone. "I told you to find opportunities to clear your name, not to give self-evaluations here." The next second, Suyushi became serious. "If Sister May has no objections, let's leave Sheng Baiyuan's plagiarism case to the police." Then Sister May asked if he would continue participating in variety shows. Suyushi was about to refuse, but Wanwan quietly reminded him from the side, "Go. Second brother, let's continue." Suyushi looked at the expectant Wanwan and suddenly felt hesitant. After hanging up the phone, he wanted to discuss it with Wanwan guiltily, but before he could speak, he was startled by the phone ringing and jumped up. "It's Grandpa! Grandpa is calling!" Just as he didn't know what to do, a helicopter suddenly appeared outside the window. Then he turned around with a terrified expression, thinking this was really the end. As soon as the helicopter arrived at the hospital, Grandpa Su couldn't wait to stand on the rope ladder. Wanwan in the ward looked at Grandpa with admiration, but Suyushi was scared out of his wits and hurriedly tried to explain to Grandpa. Obviously, the old man didn't want to hear his excuses at all, so he directly smashed through the glass and jumped into the ward. Without a word, he grabbed the mop and angrily rushed forward to teach Suyushi a lesson. Wanwan is still so young. How could you, such a grown man, not watch her properly? Suyushi was so scared that he quickly held Wanwan tightly in front of him as a shield. "Wanwan, my life depends on you today." Sure enough, when Grandpa Su saw Wanwan, he immediately ran over with heartache to care for his granddaughter. Suyushi took the opportunity to put a garbage bag over his head and hid in the corner, silently chanting, "You can't see me, you can't see me." At this time, Papa Su came into the ward with a brain specialist he had kidnapped from his own hospital, asking him to quickly examine his daughter. Dad and Big Brother are here too. Now Su Yushi was completely terrified. The whole family watched anxiously as the doctor examined Wanwan, while Su Yushi trembled in the corner. After the examination, the doctor awkwardly explained that the young miss was in good condition with no life-threatening injuries, but since she had injured her head, she still needed to rest quietly. Hearing this, Papa Su, who had relaxed, immediately transformed into a demon and went to punish his rebellious son who was trying to sneak away. Then Papa Su looked around with red eyes for a handy weapon. Su Yushi advised, "Dad, don't look anymore. I've already thrown away everything you could use handily." Hearing this, Papa Su went crazy and cursed his rebellious son. Behind him, Su Chihuai came with his own baseball bat and told Dad, "This one's quite handy." Su Yushi was instantly so scared he became blurry. "Am I still your real brother?" Suddenly, Rice Bucket Director stood at the door with fruit, giving himself a pep talk. For the sake of ratings, he must persuade them to come back. He didn't notice Su Yushi being lovingly cared for by his father in the ward at all. At the critical moment, Wanwan was reliable. She stood up and protected. Second brother behind her. "Daddy, don't hit second brother anymore. Second brother is a flower of the motherland. If you want to hit someone, hit me instead." Seeing this, the director at the door exclaimed, "Wanwan, how did you get out of bed?" He ran out making a fuss and startled Wanwan. Wanwan asked in confusion, "Uncle Rice Bucket, how did you come?" Rice Bucket? Papa Su subconsciously looked at the director's belly. "Don't say, it really does look quite similar." Then Wanwan made introductions. "Daddy, this is Wanwan's director, Uncle Rice Bucket." The director excitedly called Papa Su Daddy. "No, that's wrong, Mr. Su. Hello. I came to check on Wanwan's physical condition and also wanted to ask if the show will continue." Papa Su refused without thinking. "Our Wanwan will never participate in such a dangerous show again." Wanwan quickly tugged at Papa Su's sleeve. "Daddy, Wanwan wants to go." Papa Su firmly said no. "But Wanwan wants the 30 million, and I can't bear to leave Lu Huai and Song Yu. They're both Wanwan's good friends. Aunt Chu Chi is also very nice, and Uncle Song Jin gave Wanwan bacon to eat before. Wanwan really likes them," she said, almost crying from feeling wronged. Seeing this, Papa Su comforted his daughter with heartache. "Daddy is afraid you'll get hurt. Have you forgotten how the injury on your head came about?" "I haven't forgotten. It still hurts, but the bad guy has already been caught by the police, Uncle." Papa Su didn't force Wanwan, but asked her why she insisted on participating. "Actually, our family has a lot of money. Wanwan doesn't need to work so hard." Wanwan wiped the tears from the corner of her eyes. "I know Daddy has a lot of money, but second brother and I have already signed a contract. The contract says we must have contract spirit and can't be deadbeats." Papa Su was somewhat amused and exasperated. He didn't know where his daughter learned this word. Finally, he agreed to his daughter's request, but Wanwan also had to promise Daddy that when encountering dangerous things in the future, she must run first. Wanwan smiled and nodded. "Then if I can win the fight, do I still need to run?" "Of course you need to run. Run back home, and Daddy and brothers will help you beat them up." Then Papa Su and Su Chihuai stayed behind uneasily and could only let Grandpa go back first to manage the company. Grandpa cried as he said goodbye to Wanwan on the plane. On the show's plaza, the host was energetically welcoming Wanwan's return. At the same time, he also introduced that there was movie Emperor Wei Mingxi and a mysterious little guest. Everyone was shocked to hear this. Didn't he retire from the entertainment industry 5 years ago? And who is the child beside him? Just as everyone was speculating about the boy's identity, Wanwan's eyes suddenly lit up, and she couldn't help but exclaim. She even rubbed her eyes in disbelief. Wanwan happily shouted, "Little Chi brother." Then Wanwan ran over with her little short legs. Seeing this, Gu Fangchi's lips curved into a slight smile. Then he directly stuffed the little bear in his hand to his uncle. He opened his arms and slightly squatted in a horse stance. Wanwan threw herself into Gu Fangchi's arms. "Little Chi brother, how did you come?" "Of course I missed you." After speaking, the two little dumplings rolled together. After hugging, Gu Fangchi asked Wanwan with concern, "Is your forehead okay?" Wanwan smiled and explained, "It's fine, just not completely healed yet, so it still hurts a little bit." Hearing this, the caring Gu Fangchi gently blew air on Wanwan's forehead. Blow, 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 pain, pain, fly away. Then Gu Fangchi took the doll from his uncle's hand. "Look, I brought Niu for you," Wanwan whispered. "Little Chi brother, the show has rules that toys must be handed over." As soon as she finished speaking, Rice Bucket Director appeared behind them with a box. "Please hand over everything except clothes." Our fourth group of guests. Gu Fangchi frowned and hugged Niu tightly. Rice Bucket Director stood there awkwardly. Wei Mingxi had to comfort little Chi. "It's okay. After 3 days, the doll will still be Wanwan's." Hearing the voice, Wanwan finally noticed Wei Mingxi's presence. Wanwan excitedly circled around him, chattering nonstop. "Uncle, did you just come back from fighting monsters? Uncle, are you the shadow armor? Can't your swift shadow blade be brought on the plane either?" "My 7-star sword couldn't be brought either." Wei Mingxi stood there smiling awkwardly. Wanwan looked at Wei Mingxi's handsome face and was smitten. "Uncle, you're so handsome. When I grow up, can you marry me and take me home?" Master said to find the most handsome husband. Suddenly, a vicious glare shot over. Wei Mingxi felt a chill down his back and couldn't help but shrink his neck. He thought, it seems little Chi likes this child. Then he helplessly explained to Wanwan, but Uncle can't wait for you to grow up. Uncle already has a wife. Wanwan's smile froze. What? Then she covered her face, heartbroken. Woo-woo, my love is gone. Su Yushi behind her was shaking with laughter. Suddenly, a small hand grabbed her. Wanwan's love is still here, Gu Fangqi seriously confessed. My uncle is an old man. When you grow up, I'll marry you. Wanwan listened and thought, that really makes sense. Then she reminded Gu Fangqi, you must never forget to come marry me in the future. Gu Fangqi seriously said, I won't forget. Unable to bear it anymore, second brother picked up his sister, Little Cabbage. Let's go, stay away from these pigheads. Looking at Su Yushi leaving angrily, Wei Mingxi couldn't help but tease, well, you found yourself a wife on a variety show. Looks like you'll have to work hard if you want to marry her in the future. Look how her second brother wants to tear you apart. The scene switched, and the host announced today's task. That was to help local villagers sell agricultural products and earn 200 yuan by themselves within 2 days. One group of guests had 2 people, which meant the total revenue for 2 days needed to reach 400. Wanwan jumped up happily after hearing this. Great, let's go sell vegetables. At this time, Wanwan was energetically hawking in the market. She pointed to the big radish in her hand and spoke eloquently. Grandma, look how fresh this radish is. Buy it back for your grandson to eat, and he'll definitely get good grades on his next exam. Wanwan's little mouth was non-stop. Pretty sister, look at this potato. Her performance won the love of all the grandpas and grandmas. Soon their stall was completely sold out. Wanwan wiped the sweat from her forehead. Second brother, should we go back quickly? Su Yushi was afraid of tiring his precious sister, so he directly carried Wanwan in his arms. But sister seems to have gotten a bit heavier. Hearing this, Wanwan in his arms immediately protested, I'm not fat, second brother is just too weak. Su Yushi was speechless after hearing this. How come he always can't escape being called weak? Suddenly Gu Fangqi appeared from behind. Wanwan immediately forgot about her brother. She happily shouted, Little Chi brother, how did you come over? Gu Fangqi raised the cake in his hand and said he wanted to give it to Wanwan to eat. The little foodie heard this and immediately jumped down from her brother's arms, clamoring to eat. Wanwan ate the cake with satisfaction, but where did little Chi brother get the money? Gu Fangqi lovingly touched her head. Of course I got it from my uncle. As soon as this was said, the comment section exploded. If I remember correctly, Wei Mingxi worked hard and only sold 10 yuan worth, right? So Gu Fangqi took it all to buy food. He's too inconsiderate, right? Upstairs, the money was given to Gu Fangqi by Wei Mingxi. How the kid wants to handle his own money is up to him. There's nothing wrong with him using his own money to support his little wife, right? At this time, Gu Fangqi suggested taking Wanwan to find his uncle. Just as they walked to the stall, Wanwan discovered little Chi's uncle's full vegetable basket. Seeing this, she was very puzzled. Why is everything packed up? Are you not selling anymore? Wei Mingxi in front of the camera held the lotus root in his hand and explained, because I felt it wasn't worth it. I didn't expect 400 to 500 pounds of vegetables to only sell for 600 yuan. Farmers work so hard for so long and can't earn much money in a year. Hearing this, Wanwan empathized. Yes, the farmer uncles work so hard. Seeing this, Gu Fangqi comforted from the side, so we can't waste food in the future. Then Wei Mingxi carried the basket and left with the 2 children. Wanwan happily shouted on the road, I'm a good child, I never waste food. On the show's plaza, all guests had returned, waiting for the host to announce the results. Song Jin and his son sold 200 pounds of Chinese cabbage and got 5 points. Qiuqi and her son only sold 2 pounds of small cucumbers and got a participation award of 2 points. Our movie Emperor Wei actually sold 380 pounds of vegetables and got 8 points. The host was so excited his eyes were shining. Finally, congratulations to our champion Wanwan this time. She sold all the vegetables and got 10 points. The show decided to reward Wanwan with 1 wish. Rice Bucket director smiled and asked about Wanwan's wish, thinking smugly that a child's wish would probably just be snacks or something like that. Suddenly, Wanwan had a bright idea. Uncle Rice Bucket, Wanwan's wish is to change 1 wish into 3 wishes. Hearing this, Rice Bucket director, who had just been smug, instantly turned to stone and cracked with a sound. And Wanwan's first wish was to give everyone on the show 10 wishes. Rice Bucket director was so embarrassed he couldn't get down from the stage. Are all kids nowadays this hard to deal with? The host quickly announced the end of the show. See you next episode. At this time in the city's high school, Zhang Huayu looked at his phone and finally understood. No wonder he hadn't seen Little Master Uncle for so long. It turned out she went to participate in a variety show. Suddenly, a classmate rushed over shouting, Oh no, Su Xingman is fighting again. On the other side, the parent-child show finally ended. Wanwan looked at the big airplane in front of her and exclaimed how big it was. Papa Su saw his daughter so excited and simply wanted to give the plane to his daughter as a travel tool, but Wanwan waved her hands dismissively. Big airplanes use too much fuel. Then the family got on the helicopter and went home. The helicopter landed steadily in front of the Su family's door, but Grandpa Su had already been waiting at the door for a long time. Seeing this, Wanwan happily ran toward Grandpa with her little short legs pattering. Papa Su behind her caringly reminded Wanwan to run slowly. Wanwan hugged Grandpa in one go. Then she noticed the old man's abnormality. She saw Grandpa's face was pitch black. and even the air pressure around him had dropped. Wanwan subconsciously covered her bottom and asked pitifully, "Grandpa won't spank my bottom, will he?" The old man was somewhat amused and exasperated. Then he lovingly held Wanwan in his arms. Just now the homeroom teachers of 5th and 6th called, saying they got into a fight at school and went to the hospital, broke another child's bones, and asked us to go to school later. Papa Su shook his head in disbelief without thinking, "That's impossible. I know my sons. Not to mention 5th, just 6th. He's always focused on studying. How could he possibly hit someone?" Hearing this, Grandpa couldn't help but complain, "Your 2 sons have been at the bottom of their class for 3 consecutive years." Now it was Papa Su's turn to be confused. He still couldn't quite believe it. Back then, his son was first in the middle school entrance exam. Thinking of this, he decided to go to school to see for himself. Wanwan behind him also wanted to go along. On the way to school, Wanwan curiously asked Daddy, "What is 5th brother like?" "Very tall, very strong, very smart." "What about 6th brother?" "Very tall, very strong, very smart." So Wanwan looked forward with great anticipation, poking her little head out to look for her brothers. Suddenly, Zhang Huayu in the class spotted her. He quickly stood up and bowed to Wanwan. "Hello, little master uncle. Are you here to see me?" Wanwan was busy greeting her brother in the back row and casually waved her hand, telling Huayu not to be so formal. Wanwan ran towards 6th brother. "6th brother, Wanwan missed you so much. Why haven't you come home to see Wanwan?" Su Xingman was about to speak, but Wanwan was surrounded by a group of girls. "Su, classmate, is this your sister? How come we never heard you mention her?" "Little dumpling, sister has candy, do you want some?" Fortunately, Su Xingman pulled Wanwan out in one go. The smitten female classmates still wouldn't give up and chased after them, wanting to hug Wanwan. Su Chengxi in his seat stared blankly with glazed eyes. Wanwan and his gaze suddenly met. "Wanwan, 5th brother." The 2 siblings with only 3-year-old intelligence called each other, their voices getting louder and louder. "5th brother, Wanwan," Su Xingman said with disgust. "Do you want me to light 2 incense sticks for you to become sworn brothers?" Then Su Chengqi asked Wanwan with heartache, "Does the wound still hurt? Let brother blow on it for you." But Wanwan frowned. Why does 5th brother have such strong yin energy on him? She turned her head and found 6th brother also had it. Then Wanwan made hand seals with her fingers and chanted a spell. "Expel evil and bind demons, let no soul be lost." With a whoosh, golden light shot out in all directions. Su Xingman and Su Chengqi instantly felt their minds clear. Zhang Huayu on the side watched everything. The cold yin energy around them actually decreased. Zhang Huayu immediately showed a face full of admiration. As expected, little master uncle is even more amazing than I imagined. His deskmate mocked. "Class monitor, you were really funny just now. What era is this? You're actually calling a little kid master uncle." Zhang Huayu's face darkened as he turned and angrily scolded. "I won't allow you to talk about my little master uncle like that." However, facing the Su brothers' indifference, the teacher instantly felt she had lost face. She angrily scolded Su Xingman and said that from now on he couldn't sit during class. Hearing this, Su Xingman nonchalantly stood up, seemingly not taking the teacher's harassment to heart. The teacher wasn't planning to let him off easily either. "Su Xingman, you'll be taking the college entrance exam next semester. Look at yourself, you were even the top student in the middle school entrance exam." The teacher thought viciously. She had thought she'd found a treasure back then, but when they registered, one had been hit by a car during summer vacation and turned into an idiot, and the other was good for nothing, smoking and drinking. Because of this, she'd been scolded by the director many times. The more she thought about, the angrier she got. She turned her attention to Su Chengqi again. "What's an idiot doing coming to school to study? Why don't you stay home properly instead of causing trouble every day?" These words completely enraged Su Xingman. His face darkened as he asked the teacher what she was barking about. Before he could explode, Wanwan jumped onto the desk and domineeringly protected her brother. She pointed at the teacher's nose and angrily scolded, "What right do you have to call my brother an idiot?" The teacher was speechless from being confronted, but still shouted that she would punish the idiot. And Su Xingman, "You actually brought a child to school privately. Tomorrow call your parents to school, or you can just get out and not study." As soon as she finished speaking, Papa Su appeared at the door and angrily questioned the teacher. "Who gave you the right to randomly expel students?" In the office, Papa Su sat in a chair asking the teacher what exactly was wrong with his sons. The teacher looked at Papa Su and didn't dare say a word. She couldn't believe that the father of these 2 students was the national tycoon Su Zhou. The teacher hesitated for a moment, but thinking that Su Xingman had hit someone first, she mustered up courage again. "Mr. Su, here's what happened. Yesterday at noon, Su Xingman brought his brother to corner a student from class 7 of the 3rd year, Sao Shi, in the bathroom without saying a word. The injury report from the hospital shows that student Sao's legs were broken." Suddenly, Papa Su asked her, "Why did my son hit that student?" Wanwan beside him also nodded. "Right, why would 5th brother and 6th brother suddenly hit someone? There must be a reason." With this said, the teacher was instantly speechless. Seeing she couldn't answer, Wanwan's anger flared up. "Teacher, you wouldn't happen to not know why 5th brother and 6th brother hit someone, would you?" "Teacher, you didn't even understand the situation before putting all the blame on Wanwan's brothers." Saying this, Wanwan angrily stamped her feet. A crappy school that doesn't even ask for reasons. We don't want to stay here anyway. Then Wanwan pulled her two brothers and walked out. Papa Su told the teacher, the Su family will bear the medical expenses. But Cao Shi spread rumors and bullied classmates. I hope the school can give the Su family a satisfactory answer, or this school has no need to exist. The teacher panicked and wanted to explain. Obviously, Papa Su and the others didn't pay attention, but asked their sons in the car, "Why didn't you tell me when you were bullied at school?" Wanwan looked like she understood, sigh. These are all things that can be solved with fists. Besides, it would be so embarrassing to ask parents for help when something happens. Then Su Xingmen was the first to apologize to Dad. Papa Su said guiltily, "I'm the one who should say sorry." As soon as they got home, Wanwan saw the snacks in the living room and quickly called fifth brother and sixth brother to come eat. The next second, Su Xingmen stopped her in shock. "Fifth brother, you can't let Wanwan eat so many snacks." Wanwan told fifth brother to relax. She would make him return to normal. Hearing this, Su Xingmen couldn't quite believe it, thinking he had misheard. But Wanwan smugly said, "I'm very capable." Saying this, she pattered off to her room. She took out the golden needles inherited from her senior brother. Ignoring the envious and shocked looks from the two, Wanwan selected the smallest needle from inside. "Sixth brother, hold down fifth brother for me. I'll treat his head." This scared fifth brother out of his wits. Before they could react, she was red-eyed, riding on fifth brother's body and starting to insert needles. Watching his sister, the needle-inserting maniac, sixth brother was even more shocked and dumbfounded. At this time, Papa Su noticed the commotion downstairs and couldn't help asking, "Can fifth brother's head really recover?" Hearing this, Wanwan said seriously, "Of course, but fifth brother's head isn't just a simple car accident." As soon as she finished speaking, Papa Su teleported to Wanwan's side. He rolled up his sleeves and was about to help hold down his son. Su Xingman, who was scared out of his wits, quickly stopped him. "Daddy, don't join Wanwan in this nonsense." Then Su Chengqi looked at himself in the mirror with tears in his eyes. "Woo-woo, I've turned into a hedgehog." Then he was so scared he fainted directly onto sixth brother. Wanwan anxiously wanted to help fifth brother. "Don't faint yet. Wait until Wanwan finishes pulling out the needles before fainting." When the time was up, Wanwan comforted her crying brother not to cry while carefully pulling out the needles. Su Xingmen awkwardly called out Dad. Papa Su was also nervous, but he still reassured his son. Wanwan learned some medical skills from her master when she was little. Her senior brother is even the director of surgery at the Imperial Capital Hospital, Mo Jinchun. Hearing this, Su Xingmen asked in surprise, "Mo Jinchun? Is that the Mo family young master who didn't inherit the family business properly, mysteriously disappeared for 2 years, and came back having learned traditional Chinese medicine?" Su Xingmen couldn't quite believe it. "Didn't you say Wanwan's master was a Taoist priest?" Wanwan smiled and said, "I'm not bragging. My master is really amazing, and Wanwan has many senior brothers and junior brothers. Any one of them pulled out is a top-notch person." Saying this, Wanwan pouted with some disdain, of course except for junior brother Xiang Deshou. He used to waste too much talisman paper when drawing talismans and was often chased and beaten by master. Sixth brother listened, but was somewhat skeptical. "How can a little kid have junior brothers? Who is your junior brother? Tell us." Seeing his son didn't believe, Papa Su prepared to teach his son a lesson. Wanwan's junior brother is the president of the Tianxi Association. The Tianxi Association belongs to the country and works for the country. With this said, it was like a huge stone hitting sixth brother's head, shocking him so much his jaw almost dropped. After the acupuncture treatment ended, Wanwan helped the tired fifth brother to the sofa to sleep. She also comforted Su Xingmen to relax. "As long as I'm here, I will definitely keep you safe." Although fifth brother and sixth brother are about to die, Wanwan said with determined eyes, "As long as I'm here, even the king of hell can't take you away." Seeing sixth brother's confused face, Wanwan had to continue explaining. "Our family has been cursed by an evil cultivator. If we don't break it in time, the whole family will die within a year." Hearing this, sixth brother still found it hard to believe. "A curse? How is that possible? That's too evil." Seeing her brother didn't believe, Wanwan asked him if the safety charm she gave him a month ago had spontaneously combusted without warning. Sixth brother was shocked after hearing this. How did Wanwan know these things? A month ago, his and fifth brother's safety charms did indeed spontaneously combust. Of course Wanwan had calculated these things. That's because you encountered danger, and the safety charms blocked a calamity for you. Wanwan proudly explained all this. Only then did sixth brother remember fifth brother's abnormality last time. If he hadn't appeared in time, fifth brother would have fallen from the building. Thinking of this, sixth brother felt a chill of fear. Who could be so vicious as to want to harm the Su family? Obviously, Wanwan didn't know who the culprit was either. "But with me here, I definitely won't let anything happen to you." Sixth brother, who had just been feeling heavy-hearted, was almost amused by Wanwan's adult-like demeanor despite her small size. "You're so little. It should definitely be your brothers protecting you," Wanwan argued unconvincingly. "That's not true. Although Wanwan is young, she's very capable." Hearing this, sixth brother lovingly touched his sister's head. "Our Wanwan is so capable, so you must protect your brothers well." Seeing fifth brother had woken up, sixth brother waved his hand grandly. "Now it's dinner time. Let me see who wants to eat." The two little foodies immediately raised their hands. The previously heavy atmosphere suddenly became lively, and everyone happily walked toward the dining room. Only sixth brother remained standing there with a dark face. Whoever wanted to harm him and his family, he swore he would find the mastermind behind it. Then the whole family sat together happily for dinner. Suddenly, Wanwan, who was eating a chicken drumstick, curiously asked, "Why is sixth brother a yellow hair, but Wanwan's hair is black?" Hearing this, Su Xingmen awkwardly scratched his head, but still explained to his sister, "My hair color is dyed." With this said, Wanwan happily jumped up holding her drumstick. "Then I want to dye my hair too. I want to dye it red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, purple. Sixth brother, from today on I want to be lying Shang Angelina, Ying Shui Yuhan Ling and Shuili Chimei, and JQN Talia Wan." Su Xingmen imagined what one would look like with dyed hair, and instantly had black lines all over his forehead. Thinking of this, he quickly waved his hands to stop her. No way, Wanwan is too young to dye her hair, and dyeing hair is unhealthy for the body. Hearing this, Wanwan looked puzzled. If it's unhealthy, why does sixth brother dye his hair? For a moment, Su Xingmen didn't know how to answer because you're still young, so you can't dye your hair. After hearing this, Wanwan wiped her mouth and obediently agreed. Su Xingmen finally breathed a sigh of relief, thinking he had finally fooled her. Unexpectedly, Wanwan was shocking again. "Then I'll wait until Wanwan grows up and ask Grandpa and Daddy to go together. And big brother, second brother, third brother, fourth brother, fifth brother, little Chi brother, and godfather. A family should be neat and tidy." Imagining the future Su family as a family of non-mainstream gothic lovers, Su Xingmen's eyes hurt so much he didn't dare open them. He frantically put down his chopsticks and greeted Wanwan, "I have some things to do, I'm leaving first." Looking at sixth brother's hurried figure, Wanwan felt that the death energy on him had become heavier again. Then she calculated with her fingers to help sixth brother, and Wanwan's body suddenly froze. Sixth brother would have a death calamity today. Wanwan anxiously jumped down from her stool to stop sixth brother from going out. However, when Wanwan's little short legs ran to the door, Su Xingmen was already about to leave. Su Xingmen, who had just started his motorcycle and was about to leave, heard Wanwan shouting sixth brother behind him. He saw Wanwan panting and holding onto the door, advising sixth brother not to go out today. Seeing sixth brother had no reaction, Wanwan continued to plead, "Please, Wanwan is begging you, sixth brother, please don't go out today." But Su Xingmen explained, "I made an appointment with someone, I must go today." "Wanwan, don't be unreasonable," Wanwan anxiously explained. But Wanwan feels like sixth brother is going to die. Wanwan doesn't want you to die. Hearing this, Su Xingmen sighed helplessly. He decisively put on his helmet and softly said sorry. Wanwan, standing there, fell into despair. Then Su Xingmen gripped the throttle to accelerate. Unexpectedly, the motorcycle didn't move at all. He turned his head and saw Wanwan tightly hugging the tire. He angrily scolded Wanwan, asking if she didn't want her life. Wanwan, who was crying anxiously, shouted at her brother, "I don't want you to die! Wanwan wants to protect sixth brother." Helplessly, Su Xingmen picked Wanwan up in his hands, but sixth brother has a race today and can't break his promise. Wanwan wiped her tears and asked her brother to take her along. After saying this, she jumped down from sixth brother. Before Su Xingmen could react, Wanwan pulled his hand and said, "Sixth brother, let's go." Saying this, she put on her helmet. Sitting behind sixth brother and waving her fists with a look of readiness to die, "I'm ready. Let's go quickly." Su Xingmen looked at the time. The appointed time was almost here. He had no choice but to take his sister along. So he immediately started the motorcycle and made 3 rules with Wanwan. "Don't cause trouble after we get there, and you must hold on tight to me when riding." Wanwan immediately saluted her brother. "Don't worry, I promise to behave." Only then was sixth brother satisfied and took her away. At this time, in the rundown Taoist temple in the suburbs, a man in dark red Taoist robes made hand seals in front of his chest, chanting under his breath. Suddenly he threw the talismans on his index and middle fingers into the air. With a boom, the red talismans burned in midair. Seeing this, the old man beside him was excited. "Master, is it done? It's done!" The evil Taoist dripped blood from his fingertip into a bowl. The bloodthirsty curse is complete. Unless the king of hell comes, no one can save Su Xingmen. The old man angrily flicked his sleeve. "I don't know what variables appeared in the SU family. The death curses I placed on the SU family before were broken one after another." Hearing this, the evil Taoist cursed the old man as a useless thing. "This is all because your skills are inadequate." At this time on the highway, Wanwan excitedly shouted, "Sixth brother, charge ahead." Su Xingmen didn't accelerate but reminded Wanwan they were almost there. Hearing this, Wanwan poked her little head forward to look. The mountain base was already packed with people, all waving at Su Xingmen as he arrived. "The boss is here!" Song Anhe, with his sharp eyes, wondered who was behind the boss's motorcycle. The moment Su Xingmen stopped his bike, he was instantly surrounded by people. What an adorable little dumpling. "Boss, who is this, your daughter?" Seeing this situation, Wanwan wasn't shy at all. Instead, she sweetly greeted everyone around her. "Hello everyone, I'm Su Wanwan. He's Wanwan's 6th brother." As soon as she finished speaking, everyone collectively froze, and someone couldn't help but blurt out a curse. "Damn little milk bun!" Right after saying that, he got smacked on the back of his head. "There's a kid here, watch your language." The one who got hit held his head and complained, "Ow, that hurt. I'm just used to talking like that." Su Xingman, who was protecting his sister nearby, asked Song Ani, who was disciplining the foul-mouthed person, "Has he Yunchuan arrived yet?" Hearing this, Song Anhi pointed toward the distance. "He's been here for a while, over there." The spirited young man smoking by his motorcycle was none other than Su Xingman's opponent He Yunchuan.